Chickadee, check. Yo. What is up? Hey, J Will. Thanks for joining. Uh, just a little heads up to the VOD watchers, since you're in here early. I dump all my VODs on YouTube. I got a link on my Twitch channel to go to the YouTube channel. I know the video player is better there, so if you want to head over there, you absolutely can. What's up, Alex? How you doing? Where am I? Here I am. I'm a little duck. Is chat on screen? Yes, it is. It's very tiny. Is there any way to make it bigger? Yes. Is that too big? Somebody send like a really long message. Like I don't know. Hello, squids. You are so cool. How do I be as cool as you? Hello. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not, if it gets like lengthy, it's gonna like go the whole distance. I don't know how to prevent that. I'll have to play with it later. I'm using like a new chatbot type thing. Hey Cotton, how's it going? I'm good, but my back hurts. Yikes. Did you do something to it? While we're chatting, we can get into it. Fuck. Display. There we go. Yeah. Just a little VOD review. My computer might freak out a little bit. I don't think it's used to handling YouTube videos and streaming at the same time. But we'll see. Push comes to shove, I can just pull up Twitch chat on my phone. I actually think I might just do that right now. Yeah. Then go ahead and close that. A little less for my computer to handle. Have you caught any games yet? I've seen some pieces of games. I skimmed a little at work. I have not caught a full game front to back. So this is, yeah, this is just me watching it and analyzing. Guys, can you please not say in the chat my mom? Let me get that pulled up on my phone so I can actually see it. Profile, creator dashboard, stream manager.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. You know, this is something that Scott and I, and as well, Gabby, you must agree with us that it's kind of like going back.
Guys, can you please not spam the chat while I'm about this new laptop? It gets really hot when chat is being spammed. Now my leg's starting to hurt because it's getting hot. Please, if you don't want me to get burned, then don't spam the chat. That's a very fun copy pasta. Big hype, I'm able to go to Worlds this year. Are you going to Worlds as a competitor or a spectator? Because the bar for competitor is really high. They changed all the formats for all that.
We traditionally see, and then also because of that, like look at like weird stuff, like both in terms of support and an offense. You know, I mean, like Electabuzz.
Okay,
being, like, a premier
let's find a game. Let's look at the caster predictions. Those are always fun. Okay. We got Hisui and Typhlosion down here. Love to see it. Can you guys see my mouse? Yes, you can. Okay. Electabuzz. Love to see the Electabuzz. All of this is pretty standard. Clefable is a fun one. Was that Necros? Yeah. Clefable is a fun one. I guess it was just the unaware tech, but seeing Dondozo Pokemon Go competitor. That's sick, actually. That's sick. I've wanted to get into Go, but it's just too much to start, you know? Like, getting mons and resources for that, it's a lot to do. And I don't play games every day. I play games like once a week. VGC is more my speed. Gabby rocking the hat Dee, of course. Gabby just hard trick room all the way down. This is just like a core right here. And of course, with the rain here. Yeah. Okay. Let's get into an actual game. Players to watch. Judy Azarelli, Chop Across. Yeah, those are the guys. Usage. I've seen these. Talonflame being up there is really cool. T-Tar is like a side spam answer. I love that there's like King Gambit and Cinnamon Rillaboom, like all the Psy spam answers are at the top usage, but Psy spam itself is never like top used, you know? It's just funny to me. I feel like this Pokemon, this Pokemon, this Pokemon, this Pokemon, and this Pokemon, they're more, they've got more utility than that, but they counter Psy spam, so. Fun stuff. Oh, we're getting into it. This opening ceremonies? No. Here we go.
And it was still a really awesome experience, and I think yeah, competing at Worlds is really no experience like it. And so if you're watching this at home, like, and you really want to feel the thrill, like, you can always get started. We're just beginning with this season. Top 75 here in North America.
Aaron, my guy.
Worlds through championship
You need to get the cut cleaned up.
Yeah, it's just such a thrilling experience.
You getting a little wild out here. Just need to get that little trimmed.
Because the regulation, it's, I would say, fairly beginner.
Honestly though, Regulation H, it's yeah. People have wanted a format like this that are no legendaries, no Urshifu, no. It's very, yeah, this is the best decision Pokemon has made in a long time.
Hopefully that helps you start your journey, because we have a ton.
There's a timestamp guy in the comment always if you need it.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
It's just gonna be awesome. I think
I'm good just scrolling, seeing what we got.
Really fun, but this format in
But I do appreciate timestamp guy in every video.
We already talked
they are my hero.
In the top 12 graphic earlier, but I was just scrolling through a lot of really well-known players, and it feels like every well-known player that I've seen so far has something that feels really fun or unique.
That's the look. Paint, you talking about Aaron's haircut?
The Palma, for example.
Talking about like the messy. I'm just saying he needs to get like the ends just kind of cleaned up a little bit here. You know what I mean?
So, a lot of fascinating picks, and I think that'll make the stream a real treat in particular for this tournament, especially because I think a lot of.
Because when you saw when it first cut, it like flared out at the end, right? Like it looked nice.
There's not really that much pressure, right? It's just exciting.
My Asian friend said he got a perm, which gave him extra volume on Asian hair, which is very trendy right now. Oh, okay. Oh, hi, Paint. The perm is trendy. Okay. Maybe I just don't know anything. But
just having fun playing the game again. I also get to use Sylveon, which makes the game
we
more
see.
exciting for me when Sylveon is actually good in the format, but it's been super fun, so I cannot wait to be able to share
let's
the action
see.
with all of you at home with Aaron and of course the rest of the crew.
Oh, I did see that it was Judy Azarelli.
But I think that the Dragonite, as you called out, was something like Incineroar.
Okay. Let's do this. So the Torkoal is kind of the centerpiece of this team right here. It's his only method for setting sun, and he's got, I guess, just 2 sun abusers. He's got the Chlorophyll with the Tailwind and the Eruption, right? It's not Trick Room centered Torkoal. This is support Torkoal. Because there's no Trick Room on this team. I might be right, too, about the haircut. Yeah. I was literally just also watching the watch. Nice. We can watch together. I like this. This on lead feels a little. Oh my god, Fissure. I just saw Fissure. Never mind. I was like, yeah, this Torkoal seems a little passive, and then I saw Fissure. Okay, this is silly. But I guess, yeah, Torkoal being this slow, it's going to take hits, so it's not going to be doing too much damage. And if you can get, like, one funny Fissure off, that's great. Leaf Storm, Fast Encore. I'm a super big fan of Fast Encore. Multi-scale Assault Vest. So this is the bulky Dragonite. It is still Terra Normal Extreme Speed to tack on some damage, but it's not going to be doing as much as a Choice Band set. Stomping Tantrum, Low Kick. Low Kick, super high value right now in the meta. Things like King Gambit and Arca Alidon, Ursaluna, like all huge low kick targets. The Dread Plate with the Fire Terra is interesting. Assurance over Kowtow. He has no speed control besides Tailwind, So I wonder if he knows that, like, this is going to be the slowest Pokemon. So you have this next to this or this. The assurance could double up more. Get you more damage than just regular Kowtow. I feel like Kowtow would be a little more consistent, but they might be more comfortable in their setups for that. And this is just standard Specs Typhlosion.
Or maybe not necessarily be as prevalent in the meta or something that
The Glamora.
I think that they can have a
Spiky
better
Shield here, that's fun.
That Dragonite is multi-scale alongside the Assault Vest.
Focus
So
Sash.
a really great way for you to withstand a lot of those water type attacks.
I really think Meteor Beam Glamora is a little slept on in the meta. But I get this set. I get this set a lot.
Of course, there's the Jump Bluff here as well. Jump Bluff is a huge
Glamora kind of feels like it sticks out on this team, right? Like it's a good Pokemon and it's a good special attacker. And he needs like a more consistent special attacker than Typhlosion. But I don't know, it doesn't like super synergize with everything else on the team. He loves extreme speed.
Actually fought against Kian a bunch in the previous season. I know he was a big user of that Choice Band Dragonite. And so, yeah, he is now using the Assault Vest Dragonite, but of course, still has the extreme speed on it.
Well, that's another important thing to call out, I think, for these teams is that while you do have the opportunity to go turbo mode on some of these Pokemon, you also have a way to bypass that, which would be through
Judy Azraeli. Speaking of somebody that needs to clean up on the cut, my gosh, dude. Get your line done right here. You need some work, brother.
You also have Sucker Punch on the King Gambit.
I wonder if this is just like the day one look. Like if he planned on shaving and trimming everything up for day 2. Probably not, but
Yeah, Jody running it back with Rain.
is it Jody or Judy? I feel like my mic's a little hot. I'm gonna turn it down just a slight. Is it Jody or Judy Azarelli? I don't, because it reads as Judy, but I just heard Aaron say Jody. Jody? Jody. Okay. Pretty standard Rain team here. This is more what I'd expect from King Gambit, Kowtow, with the low kick tech. Terra Dark's good. Terra Fairy would have also been fine here. With Terra Dark, Black Glasses, Sucker Punch, this is definitely he definitely wants to hit. Choice Band, Basque Legion with Flip Turn, that's fun. That's very fun. Flip Turn's always a move I've liked. I've always heard Jody. Okay, fair. I think I've heard it both ways, but I would trust Aaron saying Jody over anyone else that I've heard say Judy. This is a pretty straightforward Salamence. Good Intimidate, Pivoter, Life Orb, Air Slash, Draco. Funny with the rain that he's not running Hurricane on Salamence. That's fun. Probably a bit more consistent outside of rain and into other weather setups. Air Slash is the more consistent move. You'd think? I don't know. Hurricane next to Pelipper, kind of fun. Kind of. Maybe having the double Hurricane. There's no Tailwind on this team, so Pelipper is rocking the Wide Guard. I guess that helps against Typhlosions, Expanding Forces. I can see that on this team, because Basque Legion being fast, it offers you a fast Mon, but it doesn't have speed control, right? So he's really banking on, oh, something's faster than me. I either got to outspeed it with Basque Legion or Sucker Punch it with King Gambit, which is probably why he has so much pumped into damage here with the Black Glasses and Dark Terra. Archaeolon, very standard. Note Draco Meteor, sometimes people slot in Dragon Pulse there for a little more consistency, but Draco Meteor, a little more burst damage. With Salamence does have Tailwind. Yeah. Okay. True. Okay, so there is multiple forms of speed control. Man, I just feel like, I don't know, put Hurricane here and put like Pelipper here or something. I just now noticed the Stellar Terra. How does Stellar Terra work with Weather Ball? So if like the weather keeps changing, do you get the boost with each different types of Weather Ball? I just thought about that. How does Stellaterra work? Is it per move or per type? Because I thought it was like every type of move. Like if you Stellaterra on King Gambit, you Sucker Punch, Kowtow's not going to be boosted. IDK, but I don't think so. Right. I wonder if it's like... I wonder if it's normal and it's using like the normal move like for the stellar option, and then the type changes after stellar counts for that. Yeah, I think that's... because I don't think Weather Ball gets boosted multiple times by Stellar Teller. I thought it was per type too, so I thought if you kept changing Weather Ball, you might be able to keep your boost, but maybe not. I think you would have to go on whenever does Stella check for the type. Because Weather Ball changes type in weather technically, so if it checks it before Weather Ball changes type and gets the power boost, then there you go. I don't know.
The beginning of Scarlet and Violet, and he now
That'd
has
be
some
fun. Maybe we'll see.
the previous version of his team. Back then, he had Golden Go.
There is Sun. This is Sun versus Rain. This is classic Sun versus Rain.
Golden Go's still really solid, but Jody is upgraded with that Basque Legion as well as that Archaludon. Archaludon, I think, a big Pokemon to pay attention to in this matchup.
Yep.
If in the rain, it can be a huge, huge threat. One of the things I'm actually really curious about in this matchup is going to be the Assault Vest Dragonite into that Archaludon, because if you normal Terra the Assault Vest, you've got multi-skill and Assault Vest. It can be a huge nuisance for Archaludon, and the Dragonite here has the low kick and Stomping Tantrum, so multiple different ways to hit Archaludon for super effective damage. If Archaludon goes for the Grass Terra, the Dragonite here also has the Ice Spinner, and if you commit the Terra, then Hisuian and Typhlosion, even Torkoal can hit you for super effective damage. And then the one other interesting thing about Jody's team is you have that low kick on King Gambit. Sometimes you'll see Swords Dance or Iron Head, for example.
Adjust my chair real quick. One moment.
Big edge against Kian's King Gambit, which of course does not have low kick.
Yeah, it is going to be the Iron Head instead. So maybe something that you could look at, but there's really nothing on Jody's team that's going to actually take too much damage from that move. If you know that you're faster, maybe you can try to fish for something like a flinch, but we
okay.
Jody's fun fact is... Mom
this I saw. I saw this on Twitter.
Hi, Jody's mom.
Thank you for watching.
Hi, Jody's mom.
All the parents, of course, who...
Jody's mom totally watches my VODs.
Their children competing in VGC, bringing them to tournaments. Parents are such a big part of the scene and this ecosystem.
I like how he had to specify. He didn't just say, hi, mom. He said, mom currently watching at home.
You honestly could see being the finals of the tournament, right? Once again, both of these players made really deep runs into
Of the
World
Dragonite?
Championships in Day 2 this year. And it's just so fun. Like, Weather Wars have been such a staple of VGC, whether it be Groudon versus Kyogre, for example. Politoed versus Ninetales. And here we go. We're just going to get things started.
King Gambit to the Mets.
From one side, and the Hisuian Typhlosion has hit the field.
Wow, okay, so we're going to see the Intimidate come out here from the Salamence, but it's not going to matter.
Okay, yeah. King Gambit immediately threatens with Sucker Punch. So that either forces a Terra into Heat Wave, which I think would probably be his best bet to tack on some damage. This definitely tailwinds here.
To either the jump left or
Are they going for Sleep Powder?
As two special attackers.
They're thinking about it.
There is a lot of speed now on
They go for it.
Jody bringing out this King Gambit though, you do have
Life Orb, Salamence. Yeah, and then they pivot.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah, Sucker Punch is a huge deal right now. So if
You have to Terra if you're going to swing, dude. You just die to Sucker Punch.
Immediately, but do you want to commit your Terra here? I think Jody having a really nice lead where the Typhlosion just doesn't exert as much pressure as it would want, right?
Yeah.
Especially with Salamence being able to resist fire type attack as well. But looks like Kian willing to just lock into overheat here. So Jody just goes for a Sucker Punch. That could be really, really nasty.
Oh.
Okay, so just
Scout what they do.
for a
Okay.
little bit, and this is gonna give some room
That was a
to
very good
Salamence
neutral
to
play.
something, but maybe not, because that Sleep Powder is going to connect onto that.
Jump Bluff
Salamence
is faster than
right
Salamence.
Yeah, even
Need to
without
make
the
a note of
Sunblow
that.
Tailwind here, Jump Bluff still just speedy. Putting
What's
the
Jump
Salamence
Bluff's
to
base
sleep.
speed?
No Sucker Punch came out. I think what Jody was hoping for here.
It's
was
higher
to
than
bait
100 because
Typhlosion
Salamence is
either going
100.
For that Fire Terra or switch out. Kian playing really aggressive.
I know it's
saying,
fast as
There's
fuck.
just no way you actually click Sucker Punch here. And ooh, looks like he is now willing to lock into a little bit of an aggressive play. go for that Fire Terra, just try to snipe off the King Gambit now.
100?
So
I
it's the same
thought
decision
jump
you
off was
go
faster
after.
than 100. Was that a speed tie that turn?
Because
Salamence is 100.
Looking at the Terra as well. Yes, you have an opportunity to Terra away from your steel type.
I thought it was like
weakness,
110
but
or
the
115 or
Dark
something
One
like
and the
that.
fact
Like
that you are
something
the
stupid
buff glasses
fast.
may mean that this special attack is going to do a lot to you. Knowing that there's a Fire Terra on top of that, I would be a little scared if I was that King Gambit.
Yeah, I'm curious if Jody decides to go for Dark Terror here. Looks like he's
I
not going
think
to opt for
my
it.
far
but I was
fetch can be a
thinking
little
if you
bit
go for
bigger.
it, you can maybe get the KO onto the Jump Bluff, even or
but-
onto the Typhlosion, even if it
Bring
goes
it
for the
back a
Terra.
little.
Tailwind's going to be set up here. Typhlosion is going to connect with that overheat, of course. A little bit scary every time you click it because it
Even
can't miss,
bigger.
but that is just absolutely going to demolish King Gambit.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, the choice specs on top of it, too, even though you do have the
Yeah.
-2 special attack drop, you're still going to be doing a ton, knowing that the Fire Terra is...
Oh, I missed it. They got it. What did Judy go for? What did you do? Oh, they fire terrored, so the sucker punch didn't.
Typhlosion is going to connect.
Did they sucker punch?
For it, but I was thinking
They
if you
did
go
sucker
for it,
punch. Okay.
click it because it
But
can't
they
miss,
terrored to
but
cover for
that
the
is
sucker
just
punch.
absolutely gonna demolish King Gambit.
It's actually
Yeah, I mean,
110.
the choice specs
Yeah.
on top of it, too, even though you do have the -2 special attack drop, you're still going to be doing a ton, knowing that the Fire Terra, as well as the
Salamence
choice
wakes
spec,
up.
can do a little bit
Turn
more.
one, wake
But
up.
this air slash into the jump bluff is not
That jump bluff
enough
is
to
so
actually knock
bulky.
it out here.
That was life orb
Usually, that's
boosted
actually
stab.
Salamence
That
running
was
air slash over Hurricane. One
bulky.
thing that we didn't call earlier, but it is just a little bit more consistent because it means you don't have to rely on rain, right? If Salamence had Hurricane, then it feels really scary to click it because of course you can miss it. And so Kia manages to get that early sleep powder connect, but the immediate wake up here does set up Tailwind now. Typhlosion, of
Yeah,
course.
Typhlosion can't really do
is in an
anything.
awkward spot because you have two different Pokemon that resist the overheat.
So do
right?
they pivot in,
probably wanna
pivot in
switch
the
it out,
Pelipper
but
for the
Jump Bluff
Salamence
here
slot?
is at risk of actually getting knocked out
Just to get
by
the Basque
Aqua
Legion
Jet
speed
from
going?
Basque Legion's end. And so even though he can set up the Tailwind, this turn I think in particular is a little bit difficult to maneuver.
Yeah,
And that's
because the
exactly what
Typhlosion
he
would
wants
switch
is
out
for him to
first.
actually stall out his own turns of
And that
Tailwind
means
and
that
not actually
the
find enough value while that
the
Tailwind
Pelipper
is
would get
still
its rain
active.
every time.
And even just taking
Because
a look at maybe some of the
whoever
potential
switches out
switches that
is
you
the
can go
gets
for,
the
like, I
weather.
think that there's still
Like
a lot
whoever
of
switches out
pressure
last. Yeah.
in general on the
'Cause the
offensive
Typhlosion's
side from
faster.
Jody's Pokemon on the field. So we are going to see a switch out though. This Typhlosion will get a chance to reset its stat drops by going back and also click a different move later. But as
Aqua
you
Jet,
called out,
nice.
that
And there was
Aqua
no
Jet
switch at
was
all, so.
plenty to actually get the knockout there.
Yeah, this is Choice Band Basque Legion, so normally you wouldn't want to lock into Aqua Jet, but really safe opportunity to go for it here. I love the King Gambit switching here. It's not really threatened by very much. And this is where I think we're really going to start paying attention to weather, right? Both of these players have choice users. Typhlosion, like, neither of them actually have brought out Torkoal or Pelipper yet, right? 'Cause both of them
Now
are
if they switch
like,
out King
just wanna
Gambit
get the
though,
knockout.
they're almost
Both
guaranteed to get their
players
sun.
down to 3 Pokemon. If you get that KO,
So they
then
could pop a heat wave
you'll
here.
just have the weather advantage here, right? So this is really interesting because the Torkoal now hits the field. Basque Legion obviously pressures that with Aqua Jet, so what Kian might do is switch out into the Torkoal.
Wouldn't
to
Mence be
basically
faster though in
lead
switching
it.
out?
However, you also have
But
Sucker
yeah,
Punch
it would
with
switch
the
out
Gambit,
first
right?
now.
Jody's end, do you want your Basque Legion to get hit by Sucker Punch?
'Cause,
You can get around
Kian
Sucker
had
Punch
Tailwind
with
up,
Astera, for example, and so
and
this is a
and
huge,
Jody
huge turn to
didn't
pay
at that
attention to, in
turn.
my opinion, right? 'Cause there's a question of,
So if
do we
they'd
see a switch?
switched,
Does Basque Legion go
Keenan
for
would have
that
switched out
Grass
first,
Terra?
Torkoal would have came
Basque
in,
Legion
then
actually
Salamence
wants
would have
to
switched
take
out
that
second,
Aqua Jet, 'cause I think you could totally see it potentially
bringing in
switch out
Pelipper.
into Pelipper right now.
Ooh, well, it is going to be the Torkoal that's going to switch onto the field first. So if it was the Typhlosion on the receiving end of something like
It was
an
Tailwind?
Aqua Jet,
Yeah,
something
Tailwind
that's
was that
doing a
turn
whole
two,
lot despite the fact
while
that
Salamence
it
was
is
asleep.
super effective. But we see the Terrestrialization finally committed on Jody's end, going over to that Basque Legion, so we do end up seeing that Grass Terror type committed here.
Yeah, I think this is actually a really safe play because I think what you can go for is just Aqua Jet, Draco Meteor, double up onto the Typhlosion slot, right? That basically would get the knockout onto Typhlosion if the...
Little bit of damage.
Yeah, now Torkoal here. Yep,
Draco,
exactly.
yep.
He's just going to feint to this. And because you go for the Grass Terra here with the Basque Legion, you don't have to worry about fainting from Sucker Punch. And so then
I'm gonna
Typhlosion
bring
hits the
Farfetch
field, and then
back
Aqua
a
Jet will
little
just finish
bit.
it off, and you're going to be faster than King Gambit as well. I think one thing that's really important in
Move
this
chat
matchup
a
is the
little bit
assurance
by
pick.
accident.
Yep, with that Grass Terra, it's going to save it. So Typhlosion comes back
Chat,
out.
someone say
Talking
something.
about winning the weather war. Well, now Torkoal's just
Are you
been
still
eliminated.
oriented correctly?
Jody has the Pokemon advantage. You can just switch
Move over.
Salamence out
There we
into
go.
that Pelipper and Aqua Jet into the Typhlosion.
Yeah, this is a really well-positioned game
Hi.
here
Okay.
by Jody.
Yep. Still right there
This
above me.
is I mean, I would assume that the Pelipper is
Something.
going to be the
Thank
thing
you.
that's in
Thank
the
you.
back here. But yeah,
Yeah, the
Okay.
question, I mean, Sucker Punch is stronger than that Assurance, and it looks like Basque
Could be
Legion
in range.
Yeah, But actually, the problem is that you're always just gonna click Aqua Jet, so there's no reason to click Sucker
I love
Punch.
hearing Aaron on commentary.
Not even actually bothering for the switch there. Confident Aqua Jet's gonna KO the Typhlosion. So, yeah, you can of course switch to reset the weather, but it doesn't actually really matter that much right now if Aqua Jet's gonna get the knockout anyway. So I like the decision there. Air Slash Air just has a slight chance to flinch. So let's see if the King Gambit will be able to attack through here.
Okay.
It will. It'll get the Iron Head. Ton of damage, but does not get the knockout there onto the Salamence.
So even so, you have the like, how much is Aqua Jet realistically gonna do to this King Gambit?
Yeah, I think at this point you just switch in the Pelipper, you get the Aqua Jet off, which is going to do a decent amount, and then with Pelipper in the back with that Focus Sash, like a Weather Ball plus like a Draco combo, I think would finish it off. But looks like Jody is also willing to just wait until the Pelipper hits the field, doesn't really want to switch here, and the idea is, well, Pelipper can always go for 2 different Weather Balls onto you here. But, okay, I mean, Salamence faints here if...
Yeah,
Basque
Judy's got this
Legion
endgame
ends
wrapped
up
up.
Pelipper is the last one. Like,
That's what I was thinking.
Is there any chance King Gambit survives the Weather Ball? Like, I don't know. I think I would have liked Pelipper switching a little bit sooner, but maybe Jody's just
Maybe with the Life Orb recoiled,
and
knocked it out.
Maybe it's not even Pelipper. Maybe it's actually our challenge.
Our Chaladon in the back. I would have been.
It is
I would
Pelipper.
have been the big brain. So this Pelipper does have access to the Hurricane and Weather Ball as its 2 attacking moves, but it's still like you're still looking at Steel type.
Yeah, I think Weather Ball here should get the knockout. I was just wondering, you know, if this King Gambit,
Yeah,
is
Weather
there any
Ball.
world in which King Gambit is actually bulky enough to survive? Because
Is this
if so,
AV? No, this is Black Glass.
just gonna
Yeah, this is
force
Dread
the
Plate.
assurance
No,
that
Weather Ball
Soccer
absolutely
Punch,
gets the knockout
I
here.
guess the answer is no.
If
I
it was
think
AV,
Pelipper
it might have
switched
lived,
Pelipper
but
a little bit sooner, for that Salamence, he was confident
Dread
enough
Plate,
to
no,
actually
absolutely.
It's a world that, you know, normally a ton of special defensive S.
Protect, okay.
Thinking ahead to have a position where something to have to think about there, but
Sucker
Pelipper
Punch.
does take a good amount of damage.
Just gotta bank that he
from
lives it.
that Sucker Punch, but it's the Weather Ball in return.
Let's see
gives
it.
Pelipper
Yep.
plenty to get the KO.
Yep.
So we're going to a game number 2.
Yeah, I want you
All right.
to get range, which I think exactly how much sources to win from the opponent.
A couple of turns. I was.
Is this the one where it said, yeah, 10-0?
Even at the very end, where
I think it was
we
supposed
were
to
in
say
the last
1-1-0.
turn.
They just
And
forgot a
I'll
little
tell you this,
slash.
you can either knock this out or I can knock it out myself with the Life Orb recoil, and you also have that small
Yep.
increased crit chance for the Draco Meteor. Maybe you just finish the job that way, and you don't necessarily have to roll the dice.
Yeah, no chance that AV.
The Weather Ball
Yep,
Fusion
yep.
was not able to actually. King Gambit was so smart. Maybe, but he waved.
Neither of those game, and his lead combo in particular. If you want
Man,
to
it was raining pretty heavy earlier today, but now the sun's come back out.
into it, into
And I think the
a really interesting like jump bluff.
plants are out and it's bothering my allergies.
Lead adjust. Maybe wants to.
I wonder if
It'll be alright. Come on. Show me the video game.
super
Okay.
effective damage that you're able to deal with that, despite the fact that Glamora would end up being something that deals that super effective
Dragonite and
damage.
Jump Bluff.
Aaron, you wanted to see the Dragonite, and so it is going to be in the lead here for Kian in this game number 2.
Yeah, I think it's a great adjustment. Dragonite just exerts so much offensive pressure against so
Yep.
much of Jody's team as well. This is, of course, the bulky set.
It's got 2 great low kick targets on this team. Yeah.
You are up against 2 different Pokemon that, of course,
And it's Dark Terra, so it can get rid of some of the damage, but that's still going to be a pretty hefty hit.
Probably just wants to pivot out right now. Kian is now the one exerting a ton of offensive pressure. You've got the super effective attacks into the King Gambit slot, but you can see Kian's toying around with the idea of trying to make this aggressive prediction, because the idea is, I think like your Basque Legion is at huge risk right now. You can't protect with it. I'm going to target that slot and just play really aggressively, and King Gambit does go for the protect, but we know that Kian, of course, didn't launch that low kick into that slot.
Yeah, well, it's going to be the Sleep Powder into the King Gambit's Protect, so you're not going to end up being
Okay.
able to grab that this time around. But with the flip turn, that Basque Legion is going to get out of there, doing a
Hold
little bit of
on.
chip damage to this Jump Bluff and allowing Jody to pivot into something else. So we will see the 3rd Pokemon that he's brought to this
See
game.
Arca Aladon and get a stamina boost.
Also,
Oh
Ice
my
Spinner
goodness,
click into
yeah.
that
Oh no, it's Arca Aladon. Yeah. Yeah. Good play. And then he gets the stamina proc off that.
Ice Spinner here, not going to be able to snipe off a potential Salamence switch in, and of course our Chowdon will get a defense boost here immediately. Kian still has a lot of pressure though. This Encore is a really, really big
Yeah,
deal,
that's
and
non-prankster
Jump
Encore,
Bluff,
so
I
that
think,
can
is
hit a
just
Dark
kind of
type.
nuisance, to deal with in general, right? So now the question is, if you're Jody, do you want to switch that King Gambit out into the Basque Legion, which of course would be immune to the low kick here? A lot of different options. I mean, Gambit of course could go
Tailwind
for
pretty safe,
Terra as
too.
well, just
Yeah.
around the 4x super effective hit. Consider going for something like a double up onto the Dragonite slot.
Tailwind.
Draco Meteor plus, for example, go for an Assurance here. But I think if you're
It's
Jody,
got to
you
be
might
so
able to
stressful
spare
to be like
some
on
so
this
come in and just
on the
up
stage
Sleep Powder immediately.
Because this guy's clicking a lot of buttons, and it like it's giving nervous to me.
Because it is something that I feel like
Oh, was that a Terra?
put a huge wrench into a lot of people's plans, despite maybe seeing some of the
Was that
choice
a
bans
Terra
that
on the
also
jump
allows
off?
you to change up your move selection, which makes it all the more threatening to something like this Archalon. You could see Kia maybe trying to go through the dice a little bit of like, okay, do I
That was a Terra.
call the Terra? Do I try to go for the Ice Spinner instead? Do I try to get the low kick to even just force it out? But we are going to end up seeing this Dark Terastallization on his jump bluff.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious about the Dark Terra. I think the idea is...
Me too,
that
Aaron.
covers
Me
the
too.
damage, basically staying in that spot. And here is the Terra coming out. Kian did go for Ice Spinner once again into their Archalon, so that now will deal super effective damage. Of course, going for the Grass Terra here saves you against the Sleep Powder if it were to target into that slot. And so some quick Terras here from both players. Jump Love is going to set up the Tailwind, so good speed control now for the next couple of turns. And this Dragonite's still sitting, you know, quite healthy. Another Ice Spinner comes out now, dealing super effective damage into our Chaladon. And
Still about the same.
for a
Second stamina
Ice
boost.
Spinner, like, this is no choice band. You've gotten some pretty solid damage off now into our Chaladon. Our Chaladon
Yeah.
can't protect this next turn, right? And so a double up can just finish it off.
It can. Though tough, well, especially when you think about the jump bluff being able to do something with the special attack damage. Yes, you have to do.
Oh, the Terra was enough to live.
Jump bluff will be sticking around one more.
But the Terra wouldn't have mattered either, 'cause it was grass type.
Try to get a sleep powder or just do something on the field. The only
I don't know what the
problem
play
is
with the
Dragonite, this
Dark Terra was there.
attacks into this Archaludon. The stamina boosts are really going to start to.
What were they
protect-
reading?
Totally, yeah.
I'm trying to think what they could have read.
Do here. One thing I was thinking was, like, you pivot
Because it was
Dragonite.
King Gambit on the field at that point. Does Dark resist Dark? I don't think Dark resists Dark, right? Are they trying to resist a Hurricane? Oh, that's true, yeah. But it's King Gambit Archaludon. No, was Pelipper on the field by that point? Pelipper might have been field on that point. Dark does resist Dark. So maybe they were trying to live at Kowtow or something? Because I have that turn order right. Pelipper just switched in this turn. Yeah?
Okay, yeah, there's the Encore. Yeah, okay.
No way.
It would be interesting because the scary thing here is you don't know where the Electroshot is going, but yeah, we're going to see that move being locked in, so okay, I'm a fan.
I love this. That's so funny. I feel like you can almost always expect that maybe the Electroshot goes into the Dragonite slot just because you know that it can't protect. But the fact that we're going to see the Torkoal hit the field, Jody's one step ahead.
Nice.
Going to be removing the Pelipper so that it can be preserved for later, as it's the King Gambit that's going to take its slot.
All right, well, there's the Encore, so...
Locked into Electroshot now.
See just the special attack.
It's gonna buy him a
this
turn,
turn, but of
yeah.
course, our Chaladon will still get to launch the Electroshot in the subsequent turn, right? Like you said, if it's, you know, going into that Dragonite slot, this poor Torkoal is still just going to get absolutely obliterated. So that's why I was like, this is a cool play. Now the question is, where do we go from here, right? Yeah, do you just protect this turn, for example?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, with those stamina defense moves, like this Archaludon has taken a lot of damage.
Do they have
Still hasn't actually
Tailwind
flexed
up?
yet, so... And
I'm wondering if, like, if Tailwind with this Torkoal,
The awkward thing about the Pokemon selection here for Kian is, like,
would they jump the Archaludon and be able to get an overheat off?
It's mainly going to come from Dragonite, and I do think Dragonite and King Gambit in combination are very, very.
I don't know how this Torkoal's EV trained.
To clear the Archaludon right now, so okay, we're just gonna.
That's
see
what they're going for.
there. Sleep Powder does connect as well.
Ooh, so that's a really big deal. This King Gambit's not going to be able to do anything on this turn. It's going to end up taking its mandatory turn of sleep. As the
Nope.
Electroshot is going to target into
Does Torkoal live?
Torkoal. That was the
Oh, it survives!
I cannot believe the survival right now, which means that the Torkoal can actually go for the overheat.
Huge Archaludon's down. Terra's down on GD's side.
Oh my goodness! Wow, you can see Kian was even checking the stats of that Torkoal before, saying, you know what, I think I'm going to survive the Electroshot. I really wasn't confident. I mean, that's a very powerful attack, but able to get the knockout. And with that eject pack, you now switch out as well, so you can get a free switch in back into
Later
that
for,
that
yep.
final Pokemon, which
That was a
is
good play. That was a good play.
being able to connect on that Sleep Powder is also a really big deal, right? Because one of the things that you have to pay attention to in this matchup
Dragonite,
is,
yeah,
the
puts on a lot of
Gambit
pressure
versus
here.
King Gambit War. Jody has a big advantage because of that low kick on his King Gambit. So Gambit on Jody's end now will take that first turn of sleep. Kian now threatens the King Gambit slot, of course, with low kick. Basque Legion, I think, a really natural switch in here. What you can, of course, do then is switch the King Gambit into Pelipper. But if you do that, you are still at risk of Kian, for example, potentially switching out the Jump Bluff here. Jump Bluff also could just, go for a Leaf Storm into Basque Legion. What's also interesting here is how, like, the speed interactions will work, right? Because if you were to normally you would try to like predict Pelipper coming in, but the problem is that King Gambit's slower than Dragonite, so but we don't see any switches. Okay.
Turn one. Wake up.
Ooh, but that's a protect. That's not a sucker punch. So is it awkward?
It has low
coming out
kick.
right
Yep.
now? It is.
Okay, so that is going to remove one of the bigger threats there. That Leaf Storm would have done some really big damage to that Bastion Legion had it been able to connect. And so that is going to be the jump fluff removed. Tailwind's going to expire soon as well. So that is something that you will be able to get on your Bastion Legion side if that Pelipper switches back in to activate the Swift Swim. But this is another turn that Jody is.
So now we're gonna see King Gambit come out here.
That was a
Yeah.
huge wake up on Gambit, given that it didn't switch out into Pelipper.
Turn one again. Yeah, he got really lucky with those sleeps.
You know, that's the downside of using jump fluff. It can miss.
Turn one, wake up 2 games in a row.
Like the sleep rolls aren't amazing, but I think Kian's still in an
Assurance,
amazing
low
spot because
kick.
Now you have 2 things that just threaten for super effective damage, right? And you still got.
Would you not sucker here?
Kian here, I think, should be able to get a knockout this turn. This Bastion Legion is.
I guess Assurance, if they switch, it guarantees damage.
Switch out into Pelipper. I'm curious if you just say, you know what, I'm gonna stay in here. I don't even think you're gonna click Sucker Punch into me. I'm actually gonna switch the King Gambit out. But I think Kian still has a really big lead despite the King Gambit.
Yeah, that's a good play.
An early wake up.
Man, Aaron's so good on commentary.
Making the safe switch here, though.
All right, so the Pelipper now.
I would love to like try to get into commentary, but I can't think that fast. Like I'm not that many steps ahead. Huge low kick.
Did not stand a chance. And so Jody in this game number 2 is down to his final 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think the game's just over, honestly. I mean, Assurance are also a really
Big
nice
hit here, yeah.
Go for that Sucker Punch, right? It doesn't really make sense.
Not enough to give it in Sash, but good damage on the switch in.
Anyway, so it wouldn't even work.
He's just the best, so good. Yeah. Yeah.
Also just damages the Pelipper. Now you can just go for a safe Sucker Punch into a Pelipper slot here. And I love the Torkoal switch in here as well. Basically,
Just sack the Torkoal to override the rain. Yep.
Can't close out
Game
this
3.
It wants to click Last Respects, but if you're clicking Last Respects, then power.
Oh, that was instant. Game 3. Okay. Oh no, that was a replay.
And then that survival.
I thought we were back in the game.
Something like that is still knockout onto it from the range that it's at. We're just going into game 3 here. So same leads here from Kian, but
Okay.
Amoongus has now hit the field.
Okay.
There's the Amoongus here.
The Amoongus is, it's really interesting because it's going to be one of the
Bum,
slower things
ba,
in
da,
this
ba.
game outside of the
Great song.
Torkoal, which is going to be slower than it, but where do you see the Amoongus kind of fitting in here? You know, at the very least, it's not going to be able to actually get put to sleep because of its grass typing, but maybe you try to get this Dragonite to throw an Ice Spinner at it.
Yeah, I think the Amoongus lead is really smart if you're expecting Jump Love Dragonite again, because this Dragonite cannot protect, and Kian doesn't have a safe switch into Sleep Powder, right? The Grass-type Pokemon is already out in the field, so with this lead, you can always Sleep Powder into the Dragonite slot and neutralize it so much more. I think this is a fantastic adjustment by Jody.
We're even going to see a Terrestrial
Man.
committed as...
What's crazy is like Aaron made a tweet where like, oh yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. I did pretty bad this weekend. But his commentary is just so good. Like he said Sleep Powder there instead of Spore, but like we knew what you were saying. Come on, dude.
Well, it is going to be on to the King Gambit, and so that is going to end up being that Dark Terror type. It could still get put to sleep here. That is something that still threatens that Pokemon, but if not, then you're
Is he just going for a raw sucker? No.
Sleep Powder connects once again, though, so Kian is...
That's 3 Sleep Powder connects in a row, though.
Going for it. King Gambit now
I guess it's 75, right? So 3 out of 4.
Covers for low kick going into that slot. Ice Spinner does do a lot
Huge
of
damage,
here,
gets
but
the berry.
We'll be able to heal back up and critically this time now put the Dragonite to sleep. So a lot of sleep going around right now.
Judy was kind of banking on the Jody. I keep saying Judy. Jody. Jody was banking on the Sleep Powder miss.
Regenerator, if you remove it from the field, then it's even closer to full HP for later on in the game. But this is a huge deal, especially because that Dragonite was so oppressive in that game number 1. You're hoping for a couple turns of sleep here as well to allow your King Gambit to wake up.
Totally, yeah. And I think this is a really smart adjustment, right? Like, what is King Gambit and Amoongus?
Bro is clicking so many buttons.
Are you really going to bring Hisuian Typhlosion, especially after that game 1? Likely not, right?
Probably
so,
not.
Really good call out here. Encore onto Amoongus. Like, this is a really awkward dance right now where both players are really just trying to wake up as quickly as possible. King Gambit does wake up immediately.
That's 3 Sleep Powder lands into 3 turn 1 wake ups. That is crazy.
And you really don't mind your Amoongus actually getting encored right now into that Spore because, as you said, no matter what else kind of comes in,
And that takes out the jump love.
The Spore either.
Yeah, and we see it is Gambit and Torkoal in the back, so there isn't something like that Glamora, which has Grass Terra, which of course would be able to resist or be immune to the Spore here. So Torkoal now hits the field, but the problem is like Dragonite hasn't even taken that many turns of sleep yet either, right? So yeah, a lot of early wake-ups immediately from these sleep powders, and I think, yeah, Jody is off to a really, really strong start here. And the Dark Terror on Gambit, I think, yeah, just nice both offensively and defensively, right? If the sleep powder had missed, then Kowtow Cleave would just knock out the jump fluff, and it just covers for low kick, yeah, which otherwise would be, of course, 4 times super effective.
Yeah, we saw that was just a one-hit knockout the last time that ended up happening. So nice to know that that King Gambit might be around for a little bit longer. The Amoonguss is going to go back into its Pokeball, though. Now it gets that regenerator healing, and it's going to be the Pelipper that comes out. Torkoal's only attack options are Overheat and Fissure. So a very
Swing with the Fissure.
to mitigate some
Do
of
it.
the Overheat damage, but it's the Dragonite.
I want to see a Fissure this game.
It makes it so vulnerable. The low kick into the Torkoal.
Interesting.
Hoping that the King Gambit would have switched
Or
into
he-
that slot. As look at how
Swung
little
Fissure,
damage
bro.
that Overheat's going to do in the rain.
Yeah, I mean, Kowtow Cleave obviously would have done significantly more there, and this does buy a turn. I mean,
What switch would he have been covering for with the low kick? The King Gambit switch in. Yep.
Kian's low kick can get a one-hit knockout onto Jody's King Gambit from this range.
Kian still has
It still needs to wake up right now.
Terra available. Yeah.
It's burnt a couple turns of sleep, but yeah, this is still a scary turn, right? Because if your Dragonite stays asleep, okay, considering the normal Terra with extreme speed.
Interesting.
Right
That'd make you a little weaker to low kick.
to knock out the King Gambit is the thing. Like King Gambit is a very bulky Pokemon.
Yeah, especially on the physical side.
And are you okay actually going to a normal Terra knowing that like Pelipper still has Weather Ball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kian's probably saying, well, look, I want to...
Defensively, it's worse, but he's just got to bank on everything on this getting the knockout.
I think the scary thing here is your Gambit could just go down to low kick from the opposing side if you're not knocking out the opposing Gambit right now, right? Kian also might be making a read saying, well, I don't think you're actually going to target my Gambit with low kick this turn. I'm also curious how the Gambits interact in terms of speed.
Yes. That
All
is
right,
something that we don't
big
know.
diamond on
Right
his head.
now, King Gambit's speed investment is
Let's see how
almost
much it does.
So it's certainly something that might come
Oh,
into
Dragonite
play.
does wake
It
up.
did wake up, though.
Wake up for some damage. It's going to be using the extreme speed with that extra boost from that normal Terra.
That did nothing.
King Gambit into the range
That
of
did
being able to knock out,
nothing.
but it's the Hurricane
That's the Assault Vest difference for you.
Still not going to do a whole lot, but it also does not get confused.
Yeah, so it was the Kowtow Cleave. It wasn't low kick here into Dragonite. Dragonite
Oh my
does
gosh.
9 HP. Ironhead now comes out, does knock out the opposing King Gambit, so Kian is still definitely in this one. Really, really clutch survival and wake up there from the Dragonite.
He does
But
still have the
there
King
is still
Gambit.
this Amoonguss in the back.
Yeah, and that Amoonguss is going to have almost
Amoonguss
full
and
HP.
Bascule
It's
Legion.
The fact that it does have that ability, so when you see it hit the field,
Regenerator,
it's still something that
yeah.
you're gonna have to be a little worried about. That's where the Assault Vest Dragonite can certainly come into play. You know that it's still going to be around.
Do you
to
extreme
get
speed or do you
rather
ice
than
spinner?
Just being locked into that extreme speed.
Yeah, extreme speed assurance here, though. A great
I guess in
combination
case the
of more
Pelipper
speed
is
and more
faster.
damage if the Pokemon has already taken damage that turn.
And Amoonguss can't protect.
That's right, exactly. So this is a very
Yeah.
safe, guaranteed play. My question is there any chance Amoonguss is bulky enough
Ooh.
to survive this combo? No way, based on
It
that damage.
does not seem to look like that. It even has to go for the Rage Powder after it because of that priority. Extreme Speed goes first. And what a great call, because this Dragonite is certainly going down to that Weather Ball. And so it's
Okay,
gonna be up
I
to
guess the
King Gambit
Pelipper was
to try
probably
to climb
faster.
up the score again.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by Kian finding a path back into this game. It felt really rough with the Amoonguss lead, but that wake up and the Dragonite survival so clutch. And Kian now will win the Weather War. However, if the last one is Archaladon on Jody's end, I think Jody's still in a phenomenal spot because you can just body press it.
Yeah.
So Torkoal's gonna come out. Kian will have the weather advantage, but what is the final Pokemon? If it is that Archaladon,
It's Archaladon.
this
Jody's not out of this yet.
folks.
Oh no! Well,
Click Fissure, do it.
That would be a very exciting way to
Yeah,
potentially
he's
end
protect.
this game.
Oh, okay. So protect overheat. One of the other things
This guy
you can
clicks
do
so
right
many
now
buttons.
is just like double up onto the Torkoal slot, for example, right? Because you're thinking, well, you know, King Gambit here won't get a one-hit knockout onto either Pokemon. So how spooked are you about the Fissure? Fissure is actually not what we end up seeing this turn. The idea is to do enough damage to Pelipper where maybe Sucker Punch can finish it off. But it is Draco Meteor, no body press coming out.
Draco, it
Does
lives.
survive. So is it the Weather Ball?
Still Weather Ball, yep.
Double up into the
Double up on the
Torkoal.
Torkoal slot.
Jody
Wow.
calls it correctly. and
Good
that
call,
is
good
your
call.
win.
It will, because at this point too, your special attack doesn't matter anymore because you're using the body press. So that Draco Meteor was so safe, despite the fact that it does lower your special attack by 2 stages. What a phenomenal play. And even the weather ball as well from Pelipper. That's a fire type now. King Gambit doesn't really want to take that either.
Yeah, like, I think this was always going to be pretty tough for Kian to win anyway. We would have had to make, like, multiple
Body press there.
correctly.
Oh,
Body
still
press
lift.
actually not knocking out the King Gambit
But
was
fire
the
type
best
weather ball, yeah.
But because of Archaludon just threatening both Pokemon with so much damage, it's really, really
GG's,
tough. And
Pelipper win.
this was such a fun set because of the adjustments we saw, right? On Kian's end, bringing out that Dragonite. On Jody's end, getting rid of the Salamence and then bringing...
Nice, nice. Is there a player interview? Is the player interview worth watching? Have people seen it? I know he's a funny guy.
Navigating through that matchup.
So it's kind of funny. So Kian, when I saw that team, I immediately went Joseph Ugarde because that's
Yeah, the jump off.
a similar team I played in at Nationals NAIC 2023. So I had the
That's
flashback happen.
Joseph's.
I know that they're good friends.
You haven't seen it?
I
Yeah.
gotta block in. But it's
Jump
about
off is like the
Pelipper
Joe
versus
UX9
Squirtle,
signature.
and it's just about
Especially this generation.
putting your weather in and making sure that you're in the best position.
Last generation, he was running Colossal.
I mean, it seemed like at all times you kind of had the weather control there. Can you tell us a
I
little bit
lost
more
to
about
it.
the team
I ran
and
into him
any
on ladder.
features that you want to talk about? I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to.
And he kind of rolled me with it.
So the team I'm running is actually from
In Gen 8.
Okada, Japanese player, really strong. And
So he's using somebody else's team.
I basically had a team crisis this entire week. I was using Typhlosion.
Same,
Sun, I
same.
was using Kingdra Rain, and I was using like this freaky deaky Sneasler team. And then the night before, I looked.
Bro
at,
said freaky deaky on the
what I had in my
Pokemon stream.
box,
That's
and it was
crazy.
like, I don't feel comfortable with any of these. I've played Rain before. Let me just go with this.
It seemed like you did pretty well.
Mhm.
Like you said, you had so many different teams that you could possibly lock in. How are you currently feeling about Regulation 8?
The
right now?
fam jam will be home soon, so I'm gonna head out. Might catch you later. All right.
I like to think
Enjoy
of this,
paint.
it's as wide
Have
as
fun with the
so
fam
many
jam.
archetypes, but
Cook some
there's nothing
ham
that feels like, hey, that's doing a little too much damage. Like, there's no calories
with the
left in
lamb.
So, it's like a nice power level, but
Just be
there's
sure
so
not to
many different
cram
things to prep for.
your
Did you
face.
find that a little bit intimidating?
Anyways, thanks for coming, Paint.
There's so many different viable Pokemon. There's so many different viable teams. Like, how do you go?
Let's see what else we got.
For this tournament?
So you kind of, as a top player, you
Talk about
have to
Pelipper,
accept
the rain. Yeah. Oh,
and you have
we got a
to
game?
dodge.
Yeah, and what's really
So hold on. Where's the other team? I see some funny shit. Where's the other team? Oh, okay. Oh, this is a really funny team. I'm sad Paint left because it's Cinderace now. Flare Blitz. And HJK. Okay. The Libero U-turn, Sucker Punch. That's kind of a hot set. That's kind of a hot set. Pretty standard specs Primarina. Interesting. Interesting. The defensive Terra makes sense. It's got a single target and a spread of both fairy and water moves. Goggles King Gambit with Sword Stance. Interesting, and no protect. Hariyama. I haven't seen many Hariyamas. I'm excited to see Hariyama. Heavy Slam. That's what I was thinking about, because whenever I was thinking about like Hariyama next to a Trick Room Setter with the fake out, it's like close combat and then what else do you do? But knockoff Heavy Slam seems alright. Heavy Slam's not as excuse me. Not as valuable in this meta because Fluttermane's not here. But it still could probably do some good damage. The Calm Mind Strength Sap Sinistra. It's a self-heal. So you're not in the heat proof. Because you're not really probably switching this, right? This is probably going to be your lead. So Hospitality doesn't make too much heat proof just to get that extra resistance. I like it. And the classic Trick Room Electabuzz. Ghost Terra Vital Spirit. That's, yeah. It's kind of, you either do one or the other, right? You either do Vital Spirit to get around sleep with Ghost Terra, or you do Grass Terra with Static. It's one or the other. Volt Switch is fun little tech. Whenever I ran Electabuzz, I ran Electro Webs. That was back at the end of... God, before the restricted one. What was that, Reg E? Yeah, towards the end of it. But I love the taunt. I love the area impulse.
Will be really interesting. Does
See,
Ofomezi
bro is like bugged out here. I don't mean to make fun, but like that's such a screenshotable face right there.
and healing back up?
I think it's because everybody's on stage. This is a lovely person. I don't mean to make fun, but like everyone's eyes are so wide. Like they're scared a little
So I
bit.
actually think the Sinistra will be really interesting. Does Ofomezi even bring Dondozo into this matchup because there is this one Pokemon that can give it so much trouble? Not to mention Electabuzz, not to mention Hariyama. That's not an Iron Hands. Iron Hands no longer exists, but Matt says, you know what? I've got something.
Dish out damage. Map on it.
Hariyama. All right.
Just to give you an idea of maybe some of the Pokemon
Tatsudon.
to use. Maybe not so much of a surprise.
Coaching Annihilate
Creative team.
over
On the other
Scarf.
side of things, Ofomezi does have that Clefable that we were talking about, so you can see the unaware
That's
side of
fun
Goggles
because
as
you could
well,
kind
so
of
keep it
Annihilate
safe
has like 3
from
targets for coaching, right? So you could lead Annihilate King Gambit, get some boost on that. You could lead Annihilate Dragonite, get some boost on that. You could even lead Annihilate Dondozo and then switch in Tatsugiri turn 2. It's like protect coaching turn 1, maybe Annihilate faints, maybe it doesn't. Switch it back out or switch Tatsugiri back in. That's some hot tech. I like that a lot.
any of those spores coming through from Mamungus.
A lot of
but you
burst
also
damage on
have
the...
next to it
This is kind of what I expect
Gambit
from a King
to
Gambit, right? The
that
Dread Plate,
necessarily
the
set up in this
Dark
case,
Terra.
but still would
They
love
really
that
just want to
direction
swing.
support
Like, this isn't
while
setting up.
it
This
absorbs
isn't
some of
trying to
the
eat hits.
powerful
This is just wanting
Yeah,
to...
and what's really
to take
interesting
knockouts.
is look at the number of physical attackers here. Dondozo,
Inner Focus. Another AV, but with the Terraflying Terra Blast.
Those can all be pretty spooky. I think the Sinistra is going to be really important in this matchup. Now, the way you deal with Sinistra is going to be the King Gambit, right? Because King Gambit can just threaten it with super effective damage.
Ice Spinner on Dragonite's also pretty good.
Terra here is
Order
fairy,
Up
and so if you go for that fairy Terra,
is
you still
also
get hit
pretty
by
good
the
on
super effective
Sinistra.
Iron Head, but I think when you play with Dondozo, the first question you ask yourself is, well, can I just like combine a Dondozo immediately and just start sweeping? And the answer, honestly, in this matchup is no. You're staring down this Sinistra, and that set alone can give a lot of trouble. So I think King Gambit's going to be a really important matchup, Pokemon in this matchup. The Annihilate is really interesting, right? You can lead it with any of your physical attackers and actually go for coaching immediately and give yourself an attack boost, or just immediately snipe something off with that final Gambit. Matt's team notably does not have Protect on anything, right? So you are very vulnerable to those final Gambits.
It does mean that you have to give up a piece, right? Like, it's got kind of a really weird call to have to make with something like Final Gambit, because you only get a chance to do that once, and then you're down to just 3 Pokemon. But I can see a world maybe you help to use the Annihilate to get something else in.
Dragonite, and then Dragonite Sweep, and instead it's just Terra here is Fairy.
Okay. Oh my god. I accidentally hit 0. Never mind. Hold up.
Yeah, and what's really melee matchup, never get hit by, can I just like finish a Pokemon? Hariyama though, in an
Okay.
Game number 1. Because, you know, while the Dondozo
This is the
has
Hariyama
attacks,
Sinistra lead.
like as
Okay.
Wave Crash, Earthquake, and Order Up, you have to be able to position those in a way that's going to make a lot of sense. So as we get into this game number 1 between Matt and Ofomezi, we do see the Dragonite and Annihilate here for Mezi, as well as the Sinistra and Hariyama for Matt.
Yeah, so Sinistra's hit the field. Hariyama though in an awkward spot.
It is?
It's got that
Yeah.
fake out, but you're up
'Cause you
against
can't
the
fake out right now.
And the Annihilate, which is Ghost Terra, or not Ghost Terra, Ghost typing. So you won't be able to actually click fake out and flinch either.
So does
spot,
the Annihilate
which is really tough because one thing
coaching,
that
or does it
Ofomezi
Final
can go
Gambit?
for is you can Final Gambit, or you could just go for coaching immediately onto the Dragonite, and then Dragonite can go for
I
a
think
super
without
effective,
Terra,
for example,
coaching,
into
Ice Spinner? Yeah.
Sinistra
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
spot. So you can see, Matt
I
can
think
see
that would pick up the
spot
one-hit
right there
knockout.
to potentially take that. And yeah, knockoff here will be able to at least remove an item, but it's a really good lead by Ofomezi to block fake out being able to flinch on turn 1.
It's going to force Matt into this position where it's going to be the King Gambit now taking the field instead of that Sinistra. So it's able to come back in and maybe get something.
I feel like I've seen so many shiny King Gambits. Like, to see the red on King Gambit was like a surprise to me. I was like, oh, that King Gambit's different.
Typically see on a Pokemon like that. Ofomezi is going to go ahead and put the foot on the gas. It is the Terra Flying Dragonite to go for something like a Terra Flying Terra Blast.
Yeah, Terra Blast here just so strong. With the Assault Vest set, being able to switch her moves is so valuable as well. So there
Yeah.
is Terra Blast coming out. Does it go into
Coaching
Sinistra?
Terra
It
Blast
does not.
into...
So Hariyama
Ooh.
is just gonna eat that up.
He
That's
was
a
fine
perfect
with,
knockout
yeah, Trick Room
immediately.
going up because he still has the
Ofomezi
extreme
with
speed
perfect
option.
speed and perfect turn 1, and there was honestly very little Matt could do to counter that. And
Yeah.
I mean, Sinistra's just coming back out, but you could just go for another coaching right now.
And I don't even think a defensive Terra into the fairy type would be enough to save it. It's not necessarily too safe in the face of these Pokemon. King Gambit does technically have an opportunity here to be able to get
There's the
better.
Terra. They did stay in with Annihilate, so they got a second coaching off.
We're actually going to see this
It's going to be a second defense boost. I guess they need a Kowtow crit.
Yeah, let's see if it's defensive enough. I mean, this Dragonite at least does not have something like Choice Band, and so Sinister often is very, very bulky, but it's very free to just go for a second coaching here onto the Dragonite. A Dragonite, of course, could launch a super effective tag into the King Gambit, but will just offer the safe Terror Blast and wants to deny Trick Room. So can Sinistra survive right now? Let's see. It is able to survive. Okay.
That's a really big deal. It's going to give a little bit of breathing room for Matt's King Gambit to actually get a Sword Stance up as well. But notably, kind of a secondary effect of coaching is the fact that this Dragonite now also has +2 to its defenses.
Yeah, so you can just go for an extreme speed here potentially to finish off the Sinistra. You can see the strengths out there. If you don't go for extreme speed and you opt for something like Stomping Tantrum instead, then Sinistra can heal against the Dragonite and decrease your attack. So I think extreme speed here probably relatively safe to launch into Sinistra. Once again, Matt doesn't have Protect on any Pokemon on his team, right? So it was a big turn to get the Sword Stance off. The Annihilate now caught into an awkward spot, but and it's kind of forced to switch. But Dragonite's just looking so powerful right now.
It's going to be King Gambit as well. So you can look across the way at its counterpart. And this King Gambit does not have Sword Stance here for Mezzy, but you can see this extreme speed, the perfect counter for this Sinistra, just not being able to actually get those moves off. Matt, just like that, down to the final 2 Pokemon in this first game.
Yeah, so the Kowtow Cleave here, boosted at +2, does okay damage in a Dragonite, but you're still down so much, right? And once again, the scary thing here is there's no Protect, right? And so, for example, the Dragonite can just launch...
What's crazy is he still has the Annihilate in the back that can just delete one of these Pokemon on Trick Room's over.
Versus Primarina speed interaction here, right? And there's a chance that King Gambit on the opposing side is actually faster than Primarina under Trick Room. So you can definitely extreme speed into the Primarina. You can also consider with Dragonite saying, you know what? I think you're not actually going to knock me out. You're scared of my King Gambit. You can go for a Stomping Tantrum on a Gambit. It is, you know, if Matt is actually able to pick up like 2 quick knockouts, like Annihilate is awkward, right? Trick Room is up, it's just going to get demolished if it comes out before Trick Room expires, but I think this is a really, really key turn. Is Matt able to survive with both Pokemon right now?
Which is tough because, like, on the one hand, you do have the +2 to your defenses on Dragonite, but it's going to be the extreme speed into the Primarina. But is it going to be the King Gambit that gets a chance to move first? Kowtow into the Dragonite is not.
It lives.
Yeah, it's slower.
King Gambit's Iron Head
rough.
Primarina before it even gets a chance to move.
Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly. And so once again, with like no ability to protect anything, it's very easy to just double up onto slots here. So even though Trick Room was set up, Mezzy bringing out that King Gambit at the perfect time, playing it super well. I think just great to realize, wow, this Sinistra completely counters my Dondozo, so I don't think I should bring it out. Like, I'm just going to rely on all the other Pokemon on my team. And so
this is a cool team.
For, you know,
I forgot that this was a Dondozo team. This is a cool team.
It's still under 50% at this point.
Yeah, the crit 2 is going to definitely help as well. You see at the +2, it's going to do a meaningful amount of damage to Mezzy's King Gambit, but you still have to contend with this Dragonite. They can go for extreme speed, so you cannot Sucker Punch that Pokemon, and it should just be a matter of time before we do see Mezzy pick up this first game.
I respect not giving up, trying to
such a tough position
get some info out, I guess. But yep.
Of Annihilate plus Dragonite was just really, really smart, realizing, hey, like, I can just get free coaching boosts right now, right?
Huge on lead, yeah.
The Sinistra, like,
it was a very safe lead with the coaching boost.
Across the board here. I think, like,
that was really smart. I like that. That was a very good coaching showcase.
Really good spot in the format right
now. I like that a lot.
People like using that Choice Band, but with Choice Band you have to commit to locking into an attack. With that Assault Vest, you have the flexibility of switching moves, which is really nice. And so
that was fun.
Lead in itself, I think, is just really scary. Now, one of the things you can do if you're Matt is say, well, okay, I don't think Sinistra was actually that good in this matchup because you didn't bring Dondozo, so let me drop it. And then Mezzy could actually end up bringing Dondozo, which would be wild. But I think
the counter to the counter, yeah.
Combos are just really scary. So I think if you're Matt, you have to go back to the drawing board and say, I need a lead that pressures Annihilate plus any physical attack for a little bit more.
What's really nice, like, kind of still
obviously we're trying to count would be really nice. It's really post type. If you have, I think for Matt, if you
Fable, for example, partner
for this game, honestly. So, but threatening the no protect on anything, and it's the same lead here. So let's see, is it the Primarina? The Primarina is led here. It's not going to be the Electabuzz, though, so this is still kind of scary, right? Because you are still threatening the turn 1 coaching into Terra Blast. But Sinistra could Terra. Primarina might be
He's seen it, yeah.
to survive the +1 Terra Blast as well. You do have to worry about final.
You have to Terra into Trick Room, right?
So, but, you know, I like the Primarina lead. I think Hariyama just had no offensive pressure whatsoever. I'm
Yeah.
curious still if Electabuzz is in the back. But, yeah, you know, when I was suggesting Primarina plus Electabuzz, the idea is that Primarina at least exerts so much offensive pressure right now against both of these.
Yeah, well, it's got to be a Terra commit here. Otherwise, you are in danger versus this Dragonite, and you are also not.
I would think
going to
Gleam.
feel
Yeah,
too
just
great
lock into
about
that.
having to take something even like a U-turn from Annihilate. So it is going to be the terastallization for this Sinistra at the very least.
Let's see, I think just not bringing Hariyama as a lead and leading Primarina this time already makes this a much stronger field state for Matt. Turn 1 is still scary, right? Annihilate has a lot of options. There's that U-turn you mentioned, there's Final Gambit, there's coaching. So we're going to see both players trade Terra, and it feels pretty necessary here. I think from Mezzi's spot, you don't 100% need it just because you've got the Assault Vest, but going for that Terra, of course, now enables you to go for that Terra Blast.
Yeah, and we saw, though, that it wasn't necessarily a one-hit knockout onto the Sinistra, especially when
Yeah.
it did end up having
That's
a
his only
multi
bet,
boost.
is that it
So
doesn't
the
knock out.
Sinistra should be relatively safe this time around.
Yeah.
Not too bad to have.
Big
Maybe
Terra
you can
Blast.
actually go for something like a Matcha Gotcha and try to get the
Oh, that
burn
was just
in.
into Primarina.
The Terra Blast
I think that lives.
Primarina is just
Oh!
a knockout.
It does
The
not.
Primarina was not so bulky after all.
Yeah, I
It
was
does
really
not.
curious about that. I wonder if it was a damage roll, but Primarina is such an important offensive option in this, and so
Trick Room still goes up. It's not the end of the world, but that's...
attackers in the back. Yeah, no Electabuzz once again.
Yeah.
And so King Gambit comes out now. The Annihilate caught into an awkward spot, but Dragonite's still threatening with so much damage, right? You do have the Strength Sap to at least decrease the damage output of Dragonite, but and the Dragonite here, its moveset is Extreme Speed, Ice Spin, or Terra Blast Stopping Tantrum, so there's no low kick at least. But this is still really scary, right? Because how are you going to deal enough damage to that Dragonite? It already has that defense boost. So Primarina, I think, being such a pivotal Pokemon here, exerts some pressure away, but I think Electabuzz Sinistra would have been able to maybe set up Trick Room, and then you have Primarina in the back. So let's see. I think, yeah, Matt's at least got to start going for some sword stances. At least you know the Annihilate slot on the opposing side can't really do too much other than go for another coaching.
Hoping for the burns onto both of
Yeah.
these Pokemon.
Oh,
Any burns?
And there's
No, no burns.
Oh no!
no burn comes out, and this Dragonite is free to just launch Stomping Tantrum, +1 attack into King Gambit. It's going to deal super
Ooh,
effective
it
damage
ate it
here,
better than I thought it
and
would.
Coaching just comes out.
But another
once
coaching.
again.
Yeah.
And so now this Dragonite at +2 defense. There's no redirection from this Sinistra as well. It's a really, really difficult spot, especially because
I think it
of
just
course,
kinda takes
this
it.
Sinistra can't even deal damage into the Dragonite. So
Yeah.
survival or knockout was huge, right? If you get the survival there, then you at least get damage off.
Yeah, then you've got... They were locked in the specs dazzling.
Coached my Dragonite enough. I think it's ready to fight the battle. Clefable comes out here as well. Machagacha is going to come out. You're still looking for that burn, but to be honest, even with the burn, I'm not sure it's going to be enough here. So let's see.
It's no burn either. I mean, the King Gambit still gets a chance to move. No extreme speed coming out from this Dragonite, but it's going to be the Stomping Tantrum just to finish the job. That burn would have been critical to have 2 turns ago, but now you get this Clefable on the field next to this Dragonite, so even if you are able to launch any attacks, Clefable gets to follow me them away.
Yeah, and the Hariyama just hits the field, but Flying Terra Blast is just so strong into this team composition. There's the Machagacha, there's a Strange Slap. This is Inner Focus Dragonite, so you can't even flinch it with a Fake Out here. So it's
Yeah.
launch a Terra Blast into
This is
the
looking
Hariyama
pretty
slot
doomed.
Right now, I think. Clefable can just go for something like Follow Me plus
I
Terra
don't think
Blast.
we have
It's
to-
relatively safe. Clefable
Does he pull out something crazy?
Unfortunately, Sinistra not be able to get those burns made this game so much more difficult.
Oh, big
Well,
heavy
the
slam.
first. Still get the burn. Would that be enough to save your Hariyama? This Dragonite has just been able to get KO and it's going to be enough for the second.
Destroyed.
Of the Dragonite. And yeah, I think the thing here is basically the Sinistra set really clever in dealing with Dondozo. Mezzi recognizes it's just too good into Dondozo. It's a bait to bring Dondozo, right?
Yep.
Like, Matt really wants Dondozo to come out, and the Annihilate lead was just so scary when paired with Dragonite. I am not getting burnt by you today. Chips away at the King Gambit.
King Gambit doesn't even get burned to this Terra Fairy.
And
Right cup of tea
GG's.
this time around.
Much here. And I think
GG's.
Scarf
All right.
Really cool, right?
That was yeah. That Scarf coaching, that was sick. I love that set so much. You don't see that a lot because normally you see Scarf Final Gambit Ape on Trick Room, but Trick Rooms tend to have a lot of special attackers, so coaching isn't super valuable there. But next to the, that was sick. That was a sick set. Yeah, next to the Dragonite and the King Gambit that could eat it, and even Dondozo. He has like he can lead into that. He's got options with that coaching. That's so cool.
On a team that broke the format, and I was like, what? Okay, like, let me see this. And I started looking at it, and like, I started to see the vision, and I was like, yeah, coaching Annihilate next to Dondozo or next to another Defiant Mon is so good because, like, if you have like it next to a Mon that can protect, it can protect coaching.
Yeah.
And if you have a Mon that is Dragonite that's immune to fake out, you could just coaching and then immediately start hitting stuff. And there are a lot of times where like
that's a really cool team.
Dondozo to like +2 or 3 before you even combine with Tatsugiri.
Yeah. So it seems like that you see the vision here. You see where this team can go. Do you think this team has what it takes to go all the way?
I think that this is one of the most well-rounded Dondozo teams I've ever seen. As you can see, if I don't bring Dondozo, it still does plenty fine.
Yeah.
So, but like the best case scenario would be that I can bring Dondozo, but sometimes you don't have to because you just coach the things that, like, I don't have Swords Dance on my King Gambit because I don't need it.
Right.
I don't have Choice Band on my Dragonite because I don't need it.
Yeah.
So
why?
So I could just
A lot of different modes that you
like thought it was pretty good. The because I've been doing
very comfortable with. You see
I think we're gonna be sledding, so at least in Regulation 8, I feel like I can play more.
Okay. Where is more game? Oh. Is this a set? Or is this just other... This is a set. Hold on, no spoilers.
I mean, talk about returning to favorites. That's like...
Jump across.
I mean, I'm comfortable with a pair of Pokemon.
Because chip points with, and I really love watching players with that level of comfort and make risk happen.
See the Garchomp and the
Okay.
Volleyball scene. I would expect coming from Chuppa as the Palmont on that team, the Glamora.
Dondozo, pretty standard. Palmont, Glamora,
Talonflame.
Talonflame.
Favorites with the Garchomp and the Corviknight, but Skeledirge? That's a new one.
Yeah, that's I remember
Skeledirge
trying
is
that
fun.
out in, the,
What's up, Grisha?
Regulation A. So again,
Welcome in.
Back, to that,
We're just watching some stream matches that I missed.
Now, much like Dondozo, Skeledirge has the unaware ability, so both sides going to be no.
We can skip through them setting up. Is there anything fancy about this? Power Herb Meteor Beam Glamora, which is good. Mortal Spin, which makes sense in front of Dondozo. Sharp Beak Talonflame. Really want to turn one just delete something with Brave Bird. Gotcha. Terra Flying as well, so the whole game just banked on it. Pretty standard Palmont. Stellar Terra is very fun. So with Electric Terra, it's Squid's time. It's Grouchy time. Because what I think happens, the interaction is, because Double Shock uses your Electric Terra, and if you Electric Terra again, you can Double Shock again. But with Stellar Terra, you can't do that, but you're getting a little more damage up front, and also damage with close combat. I think that's how the interaction goes. Steel Terra on Tatsugiri is fun. That's a pretty good defensive type, yeah, to actually live something. Usually if you're Choice Scarfed, you're not super bulky. He might have the Steel type for something specific. Let's see the other team. I didn't even look at the Dondozo, just standard lefties. Wave Crash, Earthquake. Yep. Life Orb and Nasty Plot on Golden Go. I think that's a little greed, but I think you can get away with that in this format. We love Skeledirge, Torch Song, Slack Off. Unaware, that's really good into Dondozo. That's like the anti-Dondozo set, actually, with the Fairy Terra. You can Torch Song to keep boosting up. Was it Unaware Dondozo? Go back. Give it to me. It was Unaware. So you can't keep Torch Songing forever. But you can wall it pretty hard. So Moonblast, Encore, Tailwind, Sunny Day. This is pretty standard. You'd see this with like Typhlosion. Yes, I guess it's just the sunny day for a Skeledirge at Torch Song. This looks like, are you a Skeledirge believer? In general, yes. I think Skeledirge is a very good Pokemon. In this particular matchup, it's looking a little rough. Yeah. I don't know. I like Skeledirge. I think it can do very funny things. It just needs a good team to prop it up. This feels like, to me, this is probably not the case. This feels like he took a hyper offense like Typhlosion team and just put Skeledirge over Hisui and Typhlosion. I was like, I like this Fire Ghost type better. That's what this feels like to me. I could be wrong. That's Scarf Garchomp. I'm just not realizing that with Ground Terra. Honestly, yeah. Earthquake, you can Earthquake next to both of these. That's it. You can Earthquake next to Whimsicott. It resist. It won't take too much from it. But yeah, no, it can't. Earthquake next to Golden Go. Locking into an Earthquake is rough. Rock Slide's always a good move. Dragon Claw. I wish there was a better dragon move than Dragon Claw. Like a single target. Scarf Chomp, yeah. That's why Dirge and Dango have Protect. That's true. You can, yeah. Bulk up Body Press over the Iron Defense. I guess, yeah, to get some damage off the Brightbird. Corviknight's interesting. Corviknight wasn't on my radar. It's always a good Pokemon. It just hasn't, like, done too much in the meta, you know?
Boost those fire type attacks. And
Like, I've never looked at a team being like, oh, that's your Corviknight answer. But I feel like, I don't know, we could see. Let's fast forward.
Still do it pretty.
That's something we need to circle back. Seeing what it does. It flips, but that's a very potent.
Oh.
And we see 3 Pokemon.
2 Golden Goes?
Want to be hit with Earthquake next to a Garchomp.
I was going to say, shout outs to Chuppa for getting Director Clavel's Palma. That's a very post-game content Pokemon there, but more importantly, we'll be leading it alongside of Golden Go against the Scarf Garchomp and the opposing Golden Go. So definitely some opportunity to see how speeds break down here.
Yeah, and,
Fake out the Garchomp, you lose your Sash.
Both players know.
Yeah, if you fake out the Garchomp, it's rough skin, you lose your Sash. But that would give you a turn, and he's thinking about just Terra Steel, make it rain, which isn't going to do much to Golden Go unless he's reading a Golden Go Terra. I don't think it would do that much to Garchomp either. I think it would do about 75. I don't think it'd be enough for a knockout. And then it can return Scarf, do something to you. I don't know what else you do in this situation, but I don't. It's a rough lead for Chuppa.
Are you really going to lock into the Earthquake? You know, probably some thoughts that perhaps there is a Corviknight in the back.
If he's thinking, yeah, they're going to click Earthquake and switch out the Golden Go, to make it rain to catch whatever's switching in, would be a good play.
For sure. And the other thing that's interesting,
But that's kind of hoping, you know.
trainers could decide to just play very
Protect Quake goes crazy, yeah.
for a nasty plot, which is a strategy that we see a lot of Golden Go players try and weave in when they think they have the opportunity.
Terra on Golden Go, so no switches.
This opportunity to terrestrialize that Golden Go into its steel typing, going to fake.
Yeah.
Not get flinched by that fake out as that's going into the Garchomp. Rough Skin dealing a little bit of recoil.
Broke the Sash, so now it's just down to what the Golden Goes do.
Golden Go that terrestrialized with immediately for Make It Rain.
We'll say about 75. Yeah, it was enough to knock you out. Was that a crit? Or was that just raw? That was just raw. That's crazy.
Can't complain. And from the Life Orb, hurting himself.
I mean, you are giving up your.
That was Life Orb, it wasn't Specs. That's crazy that that's still knocked out. I didn't think it would. Damn, so true.
Yeah, would have been a knockout with that.
Yeah.
Instead, well, your turn you feel pretty good about it for Chuppa, right? You knock out one Pokemon, vastly weaken another, and it's an aggressive terrestrialization. Turn 1, game 1, just going for it.
It's a very aggressive play, yeah.
However,
They got a lot out of it.
on the field has the option of tailwinding here.
If I'm Alberto, game 2, I'm already thinking about game 2 adjustments. But you need to get Garchomp in a little bit of a safer position instead of just off rip. Maybe like a Golden Go Whimsicott lead, and then whenever something faints, bring in the Garchomp.
You gotta prepare for that situation.
They still got Dozo on the back.
Yeah, one thing about choice choice.
Does this set take forever? Hold on.
Always expecting to switch it out within one turn or
Does
have it
this?
knocked out within one turn.
No.
So losing the Garchomp this early on isn't necessarily as much of a step back.
This is a
as
20-minute
it
set.
seems
It's
on
fine.
paper. That being said, though, Chuppa is
The double
taking
switch.
a couple of steps here, going to double switch into the Dondozo and Tatsugiri combination. Which
Okay.
Dondozo
Skip the stat boost.
Boosted a little quicker than Alberto was hoping.
Tail
A
end.
lot of playing Dondozo well, kind of keeping your opponent off guard, but potentially going to take one attack here.
Make it rain.
Will resist this attack and
It's resisted, yeah.
happily avoiding it from the stomach. And yeah, not
Thing about like Dondozo is with spread moves like that, you still get the spread damage reduction because Tatsugiri is still being targeted. Like it's not a single target move into Dondozo, it's still like a spread attack. Because the Tatsugiri is still there to be targeted, but it's just always misses because of commander.
too much damage there.
Not too much damage at all, and Golden Go will be taking a special attack drop on top of that, and we do see
That's
the
crazy.
leftovers
Dondozo's tracked.
actually
Yeah.
on the
Said and done there, kind of lost the damage trade. The important thing when you're playing damage while you're repositioning
Alright.
the board. I think Alberto
Switched out the
Carlos
Golden
is-
Go.
Yeah, we do see Skeletor
Into the Earthquake is rough.
Moonblast will do a little bit of chip damage.
How much is this gonna
but
do?
Skeletor showed up just in time to take an earthquake.
Oh,
It is
I actually
going to
took that
be
pretty well.
effective, but it's not going to do a lot of damage because of that unaware ability. It works two ways. Not only is the Pokemon
Yeah, and I was going to say it takes it really well.
Yeah.
I had just been thinking
Okay.
before I saw the
Chunky Gator, yeah.
Oh, you know, one of the tough things about how quick Chuppa was to get that on the field is now you have to switch into the Earthquake without having the opportunity to terrestrialize Skeletor first to remove that weakness to Earthquake. Didn't really matter. Where still not even close to a 2-hit KO. And yeah, you see why Skeletor is on the team right now.
Yeah.
Not such a popular Pokemon, but when
What was the item on Dirge? Lefties? Yeah. Earthquake would cover for just to get a little chip on the, yeah.
I feel bad for this Whimsicott though, as Moonblast did not do a lot of damage, and it almost feels like it's stuck out on the field for the time being. We will see the terrestrialization come through from Alberto, and
Yeah, he has
like
to.
you were hinting at, it is Skeledirge turning into that fairy type, so no more weakness to Earthquake.
Yeah, and hey, Whimsicott might not be in such a bad spot, right? You know, it's not going to get too much done, but you know, what Pokemon does against Dondozo, but you know, its support moves can still be useful here. Sunny Day.
Sunny Day, still just going for the Torch Song.
They're now both immune to dragon type attacks, and you know, if we see any Torch Songs, I'm sure Skeledirge will appreciate the sign.
Here comes another Earthquake, but it does even less damage to Skeledirge this turn. Torch Song won't be doing super effective damage by any
still did a
means.
lot.
It gets the critical hit, and I think more importantly for this matchup, we'll be boosting the special attack
That was a crit,
of
yeah.
Skeledirge by one stage. You see from
The Dondozo's unaware too, right? So the boosts don't matter.
That's a scary thing about this, right? It's not really about.
I guess for later in the match, like whenever Dondozo drops,
Going to be pretty far behind in this game, so
Chupacross is still in the lead right now. Because he's still got both Palmot and Golden Go in the back. The Skeletor just got to do a lot of work.
Yeah, I really love Shadow Ball and Slack Off at late game. Especially since we know Golden Go's
Yeah,
still
you confirmed
better than
unaware.
Chuppa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably already at the point where, you know, one Torch Song would knock out Palmot, one Torch Song would knock
Yeah.
out Golden Go. So he's actually not that far to the point where, you know, Skeledirge kind of just takes care of this one. Unfortunately, having to switch the Golden Go into the Earthquake kind of slow down the rate at which Skeledirge loses its friend Whimsicott. Instead,
Okay.
Whimsicott will be able to come back out. Shadow Ball trainers will have an opportunity round, and
I think I really like how to
Shadow Ball.
kind of won before. I think he'll probably pick up a knockout this turn. At least this ensures he's
one potentially final Earthquake from this Dondozo versus
Yep.
to deal Tatsugiri on the field as it finally makes its reappearance. Along
struggled to
I love how Tatsugiri just appears.
Tatsugiri on the field as it finally makes its reappearance.
Bop.
Alongside of the Golden Go in the back, and then
Croc
also
versus the
Palmot.
world. Kid, they do it.
at all on this now fairy type Skeletor. The one
Palmot, Protect is free for Skeledirge here. Just stall out the fake out. Yeah, they still do it just to keep him honest. Icy Wind.
I mean, the fake out
They
with
didn't-
Icy Wind here, I think, is very safe, but I would be tempted, especially with the Tatsugiri still around, to like try and do that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason not to do it.
Meanwhile, in reality, Tatsugiri is crawling out of Dondozo.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair, that's fair.
But I think it's a good point. It's something to keep in mind
That's
with
such a
this,
great
right?
visual.
You don't necessarily only need to knock Dondozo out once. There's is certainly the option to do it again, although I think Chepa
The
has
torch
several
song like
ways he
blew
can
a hole in
start getting
Dondozo's
out.
chest, and Tatsugiri's like just looking out the hole like, oh my god.
It's really the signature move of Palmont. Would close it out.
So I think really, but like you need.
Yeah, he had the revival blessing on deck too. I didn't even think about that to bring Dondozo. Chepa Cross is so ahead that game.
For that one.
Okay, replays, yeah.
Ramped.
Yeah, and I think kind of.
What's the game 2 adjustment?
Can you still get to Pokemon?
Yeah.
As you know, element of his
I'm rooting for Croc here.
play.
Berto's Pokemon flying type, so that would be the
Chepa's team's kind of fire. It's pretty standard Dozo stuff. Talonflame for the adjust the like a more offensive Prankster Tailwind setter. Yeah. Grace, you missed it earlier on stream. Somebody had Scarf Annihilate with the final Gambit set, but they had coaching on it, and it had Dragonite, King Gambit, and Dondozo. So both games he did coaching onto Dragonite, and it was just free. They swept a Dragonite after that. It was such a cool team. That Annihilate set was so cool. I've taken notes. Yeah. Is he just gonna blow up the Whimsicott right now?
Especially because Chepa doesn't have to terrestrial.
It is Sash on the Whimsicott. Gambit Ape scares me. It's one of my favorites. Just the... It puts so much control in your hand, right? Like, you're trading 1 for 1, but you get to choose, like, who you're taking with you, right? And especially because I play a lot of Trick Room. That's kind of like my bread and butter. When I don't know what to play, I just go back to playing hard Trick Room. And then Final Gambit on lead, you get a free switch in, right? So it's like Gambit Indeedee or whatever, right? And then you Final Gambit, take out a Pokemon, and then you have Armourouge Indeedee out for free. Okay.
So a very different plan. Like Operation Skeletor didn't go the best. Perhaps hoping that maybe there is no Dondozo this time, or just thinking
Golden Go
solution to it.
Here comes Tailwind from a Whimsicott, and I have a feeling there will not be a
Big Bright Bird. The Whimsicott is faster.
Bird is going to bring Whimsicott straight down to its focus sash. So while Alberto's Golden Go will be attacking first, we did see from the previous game that Chepa's own Golden Go could have taken a Shadow Ball. Instead, Make It Rain will actually almost KO the Talonflame.
Did about half.
A ton of damage. Chepa will be able to pick up the KO though with his own Make It Rain on the opposing Whimsicott to close out this turn.
Yeah, so once again, we're going to see Chepa get the Pokemon advantage immediately, but I think it's kind of an interesting spot for Alberto this time. Again, it depends on what's in the back, or like, is there some way you can still handle the Dondozo?
Yeah.
I guess potentially Skeletors can still beat it with how little Earthquake.
Somebody keeps trying to cut the cheese, axes, and Golden Go's head.
As you mentioned, this is not
I see it, yeah.
Pokemon X and Pokemon Y version of
String
Talonflame
cheese, man.
full health to have access
I
to
see
Tail
it.
Wings. No longer has priority with
I see the vision.
and letting this switch out, although I guess it doesn't matter if
Skeletor is here.
It doesn't. Some of the Tailwind turns on the opposing side of the field.
Just protect the Talon. Okay.
Does have access to protect. I know in previous formats in particular, you just don't have the double protect. In this particular situation where your opponent can get the double knockout pretty comfortably.
So Alberto has Tailwind and Chepa doesn't, so maybe he's talling for Tailwind turns.
The additional Dozo does make the field. It can really start threatening that.
Yeah. Double protect here.
Anyway, we do see Alberto just goes for the attack, needs to do damage in order to
Make it rain.
Here, and where you immediately go to Dondozo. If you do immediately go to Dondozo, which slot do you go for? Or can you successfully line up Tatsugiri with the Torch Song to see which side Alberto guesses as he tries to...
Just a full Dozo flip here.
I feel like sometimes resist, and knowing that, like, I feel like you just have to guess here, and you're either going to guess right or guess wrong. So we saw, since we're seeing Chepa's,
with both of these, ideally now Make It Rain a lot worse than Shadow Ball. Can ignore his own special attack drop if he picks the right target. So we'll have to see, are the attacks going behind door number 1 or door number 2?
And unfortunately, we do have to wait a moment here as Dondozo, those sharp boosts and Shadow Ball.
Into the Tatsu.
Slot, Torch Song,
Into the Tatsu slot. Oh, that's so rough. Now you just protect, and that's last turn of Tailwind, right? You probably eat and can Earthquake in return. Yeah, that's pretty free.
chance to have protected.
Oh, that's so rough.
Built the Trick Room, or just going for the Earthquakes, feeling like, hey, you know, we're gonna have to trade blows here, so it doesn't really matter if Tailwind is still active or not.
I mean, that's the thing, right? In game number 1, we saw just be getting any one-hit knockouts in this.
Yeah. What did Choppa lock in? Did he lock in Protect? No, just did Earthquake. No, switch. Ooh, Corviknight? Okay.
Showing up over Garchomp, as we kind of expected, at least able to reduce the effectiveness of this Earthquake strategy.
Yeah,
Nice.
unlike the Tatsugiri, who's just hiding out.
Unaware Skeledirge.
Corviknight just floats over that Earthquake.
Just
and
chipping
Torch
away.
Song will begin side of the field. Not only do you have Skeledirge now using Torch Song to get those special attack boots, the Corviknight
Wave Crash is still gonna tickle.
before it starts going
Yeah,
on
it
the
needs a
offensive.
couple bulk
I mean,
ups.
set boosts aren't going to matter until Dondozo's knocked out. Where
What's the item? Citrus Berry and Corviknight?
This is really picked up, but,
With the
I think
bulk
putting Alberto in a more
ups.
realistic spot, right? At this time, at least, there is a
There's a way. I think you'd still need to be swinging Body Press instead of Brave Bird on Dondozo.
However, yeah, I mean,
And so I think you would need 3 bulk ups for that before you're doing like substantial damage.
an option, or either there could be option for order
Then
up.
eating some Wave
Dondozo's
Crashes.
It will matter against everyone but Skeledirge, and
Yeah.
Skeledirge isn't able to terrestrialize.
There's no sun, so Wave Crash is still gonna tickle into Corviknight.
Yeah, and I think that if I were Alberto, I'd try and utilize this. It's almost like a bit of a slow moment, right, in the game, because you know it's going to take Dondozo a couple of here.
And now the Dondozo's gonna start boosting while the Corviknight's boosting.
Immediately, I would assume
Oh,
that
caught the
Alberto's
Protect.
hitting with that Protect there.
I think he just keeps swinging by that
Is
point.
going to want to try and find some opportunities to boost his own stats, so it's available in the by one stage. Brave Bird,
Oh, he just
though,
swung with Brave Bird.
doesn't do damage.
They're just banking on crits. Yeah.
Super effective.
I feel like Sun is good in this format if you do it right. Yeah, Weather Wars is always good. Sun into Dondozo right here would have been really good because it would have resisted the... It would have weakened the Wave Crash onto the Corviknight. But they just decided to swing with Order Up anyways to boost their own stats while they were expecting the Corviknight to start bulking up. But yeah, because they've already burned their Terra on the Golden Go, so they could just order up for free.
A strange one.
I am curious, though, at which point Alberto decides to go on the offense with his 2 Pokemon, because I think he has a bit more of an interesting mind game here, where you have to juggle, you know, the slack off, dealing damage, boosting up your own stats.
Can I put that
I love
under...
That Shadow Ball into Dondozo, because I feel like that's an indication that
I can, but then you won't see chat. Okay.
Torch Song.
I'll have to play
Maybe
with
it's
this
a
new
right amount
chat
of
thing.
damage against that Pokemon, but
Unaware.
unaware, yes.
But the chip does matter a lot because, yeah, I mean,
Because I like
really
the text
so
in
much
chat to be
evolution
bigger,
once
but then it
Dondozo's
covers
out.
over the...
Again, you know, Alberto has Pokemon where he's going to be able to
The
deal
screen.
with this Dondozo. However, once he does, you know, there's still 3 healthy-ish Pokemon on Choppa's side of the field.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a world where he can get Tailwind off this time. Talonflame, even though it doesn't have Gale-Winds active, it's just naturally going to be faster than all of the remaining Pokemon. So
Maybe there's a way you can make it tall, not long. Yeah, I'd have to play with it. I think I have to go out to the extension, because it's like a browser thing. So I'd have to go out to the browser extension to play with some settings.
That matters, especially when you look at the
That would be for
use
another
every
time.
possible minute of this matchup. Imagine doing that.
I think that's why he's one of our players to watch, right? It's not just that he's experienced the KO in the court.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
is
think
definitely
Choppa's got this locked down.
from
Dondozo is down.
Go on the offense.
A very difficult
Yes.
position for Alberto. That Choice Scarf Tatsugiri, naturally going to be the strongest Pokemon in the field. This time there is no sunny day, so even a muddy water is potentially very devastating to the other side of the field.
Yeah.
Talonflame now can come in. You have a litany of reasonable options, right? You can go for the Tailwind and try to make things easier for
Litany.
Go on
There's
side
your
of the field.
vocab
I
word
think
for the
go
day.
Brave Bird,
Litany
which
of
is
options.
a self-knockout at this point. I think that's a little dangerous, but hey, you know, you need some more damage.
Yeah, Muddy Water's gonna hurt here.
Or you just
Tailwind is free. Talonflame's fastest thing here.
overwhelmingly the best choice here.
Yeah, I think that your goal here is to try.
I thought
and
Tailwind
deal
was free,
as much
but-
damage as possible with the Tatsugiri before going on the offense with the Talonflame.
Yeah, and like I think, you know, realistically,
Maybe it's a
Talonflame
slow
only gets one
Talonflame.
swing.
Yeah.
So you get more information.
But there's no
Like,
way
yeah,
Talonflame,
probably
even a slow
want to have
Talonflame
water,
is...
can learn if that hits or not, and then also kind of get a feel for how much health these other Pokemon are going to have to try to make a more predictable end game for your Golden Go. And hey, you know, maybe you get lucky and you know you get an attack and a Talonflame protect.
Okay, Muddy Water.
Muddy Water will not hit the opposing Golden Go thanks to that Protect, and will connect with the Skeledirge for an actually super effective
About 65.
hit. Shadow Ball, though, will
How much is this gonna do?
fire into that Tatsugiri, bringing it down
About
to
half.
below half its health. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, suddenly Tatsugiri's looking like the sweeper here. It's like, hey, you know, you may have knocked out.
To me here is just how quickly the tides have turned.
Chuppa's up so many resources.
All of a sudden,
Oh, the
it's
double
just
protect.
focusing
Yeah,
on
GG's.
a little bit of health, but not for
Yeah, put your abacuses away, everyone. Unaware can't hurt us anymore. What an excellent match that was. Chuppa really showing his mastery of that team. And props to Alberto, too, right? I mean, you see...
Yeah, very...
could have dealt with the... Dondozo had things going just a little bit differently.
Very,
really well, just got
put on a clinic, you could say, for Dondozo team. Oh, what do we got here?
Recommended to us. I think it's a huge improvement.
I think looking at what VJ's cooking for this round, I think
VJ.
very unique pick.
Gabby is cheesing. VJ, what do you got for me?
As VJ on the left-hand side.
Meowscarada. Oh.
Y'all, you don't need glasses. This is
Okay, this is the Flamigo team that I saw. There's a Scyther on screen.
And then the more anticipated Pokemon.
Meowscarada, Sylveon, Scyther, Snorlax. That's crazy.
Tauros is like the second or third least weird Pokemon in your
Jeremy, though, not going to be left out of the Groovy Challenge.
This is crazy.
They have brought Flamigo. And then
I love
some more
Flamigo.
Popular Pokemon like the Golden Go, the Incineroar, the...
What does Snorlax do on this team?
Porygon too, but
I can't wait to see the sets.
Yeah, some of these Pokemon mechanics...
Okay. It's just AV Snorlax. That's so raw. I didn't think there'd be enough damage. Key Crash, Double Edge. Is that Psychic Terra? Is that correct? Is that correct? Hammer Arm Protect, Dual Wing Beat. Dual Wing Beat, Thief, Close Combat. I get Thief for the Technician. That's wild. Wild Charge on the Tauros is crazy. White Herb. This is an insane. I love the Terra Blast tech. Because that's a fairy move before you Terra. With the Fairy Feather. Just having a single target move. Yeah, that's a good Sylveon set. Sash Meowscarada. Sucker Knock. This is crazy. What does this Snorlax do? Is it calced for something specific? It's Thick Fat. Is this his Hisuian Typhlosion answer? Like Snorlax Tauros on lead?
I knew what was up.
Yeah, I believe
that's crazy.
Tinkaton guy.
Yes.
There's no longer a Tinkaton, but you know, again, if Tinkaton, I used to snore like almost to. I'm very.
It's the most offensive of Pokemon on the
I do remember seeing a tweet about Scyther yesterday.
with actually scrappy, which means
Yeah, we know everything about this. Pretty standard.
Close combat with those attacks. Also, one of the few wide guard users that's actually been running wide guard in the metagame right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've you know, again, we've seen Scrappy a little bit. I think I was actually on Wolf's
Scrappy
team,
Flamigo's good.
Star
Pretty standard on everything else.
going to be the primary performer here.
Clear Smog on the Amoonguss, worth noting. I think the paste I had earlier had Sludge Bomb over Clear Smog. I like Clear Smog as a Dondozo check. The Terra-fighting Terra Blast P2. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty normal for you that has protect through.
Of momentum having day 2 Worlds in Honolulu, but we're going to be starting things off with the Incineroar lead. Okay, that's one thing that you can count on in BGC, alongside a Porygon 2 for Jeremy, but Meowscarada and
That's a huge Intimidate for Jeremy.
on the field for VJ.
Yeah, 3 Pokemon you probably weren't expecting to see.
Oh.
In the last format we saw, see the White Herb on this Tauros, different,
Okay.
you know, like a herb-based item than we typically see. Often the Mirror Herb on Tauros. Instead, the throwback White Herb.
If you weren't a bot, make an unban request. If not, bye. Is he just swinging? He's got a free close combat, but it's -1. None of these get knocked out.
But at the same time, what is it going to do in this position?
Well, it's 2 Pokemon that don't want to be hit by close combat, so I'd say not such a bad spot to be. And while this Meowscarada has been intimidated, trick, but I think that's very unlikely at this point.
It's Sylveon that takes
Oh, they just coming in.
for the
Okay.
So VJ was known for running Meowscarada and a Tinkaton fairy type, so they sort of have that synergy going, not really as much. We do get the
let me
Trick
see.
Room from the Porygon 2, though, as I believe we saw Fake Out go into the Tauros.
So everything is expected. The close combat now looking a
Can I
little
get
further
moderator
away.
view on my
Both of
phone?
these Pokemon are weak against it, and Incineroar probably pretty likely to flee battle here, and even Porygon
I guess not.
going to survive a close combat at this point. So Incineroar getting out.
I am curious, though, how this switch is going to work out for Jeremy. It is a Moongus, so having access to redirection with Rage Powder will be huge against this Tauros if it is able to attack, as that Terra Blast brings it down into the yellow.
Okay, guess I
Hyper
can't see
Voice
mod
followed
view
up
on my
with a
phone.
close combat.
That's fine.
Porygon 2 is able to
Munga
hold
switched in.
on.
Porygon 2
It's a
lives.
little tricky here, unlike the Aqua Breed Tauros, so no priority.
Oh, it was White
Tauros,
Herb.
you'd assume if
So that
someone's
was a
up
free
in
close
the
combat, yeah.
happily redirecting
Oh,
it.
for sure.
And
Did they get Trick Room set?
Pokemon to see now, where Amoongu's gonna be the slowest Pokemon in the field. Everything that we've seen so far on the other side of the field really doesn't want to play against Amoongus. So, a Pokemon that could be very pivotal in this matchup.
VJ really has to struggle against this Trick Room because of that lack of priority at this point in time. And even if the Meowscarada comes back out onto the field, either through a KO or a switch, Sucker Punch just isn't going to work out at the end of the day, I think, to out-damage Jeremy at this point in time. Yes, Porygon 2 is on its last
There's
legs.
some priority.
I was going to say, that's a priority attack from Sylveon. Pixelate making that normal type attack a fairy type attack will pick up that KO.
Spore.
Tauros, it's a fire type Pokemon, and if
Flare
there's
Blitz
one
over
thing
Raging
Lucas
Bull worth
cannot
noting.
take is the heat from a Flare Blitz.
Well, we see.
I don't think Raging Bull would have KO'd there.
Pokemon just get absolutely obliterated there, and by that Terra Blast, still able to slightly do its part to help try to stall out this Trick Room with a Protect here. But if able to come back in later once Trick Room expires, now.
Still have terrestrialization on their side of the field, and I think that Ursaluna almost has to terrestrialize at this point if you're worried about the grass type attacks from the Meowscarada, but its Terra type is Ghost, so it's going to be taking super effective damage from those dark type attacks. So as long as VJ is able to find a way through these next Trick Room turns, I think that Meowscarada is going to be so happy to make an
So
appearance.
no Protect, maybe just calling a substitute and
Big sub.
Knockoff
Okay.
will knock out that Tauros, that is correct.
to see the power substitute here. Come on, wanting to make sure that if Trick Room does expire, still in a position
What the Scyther do?
get some work done.
Scyther,
Had to step away for dinner, but am back. Welcome back. Welcome back, Paint. What'd you think about the team so far? Record, there's a Scyther on my screen right now. I don't know if you can see. There's a Scyther right here. Protect stall Trick Room turns. Yeah. Populio's going to bed early. Good. Populio deserves it. They need some sleep. They've been girl bossing around too much.
Lose that Scyther to a potential Facade and Flare Blitz double up, but
Facade,
still,
Flare Blitz.
what a unique Pokemon pick to bring into this tournament.
Yeah, kind of not such a bad Pokemon to have here right now. Like, I'm not super familiar with my Scyther defensive stat calcs, but you'd think that with the EV, like
The only time I've remembered seeing a Scyther was with Wide Guard and Feint next to Kyogre. And that was Generation 8. But it was Feint to break Wide Guard. But yeah, the Technician dual Wing Beat is the main reason you bring Scyther. Girl bossing instead of napping.
Scyther's coming in. Oh, that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. Not quite the knockout, but that Incineroar is at such low health. It's possible that Sylveon's Hyper Voice, with that Fairy Feather still intact, would be enough to pick up that damage, or maybe just some recoil. We see Flare Blitz.
How much is this recoil gonna do?
Scyther,
That's enough.
but that'll actually take the Incineroar off the board.
And Sylveon's been
It's a
sleeping
doozy
for
of a
long
book.
time.
It has.
Sylveon woke up. Hyper Voice hit through sub. How much is it gonna do? That's huge. That's like 2 Protect turns. Facade, and now you've got Meowscarada.
Really bad for there. Where like I think breaking this up
Because they still. Oh no, it's just.
because then Meowscarada gets to come in, fire off a super.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. Never mind. I was gonna say with the substitute till there, this would be a big deal, except for Focus Ashes.
I think with the burn, yeah, you protect. The burn might do it.
Twice, although there's not really any reason not to weave protect here and get the burn damage as well. But should be.
Oh, this match is crazy.
Victory here, thanks to the heroics of Tauros and Scyther in game 1.
What a
Does it live the burn damage?
crazy game. It will take a couple of turns for this to resolve.
Kind of thinking of using Meowscarada. I think it's slept on. I think it's low-key good. Richie was playing around with Meowscarada, and he was doing like Grass Pledge, Fire Pledge stuff. It is a little gimmicky, but I think Meowscarada, like just straight Meowscarada, can be pretty good.
Oh, but
Flower check.
this game with a little bit of style. This will be, I think, our first stellar
It is Sash.
on stream of the season. And
It is Sash, so it's going to guarantee to live a hit.
it's very sparkly and will certainly do enough damage to break the
Cat got the turtle on the head.
Finally.
This substitute is hosed.
It really is.
Substitute is toast, dude.
Talk about BJ's game plan going into this game 1, as I'll be honest with you,
Guys,
I
did
was
Scyther
a little
just
bit
win a game?
skeptical about the Scyther, but seeing it do enough damage to ensure that Flare Blitz is a KO in return for the trade, I feel like that was something he had to have calced for, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Unlike Jeremy, likely very important.
Holy shit, crit mattered.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting where you don't.
And
see a
there's
lot
the
of
burn chip.
fighting type Pokemon with powerful fighting type attacks. Scyther, not too many people's teams.
GG's, GG's, GG's.
Very impressive.
Okay.
Too. We didn't forward the fact that I don't know if I'm feeling.
Snorlax on this team is so cool.
Snorlax is right on top of the list too early enough
Choosing to put Sylveon to sleep with that sport.
other than stalling.
Oh, this is the replay. Okay.
Your approach to this
I love seeing Paldean Tauros.
tipping for them, and it's a
That's
little
one of my
bit-
favorite Pokemon this generation.
One positive thing I think I would say on Jeremy's side of the field is that game 1 is much more difficult to.
I will say, Jeremy's team, there's a couple of different versions of it floating around. It's sick. Flamigo, I'm absolutely a massive fan of. The Incen P2 core with the Ursaluna, good. I was playing a few games with, not this version of the team, the version I had Sludge Bomb on Amoonguss. But just fighting Terra P2. Just blasting like Arcaludon, Incineroar. It's crazy. My takeaway from Baltimore is that you can make anything work in Reg H. There's a lot more things that are viable, yeah. If you have like a solid game plan with it. I'm not going to say you can make anything work. I'm not going to say you could roll up with like Sprigatito and be like, ah yes, my Sprigatito is going to run through this tournament. But now there's a ton more that's viable. And that's like the best part about this regulation is you see so much variety. Oh, sorry. Allergies are bothering me today. I love it. That means my Goofy teams I'm building are going to be a blast. This is the season for Goofy. This is the time. I feel like that's what a lot of people who like don't go to tournaments and just play VGC casually. They just want to play their favorite mons. Like this is the regulation for that.
You're a team that's kind of this unexpected when you're on the other side of the field. Where, well, Jeremy's team is a little bit of a swap from what we're used to seeing with that Flamigo.
Kingdra Clear Smog? That'd be sick into Dondozo, actually.
Generally, it's something that VJ could have prepared for, where no one's preparing for this. So at least like
Me, except I also want to go to tournaments. I believe in you, Grace. You've been on your training arc. I like seeing. Guys, Grace is kind of sick at this game. I don't know if you've watched them. Support Kingdra. That's wild. What else does Kingdra get? Icy Wind. Icy Wind, Clear Smog. It gets Helping Hand? Does it get Helping Hand? I feel like everything gets Helping Hand, but Kingdra doesn't have hands.
I'm honestly surprised in the best way possible. Like
That's my current plan to try.
talking about creativity, both coming into this
Scald,
tournament
that's
and
true.
obviously
That is also true.
other segments of this
I think
tournament. BJ is the
for like a Swift Swim
embodiment of
support user,
creativity right
Ludicolo
now.
might be
When
the
you
better
have a
pick.
format where you
If
know there's
Ludicolo
gonna be
gets
some
Clear Smog,
creativity,
that's
you have
the
these
pick.
Pokemon that you've been
Because like
playing
Fake Out,
time and
Scald,
time
Clear
and
Smog,
time,
Icy
have that
Wind.
experience, you can find these opportunities
Free.
for these Pokemon to shine, and as we see a
Nothing gets Scald
repeat
anymore.
of
I feel like a lot of things get
Sylveon
Scald.
Porygon 2
It's just not everything gets Scald anymore.
BJ is in the driver's
Sinistcha gets scald. Miloto gets scald. Slowking gets scald.
Last time that was a turn one switch, so you know, can't fake up both Pokemon, right? You're either going to get that hyper voice off a turn faster, or a close combat's going to come out here and chuck one of these two Pokemon.
Yeah, Tauroska's really good into this lead.
Maybe Blaze Breed Tauros a little underrated. I thought its water type cousin was pretty impressive as well. But, you know, Tauros seems like it does well in these formats where the average stats are just a little bit lower.
I gotta say, I think Dwee's having a field day right now, given that Tauros is absolutely driving this match forward. The one thing I want to point attention to as well here as we go into this turn number 1, I think looking at which Pokemon VJ targets in terms of who do you close combat will give us a good indication of who's in the back. Because if it is going to be the Snorlax finally making an appearance in this game too, just yet, as they will be
I don't think the Snorlax is going to make an appearance. That Snorlax set, by the way, is so sick. It's a salt vest with thick fat, so it can wall Hisui and Typhlosion. Like it's a normal type, but it has like basically a 4 times resist on his. It's such a sick Snorlax set with high horsepower to KO in return.
Vijay is red hot. Just absolutely calling that one useless switch. Not going to have Incineroar for the rest of the game. No fake out coming out. So Sylveon also going to be able to dish out
bit of chip.
Hey, you know, it's not a whole lot, but
a bit of chunk.
Up for it and remove an entire Pokemon. A very problematic Pokemon, I might add.
Porygon 2, the living legend.
This team who really do not want to be intimidated.
Crazy.
This is a pretty scary
physical attack on download.
Could we be seeing
so Porygon's not going to be doing too much.
5-0?
I think it's very likely. The Flare Blitz into that.
Flare Blitz into Amoonguss is free, yeah.
Play, especially when you consider this Amoonguss is running both Pollen Puff and
Jeremy's
the only way it can avoid
Jeremy's out here is okay.
Party, which is what we see, but they're sending in that Ursaluna.
Ursaluna?
Might be able to take one attack here, but can it take 2?
I wonder if it can take this one hit and
it's gonna be
the Flare Blitz had a burn chance. I saw the line where like Flare Blitz burned him. They needed to just let Amoonguss go down. The Amoonguss has Pollen Puff, but do they have enough time to get it in? I don't think so. I think Quick Attack's honestly free into the Ursaluna. Flare Blitz. Okay. Yeah. Switch to.
He's going to go for it. Or they are going to go for it.
Yeah, they are going to go for it. But at what cost? The nice thing here is that Amoonguss will return to the field at full health thanks to the regeneration.
The protect.
Ability.
Okay.
So that can sort of open the door here. We'll probably
do they live the burn chip?
On the switch, assuming the Tauros targets down that
I still think the Quick Attack gets it. Because they want to Pollen Puff the Ursaluna. It's just a matter of do they live the burn chip? They do.
Awkward position where Amoonguss needs to use both Rage Powder and Pollen Puff in this
at the same time, yeah.
That is not a thing. So now I think you probably have to switch Ursaluna back out for Porygon and try to.
Senna's here. She says hi. Hi, Senna. I was actually playing Xenoblade 3 earlier today, where Senna got her name.
It is real.
Hi, Senna. Be sure to hit something with a hammer, Senna. You deserve it.
How Jeremy is keeping their composure in this matchup. I feel like a lot of times when you're playing a matchup like this, where there's no way you could have.
The Quick Attack here is so strong on Sylveon.
It's very easy to get lost.
This is a crazy ass team.
But they are keeping their.
Yeah, double protect just to stall out the burn chip.
Very exploitable turn. I'm surprised to see this.
We knew going into this turn that there was going to be a double protect here from VJ, protecting both the Pokemon from.
Quick Attack is underrated. Yeah, especially on Sylveon. Oh, that's huge, actually. Oh, wait. Jeremy has a chance to pull this back now. This is huge.
Yeah, I mean, you could go for a second Pollen probably and just target the Tauros.
Needs the double protect.
But not got that way. Suddenly you wind up with 3 pretty healthy Pokemon again. And there's a real chance that Jeremy can pull this one back. It's been such a great start to this game, but
Quick Attack is a slower extreme speed. It's classic, yeah.
It's a tough call to make because at the end of the day, you definitely have to watch out for Trick Room. You have to watch out for the fact that both these.
They're just sacking the Meowscar out of here.
And with
Is this the last turn at Trick Room? No, this is only the second turn at Trick Room, I think.
potential for Jeremy, but I think
That pollen puff was huge.
taking a step off the gas like you
Quick
really
attack was so free
did.
there.
Momentum
Like,
back
that's all you had to
there.
do was click
Nail
quick
Drop
attack.
will switch out onto the field. Tauros will be KO'd by the Facade, finally landing. At least the Meowscarada won't be put to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, nice switch there where
Yeah.
does predict the sports and the Pollen Puff gets it right. So Ursula not quite as healthy as it could be, and Meowscarada now going to the option of hopefully surviving long enough to be on the field as the Trick Room expires, and then able to ignore this Rage Powder and start causing problems for whatever Pokemon is alongside Amoonguss when that occurs.
Scyther is actually crazy here.
The Incineroar on the opposing side of the field anymore.
Double protect to get around. Yep. This is the last turn at Trick Room.
Wait for the end of Trick Room here,
Yeah, so this is another
but-
scary double protect, right? Where there's
Yeah.
no nothing to stop the option of another Pollen Puff, and there's also the chance for a substitute, although a little risky perhaps at this point with how
Does
low
side
the
pollen puff go
is.
through protect? No.
You just go for another Pollen Puff.
It
Maybe
will
that
get
call
blocked by
earlier on
protect
in
if you
the
side
game.
pollen puff.
You could try and make it again. Okay, here we go. Substitute.
Oh, the sub came
will
first.
protect the Ursaluna from any priority attacks, and here's a fun fact for you. Pollen Puff into substitute will.
That's insane.
That's a very great play. Jeremy is
I didn't know that. That pollen puff into substitute still works. That's insane.
Expired that Ursaluna has the substitute up and
Yeah,
also
is
has
pollen puff a sound move?
Lucas alongside of it.
No way. It's a puff of pollen.
Ursula was once so weakened that it was a single attack
That's
away.
crazy. I didn't know that went through substitute. It does not go through protect, but that's crazy that it goes through substitute.
This is the risk of just double protecting your way through Trick Room, right? Where if your opponent's in wave taking advantage of it, as we mentioned in the pregame, not Earthquake there, instead substitute. And now Jeremy's put themselves in just such a nice position where this game just felt so over. This is why you don't lock in the forfeit when you still have a way out.
You do never give up until the final Pokemon.
Oh, Jeremy is fighting for his life right now.
I'm going to work on that. For now, knockoff into the Amoonguss will get rid of its items, but Dual Wing Beat.
Big Dual Wing Beat on the Scyther.
Pick up the KO there. That is boosted by that
Who gets hit with the Facade?
A good chunk of damage, possibly even get that knockout.
Into the Scyther if they
Now
wants like the
additional chip
knockout.
from knockoff, assuming there is no berry in play, of course. Facade coming through will connect with that Scyther. No Eviolite in play there, as that is yet again a one-hit KO on that Pokemon.
Yeah, it's big too. I think if Scyther had survived that, it like kind of looked over.
Yeah.
But now I think it really is.
That one hit KO animation is so BM.
Jeremy favored. There's no longer a great way to stop this Trick Room. There's the awkwardness of Hyper Voice going through substitute here, and
I think Hyper Voice and Flower Trick into the Porygon 2 does get the knockout.
Because suddenly that Meowscarada needs to do a lot before.
I think VJ still has this.
You'd like to get another swing on the Ursaluna.
Facade is ridiculous. Yeah, Guts Facade is crazy.
I almost feel like
If they're gonna keep using the Oko graphic, I think they should update it.
time to reset it, and you
Yeah.
just gotta go for it.
I don't even remember the Oko graphic before,
Certainly a pace
like,
that
last
VJ
year.
is going to be matching with that Terra Stellar
or like earlier this year, I think. I don't think that was a thing.
knockoff into Porygon 2.
Yeah, and that knocks off the Eviolite.
The Eviolite, like you just mentioned, Scott. Hyper Voice going to
Big
follow
Hyper
up
Voice.
the 1-2 punch, and it is enough to
Yeah.
pick up the KO on Porygon 2. So even though there is a substitute present on the field for Ursaluna, and even though the Facade will be picking up that KO on Sylveon,
Wait, no,
we're
this.
once again in a end game where
Yeah, but
Meowscarada
Meowscarada has the sash.
intact, just has to wait 1-2 more turns for that burn to pick up the KO.
Wow, I mean, it was so close, right? I think if Porygon 2 is able to survive the
Crazy
match, we have
game.
a different winner of this game too, but I don't think there's any way Ursaluna is going to be able to stop this Meowscarada, and we see the power of that Stellar Terra type. We've seen it a lot on these Focus Sash Pokemon, able to boost whatever attack you need. Meowscarada is probably not going to survive more than 2 swings anyway.
Ghost Terra,
so
interesting.
For a defensive Terra type, and that extra damage and that knockoff could make all the difference in this match.
We see another terrestrialization from the
Oh, he's just
Ursaluna on the opposing
Cutting up,
side
having
of
a
the
good
field.
time. You can see this
Maybe
player
just
cam
trying
here.
to match the sparkles.
He's just talking.
Another substitute as well. I think Jeremy's just having a little fun here with this end
Scyther
game,
fans
guys.
celebrating.
One
I am.
more
I am
turn
celebrating.
of burn
Thank you.
damage
Thank you
will
very
be enough
much.
to pick up the KO on that Pokemon. I
And then
do
Flower
wanna also
the burn picks it up.
or not. Using
That was
his
crazy.
big
Jeremy almost brought that back.
after 5 rounds of Swiss.
Hey, not a team
That was
everybody
crazy.
expects to see it 5-0, but that was a very,
That was a great game.
you know,
Play
Okay.
That would honestly shake me to my core.
I want to hear the player interview from this guy.
team. I'm currently joined by VJ, now the previous winner of the Swiss round. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about your team. It's one of the most fascinating teams that we've seen, so let's break it down.
Yeah, so I think going to this format, I feel like Sun Spam is going to be on every team, Trick Room's going to be on every team. So I feel like, one, having a way to constantly pressure Amoonguss. Like, if you look at my team, the whole team has a way to, like, attack Amoonguss. Number two, like, with AV, Thick Fat,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know, the Sun matchup is really good. Yeah, I feel like just looking at Sun, I think for this one, I think Sun, for Rain, and then Goldango with Tailwind. I think those three I really focused on.
Gotcha, yeah, and of course Meowscarada was a Pokemon that was very important. It was a part of your endgame in both games. Can you talk about that, since from what I've heard is that—
I really enjoyed this interview. It's good.
Been core to your strategies for about, what, over a year now?
Yeah, I love it. Since San Diego 2023 was my first tournament.
He's so excited. He's so happy.
Been like maybe 17th regional now, never took it off. I'm a huge believer. I think Overgrow plus Flower Trick, ignoring being a grass type, great matchup to Dozo. I think
so. He's just a Meowscarada main.
You could see how good knockoff was there.
He was always going to bring Meowscarada no matter what.
Amoonguss into the dual wing beat. If I dual wing beat right there, the citrus is going to proc. It won't do one shot, and I'll put to sleep. So having knockoff is so helpful, especially against like a non-Rocky Helmet Amoonguss.
Gotcha, and of course, Scyther was a Pokemon that was featured. Can you tell us a little bit more about your decision on choosing Scyther, a Pokemon that, well, it's from Red and Blue, and a lot of people
who play with Mons, they love celebrating. Yeah.
A couple of years ago.
Pachirisu all over again.
Can you tell us about Scyther?
So Scyther actually has its only Pokemon to have the same base stat total when it evolves. So Scyther and Scyther have the same base stat total. So I think really good contender for Evo Life.
Defensively, they have the same base. Or I guess BST, yeah, is correct. Because Scyther's faster.
Sash, one-shots, Smeargle, one-shots. Even on his team, he had the Flamigo. That would have one-shot it through Sash. So I feel like having one double-hit move on like a team is really helpful. Scyther, very bulky, attacks very hard. You saw how hard the dual wing beat hits, I think with Terra Dragon, it's like very, very flexible on any matchup.
Yep, and of course the Paldean Tauros. Can you tell us a little bit more about your decision on including Tauros in your team?
I feel like out of all six, it's the one I'm the least sure on. I was using Hisuian Arcanine, but I felt like being resistant to
offense,
steel, where Gold goes everywhere was so important.
Yep.
I'm using Mirror, the white herb right now, because I feel like sometimes if they don't bring Intimidate, I want to be able to make the item useful, go for close combat, make it a little bit more, take me back to normal.
Kind of two pronged there with the white herb, because it can get rid of an Intimidate, but also if they don't Intimidate, they can get rid of a close combat drop. Yeah.
Isn't necessarily your favorite of the six.
I like using it. I haven't used it as much as the others, but
gotcha. Can you tell us
the Tauros is sick.
The matchup,
going for the Flare Blitz just for the damage over Raging Bull. Screens aren't really meta right now.
It's gonna be immune to Spore, and it's gonna be able to take a Facade from Ursaluna at 1 and attack back. So I know Meowscarada is solid into that. I think Tauros. I know he's gonna want to set up Trick Room with Incin, Porygon. So I think Tauros always have to come out. I forgot what I led the first time. I know the second time, I know he's going to lead that again. Sylveon, be able to constantly pressure. Although the Sylveon was hard because he had the substitute, and the Hyper Voice doesn't actually break substitute, so that's actually very tricky. And even
it's a little tricky, but I was almost getting that damage through the substitute.
He's playing very well, and I was very nervous.
Well, you ended up out on top. Congratulations on this win. Can I just ask you quickly what your thoughts are on Regulation H? Are you having a great time right now competing?
No. This is my favorite format of all time. I'm going to travel as much as I can. I love the format a lot. I think I'm so excited to see how it develops, what new teams come, and I'm so ready to do the calcs when that comes out.
That sounds amazing. Of course, this team is so cool. It's so spectacular. You can't see it right now, but I actually have Snorlax socks on right now. So I'm secretly going to be rooting for you and Snorlax to succeed. Before I let you go prepare for your next Swiss round, do you have any shout outs that you want to make out to anybody watching right now, the stream and the broadcast?
Oh yeah, shout out Portland, shout out Texas, shout out VG Trainer School, shout out to everyone who coached me, shout out to everyone who believed in me, shout out to everyone who didn't believe in me.
Snorlax socks. I need like a fun,
we're out here.
Like Pokemon, like piece of clothing.
Talk to you about your team, talk to you, and I wish you the best of luck here at the 2025 Pokemon Regional Championships. We're going to go and throw to a quick break, but when we come back, more action here in Baltimore.
6 set. That was a very fun watch.
Talking about archetypes a little bit more, it seems like
Back to the caster
Porygon 2
prediction.
Ursaluna core has been very popular
We did see an
among-
Electabuzz on stream today. So let's see what we've seen. We've seen that one. We've seen that one. We haven't seen Blood Moon. We've seen a Typhlosion. One EK Beanie. Star Salts. Pokemon Center has fire attire. My brain wasn't registering the I, so it was like free attire, and I'm like, there's no shot they're giving it away for free. But fire. Yeah, expensive. Yeah. That's a thing. Poo Pokeson, Woo Star Salts. I'll have to look into it. I haven't updated my wardrobe in a while. I've been losing some weight, so I might need to do that pretty soon. We haven't seen a Volcarona. We haven't seen a Sneasler, actually. I haven't seen a Dragapult. I think all these Pokemon are very good. It's just we saw an Electabuzz. We saw a Clefable, too. We haven't seen a Volcarona, but King Gambit, Golden Go have been everywhere. Pelipper, Archer, Aldodon. This is Judy's team. Judy just brought this the first match. Indeedee Hat we haven't seen yet, but we've seen Pelipper, Ursaline in the last game. So what, a little over 50% right on the caster predictions? Oh, what do we got?
We will get a chance to actually see.
Caesar does not come, Rose.
To see this.
It was...
Arena also.
I saw it.
Electivins like the Amoonguss, which
Pokemon Center knows people pay anything. Yeah.
Because first of all, it has an
The Skinny Dip London collab stuff is also really cute. I want to get the Snorlax sweatshirt. Alright, so we're back here. This is the second time we've seen this team today. Oh, go back. I'm not done talking. This is the second time we've seen this team today. I played with this team earlier on Showdown. I went about 50-50, but Flamigo's sick. I'm a Flamigo believer. Porygon 2 really surprised me. So this one also has Clear Smog. The paste I had Sludge Bomb. But I like Clear Smog a lot for the, Also the one I had Earthquake over Substitute. Interesting.
Look at the Flamigo, and at least you have that as a target.
But Terra fighting P2 with Terra Blast is sick.
Knowing that you want to set up Trick Room if you're taking a look at Christopher's team.
Gabby Specs are classics, yeah.
Yeah.
Classic Hat DD.
And you also have ways to make sure that you can set that up. But I think the Amoonguss is going to be a really big key here, and Cineroar as well might be able to help out with some of the physical attack.
Matchup in any other Pokemon and
we know about this team. Chilean Berry.
Or you could try to go with a Golden Ghost.
Remind me what Chilean Berry does. Is that the flying super effective one? Chilean Berry. I need to cough real quick. Chilean reduces normal damage?
Setup, right?
Is that correct?
Golden Go, Amoonguss Golden Go allows you to just try to set up Nasty Plot, and if Sneasler is led, there is like the Ursaluna. Seems like a lot of Ursalunas now on these compositions are dropping. Sneasler means even if Trick Room is set up, you can survive and retaliate back.
I think they're dropping Earthquake because of the Rillaboom problem.
Yeah.
You know, Earthquake's damage does
Koba's
get
for flying,
neutralized a little bit by the grassy terrain being on the field. And Justin does have a Rillaboom. A lot of trainers opting into that in order to have priority grassy glides and also just do super effective damage to a ton of the format. Ursaluna certainly not going to want to be on the receiving end of one of those, but just in case you're
Koba
tuning
for
in,
Dan is such a
Christopher
throwback.
Haas
I remember.
really just
I remember. I think it's Koba. I think it is Koba.
Because
it's Koba for Dan.
What he's got for this first year.
Yeah, one of the most lost the beat differences here.
First year in Masters, let's see it. Electabuzz.
You know, with the
Vital Spirit Terra Dragon. So he's got no way around. Well, no, he's got the Vital Spirit, so he's got a way around Amoonguss. First Sneasler of the day. Close Combat, Dire Claw. Without the Dark Terra, just the two. And Fake Out. The Poison Touch with Fake Out. That's fun. Specs Salamence, very fun. Electroweb's really the only speed control on this team. The Haze Primarina is the Dondozo check. Terra Fire is interesting. I wonder what situation he's bringing that. Is the Chilean Berry just an Ursa counter? Maybe. Maybe. What's other big normal moves in the meta? Both Ursalunas swing with normal. Snorlax, I guess? I didn't think Snorlax was on people's radar. Extreme Speed Dragonite, that's another one, yeah. I wonder... Because it's like damage going to it before the berry procs, right? So like Primarina Hyper Voice wouldn't be... It would be water type, so it wouldn't proc for Hyper Voice. If you had that berry and you had Wheezing, and you were shutting off Liquid Voice as an ability, that could be funny. You're probably not clicking the Hyper Voice button at that point, but... Interesting. Cool.
The Chilean Berry there.
Pretty standard Rilla.
Justin Tang's team here. You've just got a really good.
I ran a very similar Electabuzz
Pokemon here can just
in Reg.
so much damage.
Reg E, I think, the one before the restricted one.
You're able to just threaten with a lot of damage, right? Choice Specs Fire Terra Heat Wave, by the way, that can really threaten the Golden Go on the opposing side.
Oh yeah, it is Fire Terra Heat Wave.
I'm even just looking at, you have the opportunity to go for Draco Meteor or Dragon Pulse in case you don't want to miss. It's always really nice to know that you have that option, but you do have the opportunity to even bring in the King Gambit. That's got Defiant. It would be nice to see the Incineroar, but you also have...
Commentary's been very good today. I've enjoyed listening to them talk.
Knowing that the Golden Go has Nasty Plot. So that's also a nice option to have. But Sneasler, one of the Pokemon that we were really looking at heading into the turn, especially next to something that does have something.
All right, show me the game.
Nice things about Sneasler King Gambit. Really nice. This is interesting.
Oh.
King Gambit's actually out on the field already. We're just getting into the game.
P2 Ursaluna.
Dark type coverage is really nice. This is
Just
interesting.
off rip. Okay.
Out on the field immediately, so it is vulnerable to taking damage right now. Of course.
I guess they didn't want to lead Incin into the King Gambit, yeah.
Then set up Trick Room with Porygon.
I feel like the team I've been running, it's not the S-Mount one, doesn't have a great Sneasel counter. Maybe just haven't found it. I was having a little trouble finding a Sneasel counter as well. It was specifically the like Psychic Seed Dark Terra one, because it had Dark, Poison, and Fighting, which is hard coverage to like counter for, right? Everybody was hyping up Sneasler, and then I played a couple Sneaslers, and I kind of see it. I feel like after Baltimore, now people are going to have their Sneasler checks. I think a good flying type Mon could take care of it. Maybe see more Talonflames. Maybe see more Scythers. Who knows? That Scyther set was sick.
Would have done super effective damage into Ursaluna, but that's a little bit less into Porygon. So I don't think the Gambit's going to get the knockout here, but it is that Swords Dance, like you said, Rosemary, and so able to boost up immediately and going for that Dark Terra just to cover for the chance that Ursaluna would go for something like Ghost Terra, Headlong Rush into that slot.
It's Twickwomb.
So now, though, with this Ursaluna getting this Guts boost from the Flame Orb, you kind of have to think about whether or not this King Gambit can actually knock it out with like a +2 Sucker Punch.
And with Flamigo, with the flying typing to look at for the counter for Sneasler, Flamigo looks even better.
Yeah, it's the Fighting Terra, Porygon 2.
Oh, I love the Fighting Terra.
A lot of different Terras that you can run on this kind of composition. Some people like, for example, Flying Terra.
Do you remember what boost we got? Did it get the special attack boost?
Running Earthquake, a little bit less valuable here, but that's one really cool trick. And so yeah, the question. Okay, there we go. Fun tech with Porygon and Terra Blast. If they get the attack boost, Terra Blast becomes physical. I'm a Flamingo believer for real. I've been saying. I just need to find like a good team that Flamigo fits on. I played with this and like I like the Trick Room mode, but I don't know. I feel like I need something else that has Flamigo fit on it. But Terra Blast is physical if you get the attack boost. So no matter which boost you get, that's what the Terra Blast is gonna be. Or you can EV it to be in a way for it to happen.
It's really scary for Justin's King Gambit to have to deal with. But as we see this Terastallization come through, I wonder if Justin is expecting this Terra Ghost on the Ursaluna.
Terra Ghost on the Ursaluna? Okay.
You know, more vulnerable to something like that Sucker Punch, if that were to come through.
Yeah, it's going for Substitute, so this turn it'll avoid the Sucker Punch, and there it is. The Ghost
Getting the
Terror
sub up,
here
yep.
gets rid of the ground typing. You're able to set up that substitute, so Hyper Voice now no longer will deal super effective damage. This turn could have been really scary if it was like a double up. Hyper Voice, by the way, of course, still goes through the substitute, but Ursaluna now, you know, is protected, so you're not going to faint to just a Sucker Punch into the Ursaluna slot now.
Yep.
And you could even potentially consider going for something for like side Pollen Puff, which is
Yeah.
exactly what Christopher's opting for. Looks like.
Which we learned last set. Pollen Puff does go through substitute. I didn't know that. That's crazy. I learned a new trick today. I learned a new trick. Maybe I'll run it back with this team.
Okay.
Well, the Buzzy Boy is here.
Not going to be able to save itself from something like a facade. However, it is also going to be able to save itself from a score if that was what was going to be in that slot.
Yeah, this is the perfect turn by Christopher. Goes for the
Pollen Puff.
Heal Ursaluna all the way back up and makes the correct targeting with the Ursaluna. Goes for the facade. Does not get baited into clicking that spore. But
Electabuzz lives?
with what looks like 1 HP.
That is crazy. I don't know how much it actually helps it, to be honest.
Yeah, in fact, it hurt it just because now you don't get a free switch into something in the back. I mean, you of course now can go for a...
Now it has to follow me, yeah. And you got a free swing with King Gambit.
The Amoonguss can just knock it out. I love the decision to double up onto the King Gambit slot there. You know King Gambit just protected, so...
Yeah, double up onto the King Gambit, make them click follow me.
Yeah, I mean, the follow me is first going to redirect away the Pollen Puff.
Mild spoilers for the rest of the tournament, but Pollen Buff goes crazy. I believe it.
And it leaves this King Gambit free and clear to just get knocked out to this facade.
So here it is, Facade into the King Gambit slot.
Big
and
facade
that is
here.
actually
Not
gonna be
enough,
the one
yeah.
to knock out.
King Gambit's bulky, especially on the physical side.
It will critically survive there. I think if it faints in that game,
But also more than just Amoonguss gets it. Yeah. I think my favorite Pollen Puff user that I've used,
Okay, so
Baltimore
really
Regionals as well.
important
Slash!
to know that one facade
What's up, Slash?
boost isn't going to be enough to knock out this King Gambit. So maybe Justin can breathe a little bit more. With the safety
Mods, can we get a shout out for Slash? I'm having to monitor chat on my phone, and I don't know how to do that on my phone.
Tricky because of the substitute. Now, substitute felt maybe kind of awkward earlier because of the hyper voice going through it, but that single being able to heal you all the way back up is such a big
I'm
deal.
playing with it. I'm trying to figure it out.
Arena needs 2 hyper voices to actually get the knockout onto Ursaluna, but can it get those 2 hyper voices?
Can I even do a shout out on mobile?
Has hit the field.
Ooh, okay.
Whoa, I'm a mod. Yeah!
So even if we do see like we'd have to see a double up into that slot.
Mod Paint is so powerful.
But
It's
you are threatening a super
Mod Paint needs to be a mod in every Twitch chat, I think.
and
I'm decreeing it now.
I don't know. This Ursaluna is still not going to actually get knocked out to.
If you type slash shout out, then the user in your chat, TY Grosher.
I was thinking there is the potential to maybe go for a double up onto the Flamigo, but the idea here is to just double protect stall out Trick Room, but Flamigo gets positioned out really, really nicely. Trick Room, yes, will be stalled out, but now you're staring down a Flamigo, which is actually a very fast Pokemon.
Yeah, this is going to be great outside of that Trick Room, and then I think maybe even just help to eliminate this King Gambit, and then allow the Ursaluna to follow up into the premier.
Unrecognized commands. Oh, it did it with a dash. It auto-corrected with a dash. Okay.
And the Ghost Terror
We will get the shout out.
So
I swear.
Potential detector. I think this turn, like, you know that both Pokemon protected, so yeah, close combat into King Gambit is pretty safe. What you do have to maybe respect is, for example, Sucker Punch into the Ursaluna slot and Moonblast into that slot, especially if this is considering a detect, right?
I have to wait 58 minutes before giving Target another shout out? What is this?
But let's see, okay. Yeah, you can see Chris is really debating, do I want to go for that protect? I think close combat's a little bit safer because you know the King Gambit had just protected. So yeah, I like this lock in a little bit more. Just go for the consistent damage. Here's the Sucker Punch. Where does it go into? It is
Oh, Grace already got it. Oh, it's just not showing up on my phone at all.
Break the substitute here, and it's
Okay.
going to leave it
Thank you,
just a
mods.
little bit
I have the
more
best
vulnerable
mods.
to something like that Moonblast, as you were saying. But even if it was Hyper Voice,
Yeah.
you know that's going to end up being
I
a
completely
two-hit
have lost
knockout.
the
Close combat
train of
to
thought
shut
here.
the King Gambit.
Shiny Flamigo.
Still has that focus sash intact though, so it's even going to need a second attack here in order to actually pick it up.
Yeah.
King Gambit. I think this is looking very Han favored. It's not enough.
Care about your speed investment.
No, this Ursaluna is on a timer. Already looking at the
What's the last one?
trying to figure out,
Rillo?
like, what do I do
Okay.
here? I have a problem with that focus
Yeah,
sash.
probably just stalling to make adjustments for next game. Oh, nope, just canceled.
Justin, plus Moonblast from Creamer in a double up on a Porygon, whether or not that could get the knock. The substitute Black Blast is
The Pollen Puff substitute tech I did not know about before today.
Poor Electabuzz here. One turn where you're able to
Cool.
something next to it, a chance to
that game. They did not come out, but
I don't know if the Sneasler is gonna come. I'm not
the
gonna
thing
lie.
is, it's really interesting. I think that like it's scary to bring because you're worried about Golden Goal, you're worried about
Yeah.
Ghost Terror from Ursaluna, right? But like, let's say you expect Ursaluna plus Porygon 2 to be led again. You can adjust by going for something like Sneasler plus Salamence because then you actually have a very safe double up onto the Porygon immediately on turn 1, and you get an Intimidate onto the Ursaluna immediately, and Sneasler has Focus Sash, right? I think the scary thing is, of course, you're worried about the Ghost Terror from the opposing side, but if you force that Ghost Terror out, at least King Gambit, for example, can hit Ursaluna for super effective damage.
Good analysis from Aaron.
Sneasler feels very unintuitive to bring into this matchup because of the Amoonguss, the Golden Goal, of course, completely walling it. Christopher did not even.
Oh, Amoonguss walls Sneasler too. That's another thing to consider. I think Amoonguss is coming back, guys. I think we had a good run. I think Amoonguss is coming back.
Amoonguss and the Porygon 2. So this time not going to actually lead with this Ursaluna. Instead, having this Amoonguss next to this Porygon 2 to potentially even ensure Trick Room.
Yeah, I think Trick Room here super safe.
Fuck.
Go for. Amoonguss can go for.
I'm already hyped that I get to watch a Renegade regional in person. Man, I can't wait till I get to go back to a regional. I was at NAIC 2023. I knew work was crazy at the time, so and I wasn't playing. That was Regulation C. I just wasn't playing VGC, so I just went as a spectator and hang out with people. I ended up only hanging out with Kira and Chase that whole weekend. But hey, I did meet Gabby that weekend. And Evo. I got to hang out with Evo. Are you going to regional, Squid? Not anything in the future. I have no plans right now.
The King Gambit Primarina lead didn't work out super well in the last game.
Yeah,
Still had enough options. Now, of course,
finances are a little tight, I guess I should say. And I got stuff I'm saving for. Understandable. Have a nice day. Thank you for understanding.
So Christopher now looking to position that Ursaluna, such a pivotal piece.
I'd love to go to regional, but it's just not in the budget right now.
There's not that much damage from the opposing side. And Justin goes for the safe follow me, but Christopher feels like he's just one step ahead in this game. Doesn't even go for that Spore. Pollen Puff here to get that chip.
Big pollen buff. Good little chip.
Leaves this King Gambit
just a little bit
open to the sword stance, so now you are able to get that +2. Ursaluna still comes in though without taking any damage, and I feel like that's just such a big key here. Amoonguss also being at full HP, and you can Rage Powder both of them.
Yeah, this is interesting because you see the Facade potential here onto the Electabuzz, and we saw earlier how much it did, right? Electabuzz just hung on with the Sliver, but this isn't something like Ghost Terra Electabuzz, it's Dragon Terra, and so Facade into it, of course, will just do a ton of damage immediately. You can see Chris is just debating, do I want to protect, do I want to substitute? Like, there's so many options here.
What is this, round 6? How many rounds did we get today?
Here and you actually get the Spore off into King Gambit, that would probably just put you in such a winning position immediately. I do think Facade into Electabuzz here is just relatively safe, but you might be worried about.
There might be a lot to do this whole tournament today.
To get around that, Rage Powder covers for that perfectly. Now,
speedrun this match. Hold on.
It is going to get additional modifier here.
Big King Gambit +2.
It's going to be a Kowtow cleave. That Amoonguss did not have too much of an ability to hang on in that last
Follow me.
We're going to see a follow me from this Electabuzz as well. As Ursaluna just goes for a substitute. Fantastic that Christopher gets a chance to set that up once again, but it's going to be this Amoonguss.
I love the Vital Spirit bring from Electabuzz into Amoonguss.
Right into it.
I think they're putting all day ones at 8 rounds. I could be completely wrong though.
And that's another turn of Trick Room burnt, right? So
I just meant like how many like rounds did we have streamed, because we're at round 6. So I was wondering like how many more games we had to go through on this VOD. But yeah, I do think at the actual tournament they're cutting it off at 8 rounds and then having a day 2 and then top cut later in the day.
So you can go for another follow me. Trick Room is also expiring, and I think King Gambit this time around in a much better position than previously and is able to attack relatively safely thanks to Electabuzz not just going down immediately.
Oh.
Yeah, but this is where
people click buttons so fast, man. I have to imagine they stream all 8. They didn't stream round 1. They didn't start streaming till round 2. Usually for streams, they don't start streaming till round 2 or 3. They let things get going a little bit first before they actually turn on stream.
Yeah, my question is how much damage does it actually do? Do you pick up the knockout? And this turn, if you are Justin, you could just protect your Pokemon, right? Stalled another turn of
and I think they'll skip some, depending on, I guess, production issues.
This option allows you to deal super effective damage into dark type.
I remember they were having like so many issues one day, and I think they only streamed like 2 rounds of like the whole day.
Okay, so now Justin is fished out where that Terra is going.
2 or 3, it was scuffed.
It is just another protect as well. Trying to stall out those turns of Trick Room, And you also see the Terra.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Facade.
right, you bait out the Terra. Now the question
Good
is,
call with the
how
protect.
much damage do we think this fighting Terra Blast will do? Is there a chance it actually gets the one-hit KO onto King Gambit? King Gambit's
Absolutely.
a pretty darn bulky Pokemon. We just saw it survive the Facade from the Ursaluna.
Well, if it's physical Terra Blast, no, it doesn't. But if it's special, absolutely, it gets the
huge attack off in return. However, you do resist the Kowtow Cleave now as well, and that's a really big deal because this King Gambit does not have Iron Head. So Electabuzz can go for the safe follow me, and then King Gambit can either chip away at the Porygon or maybe just try to break the substitute this turn.
This King Gambit also has some trouble because this Ursaluna, it's still
Blat.
under the substitute. So
Big one-hit knockout.
to just safely go
Play the
for
graphic.
The KO here onto the Electabuzz, but now it's
No
about whether or
graphic?
not this
That's BM.
can
All
actually
right,
survive
Terra
the Terra
Blast.
Blast.
You can see Justin, he's putting his arms up. Does it get the knockout? Oh,
Absolutely, yes.
it does!
Absolutely, it does.
Just a one-hit knockout onto the King Gambit.
Okay, where was that graphic for the Electabuzz?
Goodness, that is why you run.
Those 2 one-hit knockouts.
Terra.
They only played the graphic once.
Powerful Pokemon because it so often gets
This
that
is a
special
scam.
attack boost from download. And that coverage allows you to hit the King Gambit, even though it's not 4 times super effective anymore, still enough to get the knockout.
The button
on
clicky hurts over right. Yeah, when they're just like flipping around a bunch of buttons. The guy round 1 that was playing Jody Azarelli was doing that so much.
That was the problem for the King Gambit in general, is that you need to be able to hit this twice, have to actually break the substitute, and because it's still that ground typing, there was no way that Electabuzz was going to be able to break it because its only attack is Electro Web. So you've got to figure out another
We're
way
not
to
in
actually
a... Oh,
get through it.
sorry.
Rillaboom, Primarina. Still this extra Pokemon in the back for Christopher.
Still a
There is
Flamigo.
Flamigo in the back. So this is interesting, right? He's considering switching it in. I think like Ursaluna right now.
You
feels
can either
pretty
use
safe
the
because
Flamigo
there's
as a
not lot of
sack,
pressure.
or
So
you
can
could...
protect Trick Room. But if you protect Trick Room, you're vulnerable to something like Fake Out plus Move.
God, he's hitting so many buttons. It's distracting me.
Ursaluna here could also just attack, right? But like Hyper Voice here, of course, is so powerful. So
Switching the Ursaluna for late
is going
game,
to
yeah.
give it out here. The substitute
I was
does
thinking
not
if you
protect
like target
from
down and try to
Hyper Voice. That
eliminate the
Rillaboom
Primarina
substitute
first,
will
that
take the
Flamigo
knockout.
could
Flamigo
absolutely
comes out. Is it a fake out
clean
right
up
now?
the
It's a Porygon.
Rillaboom.
It is.
Okay, so that's going to leave this Porygon 2
Fake out into
very
P2.
vulnerable. Now that it is
Richie,
going to be
what's
a
up?
type,
Okay.
it's just going to be a Hyper
How you
Voice
doing,
now.
brother?
Would have picked up the knockout on the Ursaluna, as you said, because it was still maintaining its ground typing. But this Primarina now gets a chance to... Maybe that's enough. Maybe that amount of damage might be enough to get rid of this Eviolite Porygon.
Oh, this is so close actually, because don't forget how much recoil you take from Brave Bird as
Brave
well.
Bird,
right?
yeah,
Yes, it'll
it's gonna
do
be a
ton of
lot.
Damage, maybe knock out Rillaboom, but then you might just
Chilling
fake
on
as a
Showdown.
Grassy
Richie,
Blunt
I might
as
be...
well. Porygon, of course, is
I
still
played some of this
Moonblast
this
on the
Flamigo
opposite
team
side.
earlier on Showdown, and I was having some mixed results, but watching stream, I got a few new texts. I might have found the stream. The gang is back together.
You know, Brave Bird from Flamigo as well. So I actually think because of this fighting Terra, now this Porygon is caught into an awkward spot. This is
Stream
gonna be
chat
really,
meta is so
really interesting.
2020
I
right
actually
now,
think
yeah.
that, like, Justin has a decent spot right
We got
now.
the gang back
If
together.
Justin's able to knock out Porygon this turn, but it's going to be Grassy Glide onto the Flamigo. So
Flamigo's definitely a squid spawn to me. If it's a bird,
if Porygon survives,
there's a good chance it's a
close
squid
combat
spawn,
here
you know?
to not take that recoil damage.
That's fair. It's going to leave this Flamigo up, and now Primarina gets a chance to go for the Moonblast. Porygon 2.
Oh, it lives!
With just a sliver of HP, that leaves his Porygon 2.
Terra Fighting Porygon 2 is so good.
Trick Room.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I was thinking, you know, if the Trick Room does not get set up there, imagine if it was like Grassy Glide plus Moonblast, knockout Porygon, then Ursaluna's out on the field, and then you can just Grassy Glide Flamigo plus go for the Hyper Voice. Trick Room is now set up, right? So it's really scary. Yeah, I like the idea of protecting
D-Tex,
Ice Beam
yeah.
here. The main question is, there is that Ursaluna is still waiting to come out in the back, but it
Yeah.
has to deal with 2 things that threaten it for super effective damage. So
They
Flamigo
gotta
goes for the
delete this
protect
incent-
turn, and
or,
you have to protect
Rillaboom
your
right
damage,
now.
give up both of your Pokemon.
I
If you do,
yeah.
you lose immediately.
This is
Ursaluna
rough.
off the field, but you feign to either Woodhammer or the Moonblast or Hyper Voice
CGC
as
stream
opposed
pals
to-
are real and true.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is a great position for the Rillaboom to be in, though, because everything is so low, and Rillaboom really is public enemy #1. This Ursaluna can come in, but it's still going to end up being weak here to this Rillaboom's Grassy Glide. Trick Room not going to actually be like the exact speed counter that you might want when you know you have priority options.
Yeah, that close combat earlier by Chris was so smart. If he had gone for Brave Bird there and the Rillaboom survived, then
How does he
Flamigo
play
takes
it?
I think that'd be really bad. I do think that Braver might.
Because Protect isn't really an angle, because obviously you Protect, you catch the Rillaboom hit. But then they just swing with Primarina, and Primarina is slower in Trick Room than Flamigo. And then it's a 2v1. I don't know how they play
It's
this.
actually knockout Rillaboom, so I wasn't 100% sure there, but the idea was to
I don't know how they
yeah,
play
try to
this.
survive for a little bit longer. So, okay, considering the detect here, and, oh, wide guard. Okay, wide guard of course will protect you from
the Primarina.
hyper voice, but
I'd imagine they just Moonblast into the. They had to make a crazy play.
Where does Rillaboom target right now? It's gonna be Grassy Glide.
Grassy Glide into the Ursaluna. It's not enough.
Ow, it survives, but it's Facade into the Rillaboom.
Facade, that's enough.
Target right now, because if
Did it Moonblast?
Justin should win the game. But if it's
Or if it's a
Flamigo,
hyper voice.
oh,
It was the hyper voice. Oh my god.
the first side.
No way.
That was crazy.
That is such an incredible call to make. It was
That was crazy.
two very low Pokemon and go. You could just go ahead and get the knockout onto both of these if you go for the hyper voice. But
Exactly.
I was watching. I could tell they were going for hyper voice.
Oh my goodness, just the slimmest of margins here. Everything
That was
hanging out with just
insane.
a little bit of HP, but that's all you need.
This is Ursaluna,
is
Primarina
going
protecting.
for that protect right now.
So many sick matches to start. It's been a fun stream to watch.
Like you need multiple protects right now.
I actually think the most boring match was the jump across one with Dondozo.
What a wild endgame. So many survivals there. If it was a Moonblast coming out, I think Justin would have also won this one. But so hard to go for that. You know, it's really tempting to just try to pick up the double knockout in that position.
Yeah, like you're able to resist the close combat, and maybe you don't actually get knocked out to the Brave Bird either because Flamigo would knock itself
Grass
out.
disappeared.
Oh, it's just
No
comes
more
down to the
terrain. So
wire.
if you get the double protect,
Yeah, it's the double protect or the Facade doesn't KO.
Let's see. And Flamigo will faint if it clicks Brave Bird, right? So the last start of Trick Room right now.
Oh my god, it's still so close.
Comes down to this. Can Primarina get a double protect right now to stall out the Trick Room, and Ursaluna will faint from the burn. Let's see. It's going to be wide guard here into the Facade. It really just comes down to whether or not Primarina gets it. And Primarina!
The double protect.
Double protect!
That is absolutely crazy. The wide guard isn't going to matter. The Trick Room's going to expire at the end of this turn, and Primarina actually has a chance to get the job done.
Facade into
Oh my god.
Primarina.
So now what does the Primarina click though? Because wide guard's still on deck.
Ursaluna will take exactly
Oh, Ursaluna dies to bird.
to faint from the burn.
That's GG's. That's
I don't even know
GG's.
if a Brave Bird critical hit gets it,
I don't think so. No, it doesn't.
That is all you can go for at this point.
Oh my
Yeah, because the
gosh.
close combat is resisted. You've got to get the Brave Bird down, and then Primarina gets a chance to clean it.
It's got to be Brave Bird crit. It's got to be like a super mega ultra crit. No.
Critical hit.
Flamigo just knocks itself out in the process. Aaron, we're going to a game 3.
What a
GG's.
crazy game. So
Crazy
many
in-game
just
there.
With the sliver of a HP with such
Wow.
I think, of course, your odds.
Down to this third.
Okay.
Especially, yes, you set up and gets going.
I think
I love the Pancham
right,
plushie.
against Arena as well. But when you're staring down at Black Glass's Sword Stance Kingambit on the opposing side, it's also really scary. Christopher has had this tendency to lead with Porygon too, right? We
Oh,
saw
the
it with
Articuno,
Porygon
cute.
years
I didn't
ago,
even see that with the
Porygon
judge.
and Mungus. And so I wonder if Justin feels okay just going with Primarina plus Kingambit again, saying, you know, I think this covers most of your options, especially because of the Electabuzz in the back. I think the
Justin
more
Tang's
left
mascot,
feels
yeah.
pretty
I don't know enough
safe,
about the guy to
consistent.
know if
We
Pancham's
kept
the
talking about
mascot.
Sneasler. I would love to see it, but I think
We'd love to see it, though.
doesn't want to bring it because it's way more frail than the rest of the four that he's bringing into this matchup. Doesn't feel that good into Trick Room. Obviously, you're worried about the Ghost Terror from the opposing side as well. So even though it can force out a Terror,
Oh, Pavillion's there too. I didn't even see it. It was camouflage with the setup. Pavillion's there.
Here's Electabuzz hitting the field. This Electabuzz
I thought everyone brings the plushies now. I'm gonna claim that I started that even. That was probably not true. Plushies have always been a part of VGC as far as I've known. His handle is Unironic Panda. Oh, well, Unironic Panda.
This is
That
so
checks out, yeah.
interesting Because Amoonguss right now caught in this awkward spot where you obviously don't feel very comfortable clicking Spore, especially when there's Electabuzz. Primarina's exerting so much offensive pressure right now. So I think Justin realized, oh wow, Amoonguss lead in this last game was kind of scary. Let me lead Electabuzz to put on some pressure against it and make Amoonguss just not be able to get the spores off. This is exactly why people are using Electabuzz in the format. That Vital Spirit, preventing it from falling asleep. Have that follow me. So helpful. And here's the helping hand coming out.
It's crazy. Is he just gonna blast this Ursaluna? Protect.
On the Ursaluna, so it's at least not going to take any damage.
The Amoonguss was threatened, so...
But this Moonblast as well, going to be
Okay.
negated by that
Fair.
protect.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This duel does not put on any offensive pressure into Amoonguss.
I was waiting for something. He went for the spore anyways. Oh.
There. You might be wondering why that's the case. I think in this spot, Christopher was thinking maybe you'll switch out the Electabuzz. Crucially, doesn't go into Pre-Marina. I think if Pre-Marina gets put to sleep there, Justin is in a really, really rough situation. So trying to read into a switch there does not get it. And
interesting.
Luna at least is online, right? It can't go for that Terra Headlong Rush. And critically, you know, if you knock out the Electabuzz, then even if it goes for Follow Me, well, then the Amoonguss' Spore just goes into Pre-Marina now.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I think this is a great turn number 2 here for Christopher. You just got to be able to get some of this right. And both Pre-Marina and Electabuzz have access to Protect. Is there a world where you see like a Protect could throw a wrench into things?
Yeah, it's interesting because right now, like, the Electabuzz isn't going to do anything, right, other than go for Follow Me or Helping Hand. There's no offensive pressure, and so protecting it would only allow Pre-Marina to kind of just get targeted down. And so, yeah, Ursaluna here is going to go for the Ghost Terra. One of the things I was thinking about was, would you ever consider tearing Electabuzz to survive, like Headlong Rush, for example? But now, yeah, you really are vulnerable to the KO on Electabuzz and then just Spore going into Pre-Marina. So it's going to be Helping Hand once again. Not opting for that Follow Me because saying, you know what? Oh, that's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage. Maybe you're okay at that point, being able to
Headlong Rush.
get that amount
Dope.
down. There is no grassy terrain right now, so this Ursaluna is.
Where's the one-hit knockout graphic?
Burn,
Bro, production hates Electabuzz. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
So while you are able to knock out the Electabuzz,
I decided to talk trash about it.
To sleep, Justin gets to bring in something else for free.
Totally. That Rillaboom, like you said, I think a really good Pokemon to bring out right now. It would be, of course, try to fish for some quick wake-ups with elements in the back. It's Fire, Terra, Choice Specs, Heat Wave. Like, that would be kind of fire in this position, but I think Rillaboom, you know, it seems like Justin's been pretty comfortable going with the same Pokemon over and over again. So, yeah, I think Chris now recognizes, hey, okay, I am not going to get my Ursaluna to deal any damage right now, so the idea is to pivot into
Pollen Puff on the switch in.
get it in safely,
Checks out.
back up with Pollen Puff, and then
something like a Wood Hammer, making a call that it was going to end up being a Porygon 2 instead, then you know you're going to be able to survive.
Big
that
Wood
and
Hammer?
be able to get that Pollen Puff healing as well. See, look at that. Like, that's fantastic. So great call there, as the Pre-Marina does take its first mandatory turn of sleep, and we see the Pollen Puff come through to get this Porygon 2 back up to full.
Eat it back up.
This is interesting because the question now for Justin is, how do you actually deal enough damage to go through this duel, right? The best answer for
this Porygon's hard to break now.
Gambit with the +2 boost Dark Terra.
You get Trick 'em up, you could just kind of go for Ice Beams for free in this position too.
Clicking Spore right across the field. So Trick Room here really safe. I think you can go for something like Trick Room and then side Pollen Puff once again. You could go for a Rage Powder if you're worried about the Moonblast from Pre-Marina. So Christopher opting for that Rage Powder, saying, you know what, I just want to cover for a one-turn wake right now. Of course, this leaves you a little bit vulnerable to Pre-Marina clicking Hyper Voice plus the Wood Hammer. That'll do a ton of damage to Porygon. And then my question is, would a Grassy Glide finish things off? But it's actually going to be the switch here. So the final Pokemon, once again, is that King Gambit. It's going to hit the field now and, of course, apply some pressure, but still is far away from, you know, getting that Swords Dance.
There's Rage Powder.
Very least, it's going to be
Wood Hammer.
Look at how
Wood Hammer into Amoonguss. That's
I almost wonder if there was
interesting.
an opportunity for you to go
I wonder if
for
he was like
that.
trying to read the switch in of Ursaluna, like the Trick Room switch in.
Yeah, it's a really
But the Ursaluna's already online, so you don't really need to do that.
Rillaboom actually maybe doesn't want to target Porygon because they're like, oh, well, you're just going to heal it all the way. But is it going to have enough time to set up, right? Because Spore into that slot is just relatively safe, and there is a Sleepy
Flamingo coming
in the back. So Electabuzz actually going down as quickly as it did just unlocks the Amoonguss a little bit more here. So let's see. I think if you're...
Bro, you're clicking buttons so fast. Calm down.
Swords Dance, right? And then eventually just try to sweep with it. Turn. So it's just going to be Grassy Glide coming out, okay? Gets a critical hit.
All right, and the Pollen Puff
Big
and
crit.
the Rillaboom, that's going to
Gonna
deal a
tickle,
good amount
yeah.
of damage, bringing it to like 60%.
Ice Beam.
with follow-up.
That's not enough. No.
Not gonna be
No,
enough
not
to
with the Salt
KO
Vest.
quite yet. It does
Swords Dance
buy
is
some time for the
online.
Swords Dance. That's huge.
Yeah, so Justin's win condition, I think, is this King Gambit, is able to get that Swords Dance off. Now, of course, you have the ability to Spore into the King Gambit slot, but King Gambit could just protect, for example.
Those
Rillaboom
black
is
glasses,
getting low.
King Gambit,
There
yeah.
is still the Flamigo in the back, and Flamigo is actually a really nice...
The Amoonguss is still tough to deal with for King Gambit. He really just has to stall Trick Room turns.
Yeah, put it to sleep, stall your own Trick Room, and then get Flamigo out.
Yeah.
Because the tough part, too, is that even if you protect here, how is the Rillaboom going to knock out either of these Pokemon?
Exactly. It has no offense, basically, other than Wood Hammer and a Porygon.
The crowd going wild over Flamigo.
Dark Terra, but Christopher has gotten the Flamigo in, I think, at just the right time. This is a great switch in because the Amoonguss will always spore the King Gambit slot before it moves. Of course, King Gambit could Sucker Punch, but it's going to fail in this position against a switch and Amoonguss going for Spore, right? So Dark Terror comes out. It's going to be Grassy Glide here, which, of course, is going to break Flamigo's Focus Sash, but with Spore coming out, I think what Justin maybe
Spore on the
would
King
wanna
Gambit,
go for
yep.
in that spot is you switch in Flamigo, but then go for another read and Pollen Puff, Rillaboom, but Spore into King Gambit, I think, always relatively safe there.
Yeah, that is a huge...
Is Trick Room still up? Because if Trick Room is still up, they can decide Pollen Puff and get their Sash back.
This has been so oppressive. This entire
Trick Room's still up, yeah.
Game number 3. How do you get this King Gambit
They
out
just
of here?
protect,
you
yeah.
Primarina into the King Gambit slot and hope that you're
Are they gonna
gonna
do it?
Something like a close combat, and hope that the Primarina wakes up on the next turn, but you're still at such a disadvantage.
I would side Pollen Puff into Brave Bird.
Might not even wake up here.
Yeah, and this Clear Smog actually a huge difference maker as well, right? It's
Oh yeah, because it's not Steel type anymore, so it gets rid of that Sword Stance boost.
Steel typing, right? And so that'll just get rid of the attack boost. So Flamigo detecting here, saying, you know what, I know that you've broken my Focus Sash. I don't want you to wake up and get a Sucker Punch off. Clear Smog here now just gets rid of those attack boosts immediately. So even if King Gambit wakes up, it won't be the most threatening, and it stays asleep here. So really excellent play by Christopher, as Flamigo now still fairly well protected.
And the wood, it's also going to dodge out with the Wood Hammer too. Wood Hammer still would have done like I think a decent amount of damage, especially being on grassy terrain. But we saw how much the grassy terrain, or the Grassy Glide did on grassy terrain. It wasn't enough, and now the grassy terrain is gone.
Yeah, and with
Oh
that,
yeah. And then Rage Powder away.
Hover here, right? So Rage Powder just covers for King Gambit.
Sucker Punch, yeah.
The downside for Justin in this game is you've had Rillaboom out on the field the entire game. This Rillaboom is not exerting any pressure whatsoever, and so it effectively feels like a 2v1 right now for Christopher, right? Where he's saying, okay, you have a Pokemon out, but it's actually benefiting me, and that's not something that's a little bit more scary, right? So with no Sword Stance boosts up anyway either, and with this Rage Powder, it's looking really tough because Amoonguss is just not really taking any damage so far in this game, and when Flamigo can attack like this under Trick Room, that's a big issue.
That is a huge issue with how fast it is. So Primarina is going to take this King Gambit's place. You know that it's going to take this close combat just a little bit better.
Pretty well, yeah.
Even with the Rage Powder here, how do you actually knock
Primarina's also asleep still.
It goes into the Amoonguss to at least do just a bit of chip damage, and you're able to get the King Gambit in on the different side. So did you get the call correctly that this Flamigo is actually going to end up either doing like a...
Both Pokemon on the field asleep.
Justin, he realizes, okay,
pretty rough position for Justin.
On the field for as long as I have, right? So it's a really fantastic switch there. But this is what's awkward, right? Christopher got Flamigo pressure while Trick Room is set up, right? So you've got that Brave Bird into Primarina. Like at this point, I think Flamigo can knock out every single Pokemon, right? Which is really, really scary. So
I would love to see the Flamigo sweep.
Brave Bird into the Primarina slot, and that is
that's
just
enough.
Immediately.
You're able to get a chance to actually get the knockout onto it, but the King Gambit stays asleep. Oh no, things are not looking very good for Justin right now.
Spore. I would have Pollen Puffed for some HP back, but...
be neutralized in that front. And you get the Rillaboom back in, so you could go for something like a fake out here and hope that the King Gambit actually does wake up on this next turn.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, is there any chance a Dark Terra Sucker Punch against -1 defense can knock out the Flamigo? Because if so, you could fake out into Moongus and just go for that Sucker Punch. It's scary, right? Because Gambit's going to wake up, so then, yeah, Spore into that slot again. But it's the fake out here into the Amoonguss, consuming the Chillin' Berry.
What is the Chillin' Berry for?
Up, though, so that's a big deal. The Sucker Punch, if it KOs, does give Justin maybe another...
Does he get the knockout?
It does.
Hey.
So the Flamigo going down here is very big. No more close combat pressure into this Terra Dart King Gambit or the Brave Bird into the Rillaboom.
Okay, you know, it certainly brings the game a little bit back, but I think the problem is Amoonguss here should survive. I'm thinking like U-turn Kowtow Cleave isn't even enough to get the knockout, right? And if Trick Room gets set up, it's still really scary. So Porygon comes out right now. I think the other scary thing is
I feel like the tech was the play there. I think they were ready to swing, because they didn't really want...
Do you knock out Flamigo? Because if not, I think the game just ends.
Flamigo.
So critically does get the knockout.
The one time a Type Berry was used in Gen 9, and it was Chillin' Berry for a normal move. It's crazy. But yeah, I think they were fine with, because they still have Ursaluna and Porygon in the back, so I think they were fine bringing those out. They really just wanted to keep swinging with Flamigo till it got down. Oh, the double up.
You gotta go for it, I think, because the reality is that like Ursaluna's not gonna win you the game from this point.
Wood Hammer?
It's just
Yeah.
from one priority attack. So there's Wood Hammer. This is gonna be really close. I mean, like at this point, Amoonguss can't heal back up with Regenerator. Was
No.
it Kowtow Cleave or Swords Dance from the King Gambit?
Ooh, it's Kowtow.
It was Kowtow.
Yeah.
So it still does a decent amount to the Samungus. It needed the +2 in order to knock
Straw
it out.
Kowtow.
It
Oh,
went
was that a
down
crit?
Very, very low.
No.
Is going to put this King Gambit to sleep again as this Porygon 2 comes
Sport.
in.
So they have.
Go for something like an Ice Beam into the Rillaboom, and it's still relatively
They still have
low.
Terra online, so they have Fighting Terra, Terra Blast.
Yeah, that knockout on a Flamingo
No, it was Ghost Terra on the Ursaluna.
Porygon comes back out. So you can
So
see
yeah, they're gonna have a hard time breaking this King Gambit now.
Kowtow Cleave would have knocked out Amoonguss anyway, which is why Justin opted to not go for that. Porygon now gets that special attack download boost. That's such a big deal in this endgame. It allows
Special
him to do
attack, yeah,
so
the Ice
much
Beam.
more damage right now. And so, oh my goodness, we are getting down to the wire. I mean, it might come down.
What's
to
the
whether or
Moongus?
not
Double up
King
here?
Gambit just get a one-turn wake up. So here it is. It's actually going to be Woodhammer.
Woodhammer
Honestly,
into.
just not
Ooh,
enough
so
knockout
close.
there with the critical hit.
With the crit.
Still not enough. All right.
But Justin knew.
Someone's for Poplio at approximately 12 p.m. every day. I'm on my way.
Yep.
I'm doing it. I'm on my way. Big Ice Beam.
Knock it out by itself. And even if that wasn't, the Pollen Puff follow-up would have sure been able to do the trick. And is
How much
still
does
going
Pollen Puff
to
do to Gambit?
damage into this Terra Dark King Gambit.
Yeah, so that is.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That did so much.
I think now the question is, do 2 Terra Blasts from Porygon 2 get the knockout? There's the ability to potentially consider setting up
Sending an
there as
Amoonguss to your
well, but why don't you
location.
just make sure you get rid of the Rillaboom. Now I think Gambit needs to wake up this turn. If it doesn't wake up, I think the game is just immediately over. You just take too much damage, and it
it's
stays asleep. You can see Chris breathes a sigh of relief there. Pollen Puff coming out, dealing more super
Ooh.
effective damage into King Gambit. Trick Room will now be set up. It's a 2v1, and King Gambit.
I think
does
just
not
Pollen Puff
have
again
any
does
attack
it.
Boost, so it will not
That's
be able to
crazy.
just get a one-hit knockout onto the Porygon. You can very safely go for Pollen Puff once again and 2 Terra Blasts, and that'll finish it up.
Yeah, even if you get the Sucker Punch damage down, you know, it's such a difficult situation.
Yeah,
for
to prevent
Great
Sucker.
Power for that as well, to deny that priority attack.
He took the headphones off.
And so with that, the King Gambit's gonna wake up, but it does.
It does Sucker
fail
Punch,
the
yeah.
Sucker Punch because of that Rage Powder, and we do see the Porygon 2 get a chance to go for the Terra Blast.
It's a normal Terra, yeah. GG's.
Final knockout into King Gambit, and that's it.
That was a close set.
What a great set between Christopher and Justin. Congrats to Christopher for coming out on
That was a
top,
crazy set.
2-1.
That's what high-level VGC is all about. Christopher Hahn, in his very first tournament in the Masters division, continues his undefeated run. 6-0.
Oh, this is his first tournament as Masters. That's
Day 2
crazy.
Now. Of course, just a couple of wins now away from
I love
that
the squeak
top cut
P2 makes when they
bracket
use
as
Terra Blast.
Defeating 2-time regional champion Justin
I'll have to
King
listen
in
next
what was
time.
Such an exhilarating set. Christopher lost to some pretty slim odds in that
Moongus
game
bless
too,
you
but
with one of
kept
those
his
lavender
composure.
scent pouches to
Justin
help
brought
us
out this
sleep.
new lead adjustment, which
That was a phenomenal set. That was just, both of them ended up actually approaching KOs they weren't expecting. They were good.
And so
All right,
I
kid,
kind
what
of
do you got?
prioritize those matchups, those balanced matchups, in opposed to prioritizing like.
He still has like
archer
28
food
regionals
or,
and seniors or something.
number
Yeah.
one offense. That's definitely one of the bigger changes I've made. And then also, as a master, I've just been making sure to pace myself a little more. In seniors, I feel like I could burn my energy a little quicker. I only had like 5 rounds, but you know, I kind of know right now I'm gonna have to play 8 rounds today. So I've been pacing myself, making sure to keep my mindset in check, and also in terms of prepping for the tournament, I kind of made sure I had a team where I felt a lot of comfort with, instead of like a good meta call, you know?
Gotcha, for sure. Going into this matchup versus Justin, you played exceptionally well. You kind of had Justin on the ropes in Game 2, but then that double protect happened. How did you keep your composure in between Game 2 going into Game 3 after something like that happened?
You know, I kind
The
of
transition
figured,
between H
like,
division and
in that
training,
game two that
I
Justin
would
was
not
the
know.
double Protect. He kind of there's like a
I
running
walked
joke
into
that
the
he has
building a
pretty good
30-year-old
speed,
man.
But I kind of knew that I had it in myself to win the Game 3, and I could kind of see like how he was gonna adjust, and I knew what I wanted to do to try to punish that. So I didn't feel terrible about the fact that I had to go into a Game 3. I also knew that in the Game 2, Justin definitely made a lot of good calls into me, so it wasn't like the double protect was undeserved, you know?
Right. Going into Game 3 and throughout the entire set, it seemed like Flamigo was sort of the MVP. Can you tell us a little bit about your decision to go with Flamigo as one of the Pokemon and how it played up in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the standard Pokemon on that 6 is like Tyranitar normally, but when I was wearing Tyranitar, I kind of felt like the Golden Go matchup was super bad. And so one of my friends, Yotam, I knew he had been testing Flamigo like quite a bit, and I knew that it definitely had answers into this Golden Go problem because it had the ability to
Scrappy,
you know?
yeah.
So it can hit through that Ghost type and hit Golden Go for super effective and take a turn 1 KO normally. So I kind of reached out to Yotam, and he helped me prep with the 6 and showed me lineups, and we kind of worked together a little bit on the team, I guess.
Yeah, and it definitely paid off. I mean,
Yeah.
Flamigo
I wonder why it felt.
very hard into everything.
I wonder why that
Overwatch
felt
inside.
true to me,
You
despite never
said it
being in a
best earlier,
situation.
you know,
It's
this
because
is
I
your first in the
came
Masters division. You got on stream,
back to work
you
after
won on stream, and then of course
Matt leave at a
you
more senior
just
level.
made it or secured your spot in day 2. You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you get ready for the next couple rounds. Like you said, it's 8 rounds.
And you also have the Hisuian Typhlosion.
So, is this Wolfie's team? Because I know it has the Wheezing. I played this on ladder earlier today. But I don't think this is the Wolfie team. I think Wolfie had something else. I remember it was like Scarf. This might have been the Wolfie team. I just don't remember Garchomp on it. Like, I got a promotion to senior associate right when I went on leave. Oh, gotcha, for work. I've seen this team. It's just Ninetales. It's not Veil Ninetales. It's just Blizzard. And everything else is pretty standard on the team. Dragonite Garchomp is fun. Yeah, I don't know. Curious to see how this goes. Is Justin Karras in Wolfie's group? Is that is that somebody in his like circle? I know it's like Cybertron, Aaron Trailer.
So Toadscruel, such
I
an
think he
interesting
is, yeah.
Pokemon. This is actually a team that originated from Wolf Glick and
Okay.
moved up,
Yeah.
coming into this tournament. And so you have a lot of interesting
Aaron
options.
just confirmed
It
as
is
well.
very offensive. You've got the Choice Scarf, Hisuian Typhlosion. You've got Tailwind from Corviknight. Corviknight being opted to use here rather than something like Whimsicott or Talonflame because it's bulkier and can heal up with the Citrus
Encore
Berry,
Blizzard
with that
Freeze Dry
lead.
Protect.
You've got
Yeah, it's a
Force
6
Guard,
set.
a strong pick because Galarian Weezing
And it's
with
Terra
neutralizing
Ice too, so you
gas
can just
can
really just
disable,
blast away
for
with
example,
blizzards.
Intimidate from Incineroar. Toadscruel plus Galarian Weezing, a fascinating combination because you're able to use the Galarian Weezing to, of course, get rid of Toadscruel's
Why did nobody think of
allowing you to
that?
actually have a faster Spore. This Galarian
Was
Weezing is
Weezing
also
base
an
game?
offensive set, something that's very rare on these sets. And then
I don't think
the
Weezing was base
Pawmot
game,
with
was
Electric
it?
Terra, which allows you to go for multiple double shocks once you go for Terra.
But I think the Galarian Weezing is such a great call as an offensive piece because
But
you
the
look
Weezing
at,
with the
Pokemon
Toadscruel.
like Sneasler that has the poison type
That's-
damage.
I'm
Galarian
just
Weezing
wondering why we
also
hadn't
gives you
seen
the
it yet.
Fury offense, which is hard to come by in this format right
that-
now when you look at Primarina and Sylveon being two
That we
of the
hadn't seen that
biggest
tech yet.
Fairy type users. So I love the coverage options that Galarian Weezing provides alongside that
It's
choice
so
specs
funny.
and, of
That's a
course, its
base
ability.
100
I think
speed
it's just such a
Spore.
cool team, right?
It's
You have
insane.
offense from really powerful
And then
Pokemon,
Acid
this
Spray
Weezing
next
plus
to the specs
Toadscruel
Weezing.
combination just absolutely wild. I've never seen that before. Justin Karras, of course, your 2023 Charlotte Regional Champion. That was his first major victory, but he has had multiple top cuts, has been in so many day 2s, and just been an absolutely outstanding player in the Scarlet and Violet era.
Really has. And on the other side of things, we've already called out all of the decorations that Palachua has, but this team is also fascinating. As we've looked at a lot of the weather,
Pretty
that we've seen,
standard
it's not cold.
stuff.
We also had Tyranitar, Pelipper, Alolan Ninetales is one of those Pokemon that you don't necessarily
Just a
think
lot
about
of like burst. Like there's not a lot of setup.
but you have
AV
the
Gambit worth noting with a low
opportunity to
kick.
provide, I guess the Blizzard is the offense.
Just
But
raw
also
Terra
there's
Blast
Auroraville
on
on this team,
Dragonite.
which is
This team's just
interesting.
about
Yeah,
swinging.
totally. I think Auroraville is very
And
standard
Amoonguss is
on
just kind of the
Aurorave.
glue to keep
Almost
everything
always
together.
expect to see it, but this is
Amoonguss and
offensive
Cineroar are the glue to
Ninetales,
keep
right?
everything
This is still
together.
one of the fastest Pokemon in the format. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
Space
fascinating in this
110,
matchup in
105,
particular because Alolan Ninetales
111.
is
I forget how
staring
fast it
down
is.
a Garchomp and the Toadscruel. So you have that freeze dry to deal that super effective damage.
Yeah.
Weezing can get rid of the snow or prevent it from being set up, but I think Ninetales here, really fascinating Pokemon. Rose, you and I also were talking before we jumped on the desk here, and we were talking about Dragonite, and you pointed out, hey, it's actually got the Lumberry with the multi-scale. Lumberry is
No.
a pretty darn good item to have
No.
when you have sleep from the opponent.
Keep your Gambit, the assault. So there's a but we are going to see it right away.
Okay.
For Paul, it is going to be the Incineroar and the Dragonite, which is actually going to
It's
end
a
up.
Dragonite.
Was an Intimidator would actually take that because it's multi-scale, but Corviknight and Garchomp on the other side.
Yeah, so one of the downsides of running the Life Orb Garchomp, of course, is that you are going to get intimidated. Clear Amulet often being used, but it's still really powerful. This is, of course, the Ground Terra variant as well. I think Corviknight might be the most important Pokemon for Justin in this matchup, actually. It doesn't take too much damage. The main thing that's going to threaten it is going to be the Flare Blitz from the opposing Incineroar. But Paul willing to just go for the Flying Terra immediately with Dragonite, looking to deal really powerful damage with that Terra Blast or that low kick.
It's nice too
Big
because if
stomping.
you were going to end up seeing a Stomping Tantrum, you've eliminated that. You are already a flying type, but still, and you also are able to get away your weakness of something to the Dragon Claw. So we see the Terra Blast just go into the Garchomp, and it takes a really big amount of damage. With Corviknight being able to fire back a Brave Bird,
Ooh,
it
the
does
double up
actually
into
take the
Incin.
Incineroar out of this game number 1, and that could be big.
Yeah, aggressive start immediately, but I think the prioritization on Incineroar is really important because Incineroar does pressure the Corviknight with that super effective Flare Blitz, right? So being able to eliminate that from the field immediately is a big deal. You've got
Corviknight looking kind of nice too.
One of these two Pokemon actually
With the mirror armor, with like Incineroar picking back up in usage.
isn't going to do a ton in return, but it can set up that Tailwind Sled. Justin can then get a free switch into something that's waiting in the back. And so one of the questions I have
Being able to
is
throw
how
back the
Paul actually
Intimidate,
deal damage to the
at least
Corviknight.
just onto
Do
the
you think
Incineroar.
just targeting around it for the next couple of turns and saying, you know what, you can stay on the field, you can click your Brave Birds, but it's not going to do that much damage to me.
Imagine if you roost and then you just hit it with a Stomping Tantrum.
Also true,
You
yeah.
can set up Tailwind if you want, and if your roost is faster, then I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and hit you with a Stomping Tantrum when I can. But it's gonna be the Earthquake first. So with the Terra flying in, of course, you've also on the Dragonite, of course, it's gonna be
Earthquake to
Corviknight
clean
on
up the
other
Garchomp.
side. Neither of them are gonna be effective.
Palchua's
but you
chomp
can
is
knock the
faster,
Garchomp
worth
out
noting.
there.
So I was wondering the speed interactions between
Yeah.
the Garchomps and whether or not that was a potential speed tie, right? That's fairly common with Garchomps, and it's actually just going to be low kick here onto the Corviknight, gets a decent bit of damage. Brave Bird comes out and critically breaks that multi-scale on the Dragonite. We see what's in the back here. It's Palma, it's Typhlosion. Now, neither of these Pokemon love going up against Garchomp, right? Garchomp obviously will be able to deal super effective ground type damage into both. Typhlosion also, of course, is going to be resisted by Garchomp. And so a Palma here is interesting, right? Because you do have that double shock, but let's say you bring Palma out immediately, you try to double shock into the
I can see
Dragonite.
either way.
If you eat up a ground type attack, suddenly you're in extreme speed range, right? So
Yeah.
you can see Justin deciding, do I want to bring in Palma? Do I want to bring in Typhlosion?
I think Typhlosion's the better bring here, and you just gotta pray that the double up gets it.
But it's gonna be the top Palma.
It's Palma. I can see it. Fake out into the Garchomp and then Brave Bird it again just to get more chip on it.
And maybe you just try to go for something like a Tailwind here.
Yeah,
Or Tailwind, yeah.
is interesting. Palmot's already really fast. It's got that Focus Sash as well. You could protect here with Palmot. You could also consider just going for the, fake out. The thing is, if you go for fake, I like Protect here the most because it baits out the Protect from the Dragonite on the opposing side. You've already gotten that Terra out. So is there a Terra from the Dragonite here? Or sorry, a Protect. No Protect. It's just going to be Extreme Speed. So Paul trying to snipe down the Palmot probably with Extreme Speed plus a Earthquake. That's what we see. Palmot's going to protect itself. Now, Corviknight isn't advancing the game state that much. Next turn, still the similar decision where the question is, okay, does the Dragonite protect or not?
Yeah, we would have loved to be able to get the Palmot out of the way, but now that the Tailwind is set up, you are guaranteed to have this Palmot be one of the fastest things on the field. And this Corviknight, you could go ahead and try to get some damage down onto this Garchomp. The biggest issue is that you are rough skin, and so you're going to be taking a little bit of damage from any contact move from the Corviknight or the Palmot.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's the double up onto the Garchomp. And it's going to be Dragonite protecting. So did Garchomp protect as well? No.
Big close
Garchomp's
combat?
really faster than Dragonite. Close combat goes into the Garchomp. We know Brave Bird's going into that slot as well. So a very, very nice play by Justin here.
It is super
What's
nice.
crazy, and I've already said this today, Aaron said that like his commentary was bad this
With the
weekend.
Brave Bird double up, the Garchomp is out there
He
as
said
well.
that like he made some
So
technical
to
mistakes.
try to get a knockout onto either one.
His commentary has been like the best of the whole. It's crazy.
Alola and Ninetales was actually really good into this matchup. Justin has that Hisu and Typhlosion in the back. So if
Why
it is
would he
Ninetales,
say
it's
that?
gonna
What
be
did he say?
A little bit awkward right now. So
I missed what he said.
taking a little bit of recoil as well. Paul's final Pokemon's going to come out. It's actually going to be that King Gambit. Okay, so Ninetales not making an appearance in this.
Oh,
one.
why would he
Now
say that he
it's
did
the
bad?
drop on Palmot. You pressure extreme speed onto
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but is
Aaron's the
extreme
goat.
speed actually going to be enough to deal with the Palmot?
Fast on-coring I-types. Yeah, that is very Richie core. Very Iron Bundle there.
To potentially tank that just as a ghost type.
Why do you say that his commentary was bad? I feel like, I don't know, everybody's always like their own worst critic, right?
It's a little bit better into the Hisuian.
He's probably going back over the bot, being like, "Oh, I misspoke there. Oh, I
This is a big turn, 'cause I think you can extreme speed and go
No,
for a
imposter
Dark
syndrome
Knight
affects us all,
that
yeah.
Compound cleave safely into Palmot. So the question is, yeah, there's that
Just
extreme
raw
speed.
switch
What
into-
did Paul do with that King Gambit? Because if it eats up that
They should
Compound
give me an
Cleave,
Iron
it will
Bugle
just
and Reg H as a
leave
treat.
Framework
I was
so
saying the
much
same
better
thing, but with
Dragon
Ho-Oh.
Knight. What
They should let me have Ho-Oh and Reg H as a
Yeah, but
treat.
into who? It's gonna be into the Corviknight, and
Into the Corviknight.
survives
Oh
as
my
well.
god. Now the Typhlosion's
I
just
mean,
set
the Corviknight
to...
here in this slot, it does have
It still has the Sucker Punch pressure, though.
but it is certainly
Ah.
range. The fact that this Hisuian Typhlosion is on the
Heat
field
Wave.
with the Choice Scarf in tail,
Heat Wave.
there's not a whole
Do
lot
it.
that's going to be able to stop this.
Heat Wave.
You can terrastalize, which is going to help get rid of your weakness to Sucker Punch, but you're still dishing out
He-
huge damage.
Heat Wave.
Yeah, I think, like, basically, Typhlosion feels pressure to Terra here. Right now, then the Dragonite could capitalize off that by clicking Extreme Speed into that slot. You could double up onto the Typhlosion.
That might be enough, too.
Yeah, double up with the...
Palmot in the end game, and Palmot here should be able to just knock out both Pokemon, so you want to prioritize KOing. Okay, yeah, I think this is really safe.
Big Heat Wave. Yep.
Just go for the Terra here. This means that Extreme Speed should not just get the one-hit knockout here immediately.
Well, I'm thinking if you go for Sucker Punch as well...
I will take Ice right at Calyrex. Yeah, I'll take that deal, too.
For that. Corviknight then, however, will knock out Dragonite. I think Corviknight is so offensive in this matchup, so if you knock out Dragonite, you win the game, right? So yep, there's the easy...
Oh, they've made the call.
It's about 50%.
The Sucker Punch is going to do it. That absolutely, yeah.
Just gets knocked out, so, you know, maybe the terrestrialization, not enough to actually save it here, but you're right about the Corviknight being able to just get a huge KO.
He had to Terra. He was locked down there. He had to Terra, or Sucker Punch would have been a one-hit knockout.
Just click close combat into the King Gambit. So, you know, Justin saying I should go for the Terra here, right? This
And
may
so
be
it
the
is still like
option you can go for,
2v1
other than I think maybe protect
King Gambit against the Palmot,
and
but...
King Gambit going for, say,
Oh no, it's
Calculated,
still just a
but,
1v1.
The Corviknight here being able to hang on from so much damage was so critical. So Tailwind's over, but Palmot now just has that super effective close combat, and that will just easily knock out the King Gambit. And
Yeah.
should not KO Palmot here either.
No. I mean,
Does he just
yeah,
swing with
no,
it?
I was like, is there a world where like maybe
I want to
there's
see a world where they...
but no,
No.
actually just goes ahead and tanks the close combat, hoping to for
Alright.
some reason actually fire off maybe
Game
like
one
a
to
cow
Justin.
cow or anything in response, but Justin wins that game number 1 pretty cleanly.
It's very tense endgame there.
I think really
Getting
good
the
prioritization
Typhlosion
from
in
right?
place
Corviknight slot team damage here.
is very tricky.
That intimidate to basically pick up the
Especially with all the priority
That's
flying
just
around.
recovery. So while you do take recoil, Corviknight was able to put on a ton of
Typhlosion really needs,
I
like...
wonder though, there was that turn where Paul did.
And I wonder if
actually
it's worth it
protect
to
the
try to find
Dragonite
something
while
with
there
it,
was a
like...
double up.
That was the big turn.
Yeah,
An
just
upper
anything
hand
look
to,
different,
like,
Paul
force
actually is able to get
Terra...
a
Or
knockout.
for a
Yeah,
Graph,
I mean,
maybe.
You of course could have protected Garchomp
To, like, block
there
the
and attack with
priority.
Palmot, but, or sorry, attack with
Such
Dragonite
a
into
close
Palmot.
call.
Because if
Yeah,
you
but it's
could get, like, into a really
that
safe
just won't
position
lose this
with...
double shock into the Dragonite
Typhlosion
shot, right? I
Eruption.
think, like, Justin did a really good job
And then
of
have, like,
recognizing,
that
okay,
priority
multiple
control
Dragonite's
or
annoying,
psychic
but
terrain.
He baited out the Terra immediately, got the chip damage onto it, so then Palmot put on pressure with that double shock. So I think Justin's understanding in that game was really fascinating. I'm sure the fans at home definitely wanted to see the wheezing as well as the toad scroll, but I think you got to be a little bit scared when thinking, okay, I just felt like
There, do you perfect?
Ninetales gonna be Dragonite and Garchomp dual dragons this time around, and here we
Oh,
go.
there we go!
It's the Toad Scroll and the Wheezing. Neutralizing gas gonna shut off every ability.
Oh, but of course there's the Lumberry still on the
Let's
Dragonite,
go.
so you can potentially go for that Spore. Water Terra here is pretty nice defensively, and Wheezing right now does, of course, threaten with super effective damage onto both Pokemon, but you
They
are
could
up
just
against a
acid spray something,
multi-skill
yeah.
Dragonite, right? And the Garchomp here, both Pokemon
Oh, the
actually
Garchomp
have that,
outspeeds
so
Toad Scroll.
You could double protect her one to bait out a Terra or bait out a potential, and see
Mhm,
what move Wheezing wants to lock into.
That would be actually pretty stellar. I think if we ended up seeing that from Paul.
No
also,
stellar, but it could
no,
be stellar.
Yeah, it could be a stellar.
Boo.
But I kind of wonder too. Does Paul just read into that and go on?
Boo.
The offense?
Okay, it looks like, look at, here we go. It's thinking of the Spore and just switch in. This is risky because
Nick is great.
now you,
Toad
of course,
Scroll has its ability activated again.
yeah, okay, let's see. And one thing to note is actually the multi-skill was actually canceled, right, by the Wheezing. So Wheezing actually did put on a little bit more offensive pressure into the Dragonite. Still, though, Dragonite's quite bulky, and it can Terra. It's going to be the Flying Terra here. So
What was the Terra on the Wheezing? Because I think he switched out Wheezing to in fear of the...
End up just getting the knockout.
Hit from the Garchomp.
Double up opportunity
Yeah.
here from the Garchomp, but it is.
But it was a protect.
It feels just the threat of that Toad Scroll, also just the damage that could be coming out from that Weezing. If the Toad Scroll goes for the Spore into the Protect, so Paul
was a great
really good
Protect.
call there. But what is this Dragonite going to actually do? It is the Terra Blast.
Terra Blast.
So it has
Is it on
two
Toad Scroll?
options, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be that Toad Scroll on the receiving end.
And that
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Bye-bye, Toad Scroll. You tried your best.
Well, we got to see it. We just didn't get a chance to see it do something there. But now you have the opportunity, I guess, to bring in the Garchomp. You still get a chance to put on some pressure on the opposing, but we saw the speed interactions in that last game.
Totally, yeah. And I think, yeah, the Toad Scroll on this team, speedier, right? As we see the
Protect
Dragonite
Tailwind is fair.
Is just going to protect. So once again, like, Corviknight is such a big problem here. Paul, however, does just have a Pokemon lead immediately, just willing to launch Dragon Claw into that Garchomp. I wouldn't be surprised if he doubled into it, but this, of course, then is an opportunity for Justin to set up a potential Tailwind. Low Kick, though, actually decent damage to Corviknight, right? You need to slowly start chipping away at it, so I like the idea of just splitting your damage here, get some guaranteed damage, but now you're at risk of obviously eating up a Dragon Claw from this Garchomp onto the opposing side.
I'm loving this music.
Is there
Yeah.
anything that- I mean, like, when I look at Paul's Pokemon...
I forget which song this is. I don't... I have the music in my game muted, so I don't listen to it. I usually just play my own.
Or you just end up taking some damage from both the Garchomp and the Corviknight from a double up. But there is still this Weezing in the back that just...
Switching into Weezing
back into the mix.
is a little rough.
Yeah, and
While the Garchomp's still on the field.
you still have to break the,
But their best answer for Garchomp is
Of course,
Weezing.
you could potentially pivot in the Weezing with that neutralizing gas, but either way, with the flying Terra, like, you're just not going to be able to do like a ton of damage. But Garchomp is going to pivot out here, so the idea is reading that Garchomp is going to go for a Protect or a Switch and trying to get Weezing into
Or Dragon Claw into that slot.
Neutralizing gas now hits the field as well. But Garchomp does not protect. It's willing
Brave
to just
Bird.
attack, so Brave Bird goes into the Garchomp. This is a fair bit of recoil damage coming.
Earthquake.
And now
That's good a lot into
Earthquake
Weezing.
into the Weezing slot. Paul doesn't care about eating up a Dragon.
Oh,
Weezing
that
just
did
keeps
so
up
much.
damage.
It's still there, though.
Because at least, like, the neutralizing
And they have
gas
Tailwind
set
up,
off the
but they have
Weezing,
extreme speed on
so
Dragonite's side.
taking the recoil from the
Oh no, they just doubled up on it.
leave this Weezing forward.
Goodbye, Weezing.
Double up of the Terra Blast. And so Weezing also gets a chance to show up to this game number 2, but not a chance to show off.
Yeah, we can see that Justin now, it feels like it's Paul this time who's making these really aggressive predictions, right? Paul is a player who is so good at VGC because he can go from playing safe to playing really aggressive just with the snap of a finger. So huge, huge lead from Paul in this game, and multi-skill still hasn't even been broken. Justin's been trying to read into Paul's safe protects, which he was going for in that first game. Paul decides, you know what, I'm just gonna dial up the aggression a little bit, and it's been paying off really, really well. Now, there's still comeback potential, right? This Corviknight, of course, can heal itself with Roost. You still have the Tailwind up. You've still got the Dragon Claw pressure. But the question is, yeah, do you think Paul continues to play aggressive with Garchomp? Does he finally go for a Protect with it? And the Dragonite, it just can freely launch Terra Blast into Garchomp, which I think is what makes this so tough.
It does, and Paul still has 2 more Pokemon in the back
Yeah.
that you could also switch into that Garchomp's place or the Dragonite.
Earthquake here is crazy.
So it's certainly an uphill battle for Justin to have to climb.
Why not just
With the
stopping there?
Earthquake also from the Garchomp.
Get someone who talks about you the way Aaron's saying talks about Paul Chua.
KO with the Life Orb.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that does leave this Dragonite right now by itself, but with the Brave Bird, like, now you get a chance
Little
to
bit of
actually
damage.
make the multi-scale.
Yeah.
But Paul still gets a free switch into something else.
That was still good damage with multi-scale.
This Dragonite set is just so strong. Like, it's been content to just click Terra Blast the whole game. Dragonites definitely look like one of the strongest Pokemon in the format.
Yeah.
From all the different stream games today. And so King Gambit now hits the field. You have Sucker Punch pressure now onto
The one,
Garchomp.
the
Sucker
Dragonite
Punch
with the
over
Annihilate
we should see Paul take
round
this
2, I
second
think, was
game. I think it's-
crazy.
You have the Terra,
It was
Justin,
Scarf
and
coaching
Miles
Annihilate,
Sanders
and
at
they
this
just
point
clicked
because
coaching on
Garchomp was
Dragonite
really
once, and they
safe to
couldn't
a
do
Sucker
anything
Punch
about it.
unless somehow it has enough bulk to actually take one. If you can survive, even then, I don't know. It's like Corviknight's just never really winning the game from this position because Brave Bird is not going to ever win against King Gambit, so all Paul needs to do is eliminate Garchomp. So I think we should see us go to a 3rd game here, but Justin's going to fight it out, take some time to think about how he can come up with a game plan, and yeah, Sucker Punch does just get the knockout on a Garchomp.
Yeah, I mean,
So is there a meta reason why Corviknights are not running the body press
like,
anymore?
even putting it to sleep, you have the
I know
level
flying
area
coverage
to
is really
be
good
able to
into the
keep
meta
this
at the moment.
Dragonite back on its feet.
It's probably for
The
Sneasler
Loki
specifically,
Capsule's
right?
gonna do even
Super
more
effective.
damage.
Just having that Brave Bird to hit it,
Your
and
flying type.
Corviknight kind of wall
With the
Sneasler.
Roost. Yeah, I think we just have to go back to the drawing board for this 3rd game. Justin was able to get the win in game number 1. Paul with some fantastic calls being able to.
Yeah, great adjustment for Paul Chua.
Yeah, I think like Justin did not end up going for Terra in that game, so there was the opportunity to he saw where the spore target and to catch Paul off guard, predicting a protect or a switch, but not critically being. So I think Justin.
Yeah, let's see how Justin leads game 3. Because the Weezing, I think the Weezing had potential. He just needed to stay in and swing with it.
Even if it's not the rough stopping this Terra Flying Dragonite, you can't hit it with Garchomp on your side because you've got Earthquake and Stomping Tantrum, which isn't going to be able to touch it either.
Yeah, to me, Dragonite.
I forget what the Terra type is on the Weezing, but you would have to like rip Terra turn 1 into a Garchomp lead.
Like at least some type of spread damage, it would still be
okay. Palmot's here.
Maybe get a chance to get a burn onto either side. Unfortunately, that's not going to end up being the case in this game number 3, but it was a pipe dream like the Alola Ninetales.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think if you actually expect a Ninetales adjustment, maybe you could think about it, but the downside of it is that you're just facing down at Double Dragon, right? And that was the lead that we had previously seen. So this time around, it's going to be a double protect from Justin's end. Paul, of course, critically doesn't go for that Flying Terra immediately, but now you have a lot of offensive pressure right away. It might just be a protect all around.
Across the board. A protect for you and you, and it is just 4 protects. But that first one is going to fail.
4 protects in a row. Okay.
From Paul's side as well, where you don't necessarily want to be a victim to a fake out from this Palmot. Maybe your Dragonite does just go down because it's multi-scale. It does have the opportunity to get faked out.
This is so interesting. Okay, you're seeing the Weezing pivot. The idea is I've got Life Orb, Dragon Claw. Let me turn off multi-scale and then maybe just knock out the Dragonite. Now, critically, Dragonite didn't get its protect off last turn. Oh, okay.
That is spicy.
Electric Terra plus Dragon Claw here into Dragonite is certainly a possible play. But if Paul, the idea is to split the damage here. I like it. I was gonna say if you like double up onto the Dragonite and then Dragonite does get the protect off and Earthquake comes out, it's a disaster. But this is one really fun thing you can do with Palmot, Electric Terra, which means that you will keep your typing with the double shock.
Yeah, so you can just keep clicking double shock over and over again.
Pressure because the extreme speed is going to be enough to break the Palmot, and because Paul's Garchomp is very fast, we could see just a knockout here, but not before this Palmot gets a chance to actually go for the double shock. But look at the multi-scale.
Is it a speed tie? Whose Garchomp will move first right now? It's going to be Earthquake from the opposing side.
So Paul is going to be
big Earthquake, yep.
Down into both the Palmot and the Garchomp. So the Palmot gets knocked out here. Garchomp,
I think that one decided the game. Yeah, if you commit the Terra on Palmot, you can just keep your electric typing. You don't burn it out.
Amount of damage into Paul's Garchomp with the Dragon Claw.
I think it'll KO, yeah. So this is Garchomp versus Garchomp. I'm really questioning like the speeds here, right?
Life Orb Garchomp looking kind of nice.
Completely differently if
I dropped
won that one, but
my old capture card.
Is down a Terra for the remainder of the game. Palmot was the best tool against this against the Dragonite previously, and so yeah, that's a really, really strong start for Paul there. But at the Garchomp speed interaction, a huge deal.
Well, because what would have happened if Justin actually switched the Weezing into that Garchomp slot? You shut off the multi-scale and then you just go for the double shock?
Yeah.
It's a tough call to have to make when you know that Paul is able to make these aggressive reads.
The Ninetales is here.
That's a really big adjustment there from Paul. We didn't see it in games 1 or 2.
So Ninetales.
Oh, that's crazy. How do you play this now? It's not going to have the snow, but the freeze dry, yeah, still has a lot of pressure.
To just go for, say, freeze dry into that slot with your Dragonite and just Terra Blast into the Weezing slot. So Justin recognizes, okay, I do not want my Spain from a freeze dry. Let me bring out Corviknight.
Corviknight's going to take that a lot better with its steel typing. But
yeah, good pivot. Is it the Ice Terra? Or is it back on the Flying Terra? On the Dragonite, yep.
Again, 3 for 3 on this Terra Flying. Knowing that this is one way that you can really bypass these ground type attacks from the Garchomp.
Totally, with Palmot eliminated now, way less threatening. Yep, there is the safe freeze dry into the Garchomp slot. That does around a quarter to Corviknight, and Terra Blast comes out immediately into
it's another Weezing.
Slot. So
it's not going to eat this well.
Do a ton of damage.
Yeah. It is a lot. If any follow-up here would be great.
Big Dazzling Gleam.
Using that Flying Terra, just
that's specs. That's crazy.
Alola Ninetales has been able to stay around quite healthy.
Yeah, so what's tough here is you want to set up Tailwind, but like the Weezing slot right now is just completely exposed, right? So Paul has a guaranteed knockout onto that with Terra Blast if you want to go for it. Corviknight could then, of course,
yeah, that's the thing about Weezing is it's like so slow. Even with a, you could probably like Tim at 252, but it's still
One other thing to think about is
You're not picking up the big one-hit knockouts.
and
It's
the
probably
snows
good
that
into
come
like
back if
Incinerilla
you
balance
get
stuff.
the defense boost. And so,
Because
yeah,
it's still
the
gonna,
weezing slot
you could like
basically
acid
will
spray
go
and
down the
Incineroar
start,
and
right?
Dazzling
Like,
Gleam
you
stream
either
steam
lose
into
your
it.
Weezer or you switch in your Garchomp. So the main decision, I
And
think,
Sludge
is,
Bomb for
what do you want to do with the Corviknight right now? Do you want to go
Rillaboom.
for to finish off the Dragonite? And that looks like that's what Justin's considering.
Oh, Freeze Dry goes first, though, into the Corviknight. You just do a little bit more chip as the
But yeah,
Dragonite
Weezing's
gets
kind of
followed up
necessary for
next.
the
So they
neutralizing
care
gas,
about
but
Weezing, poor thing. It's also going to go down here, and then you also get
just
that
the
snow
Weezing
back up,
itself
as
is
you
kind of a
said,
rough
as
bring.
his abilities turn back on.
Yeah, neutralizing gas now.
I wonder if
wears
anybody's
off.
ever...
Snow warning is now active.
That'd be a bit passive
And
of a
so,
lead. I was thinking
Brink,
maybe
of course,
putting
went into the
Toadscroll
Dragonite slot,
on
pick up the
like a
knockout,
Weezing
but
slacking
Ninetales that
team.
can deal with the Garchomp, right? So then the big question is, what is Paul's final Pokemon? If it's that King Gambit, you can just
But you
always
would have to
summon a bunch
lead.
into a Garchomp slot and lock the game up, kind of
Like
how
just
the
regular
previous game
Weezing
was locked
and...
up.
But you took so much recoil
Toadscroll,
as well.
and that'd be
you were
very
able to get the
passive.
Citrus, which is going to give you more of your HP back, but now that the snow is also active, this
my water
Ninetales is
somewhere.
Blizzard.
What's the final Pokemon? That is King
on
Gambit,
the
and I
inside
think
of the
that
room.
should secure the win here for Justin. You can very safely go for that Blizzard and Kowtow Cleave into the Corviknight slot. No need to even really, unless the Ninetales for some reason is slower than
I'm
the
gonna let this
Garchomp,
play
which
out.
I'd
I'm
be
gonna grab my
surprised
water
by.
real quick.
But I think one of the reasons you would want to use Ninetales is because it's faster. So yeah, I think Justin here can try to go for maybe a Protect and a Tailwind. It's probably your best bet, but the King Gambit is the perfect final Pokemon for Paul here.
Yeah, you still maybe have a little bit of dog left in this fight here if you're Justin, but as we see the Protect come through, it comes down to Paul being able to even just get a double up into this Corviknight slot, finish it off. There's the Blizzard, of course not going to be able to connect with this Garchomp, but look at how much that Corviknight's even going to take.
Oh,
It
the
freezes
freeze
as well.
finally comes out.
Oh, so even if it was going to be able to get the tailwind
Okay,
off,
it came back and I saw
certainly not
freeze.
gonna be able to this time around as
Yeah.
it's just frozen in place.
Yeah, that one honestly
I
think
hate
makes a
freezes.
difference
It's the
because,
worst
I mean, you
mechanic,
see
dude.
Corviknight faints here, Garchomp protected, you just sucker punch freeze dry into the Garchomp
I
slot or
know, but
Blizzard.
it's
It died
still
frozen.
victory, Aaron.
It's a testament to why Alola Ninetales is really powerful though, right? Like Paul clicked freeze dry, and Blizzard, and your odds of getting a freeze when you're going for these moves turn after turn after turn.
Freeze dry
is
can't
very
freeze,
high.
can it?
So Paul Chua advances to 7-0 with that Alola Ninetales, our first time
It's only
seeing it
Blizzard
on
Ice
stream
Beam.
in this tournament, defeating Justin Karras, running the Toadscroll, running the Weezing. We got to see, unfortunately, those two Pokemon not do very much in this matchup, and I think Paul had a
Freeze
lot
dry
of good
freezes
effort
for
into
sure?
them,
Okay, I didn't know.
starting with that
I thought it was only the
lovely
super effective into
Fire
water.
Dragonite. What an absolute monster that was.
Do we have another set today?
Nothing to hit it. There was nothing to hit it outside of that Palma, and you called it so many times over.
I
with
think we
just
got one more
how
set.
Paul even
Oh,
had
it's the man himself.
Because
It's the Glick.
yeah, I mean, nobody likes losing.
Back, let me know. Zachary.
All right.
Your eyes do not
We're running
see
it back
you
with this
also on
team.
the same exact
And we've
team
seen this
as
team
the
before
Bears
today,
from the
too.
previous round. There still is that Toadscroll. That's a Pokemon.
Yeah, I hope we can
I think I saw a little bit of this match. I didn't see the whole match,
Both of
but
those players were 6-0 going into the last round, and yeah, there's not shockingly a whole lot of else or a whole lot of other Toadscroll in the field. So, like the Pokemon by Pokemon win rate, it may be #1.
hey, Wolfie Glick's on stream right now. Do you think my viewership's gonna triple?
His opponent, Zachary Minnick. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but first let's get a refresher on the.
Yeah, we've seen the team, so we don't need to. Oh, I want to go back. I want to see the Terra on. It's Terra Fire on Weezing, so that wouldn't have helped in the.
Very effective.
The-
It's one of those things again.
Help! I have too
players
many
are not
cookies.
preparing
Someone come over and eat them.
strategies to have to deal with spore, but that's
I'm turning stream off right the fuck now and coming over. You have no idea.
quick.
Okay.
Or that is that
I can
quick,
fuck up a cookie
I
right
think
now.
These Pokemon a little bit different.
Luna, Flamigo, Porygon on stream. Be wrong.
Okay. So we've seen this mental herb. So this is the one. This is the paste I had. The mental herb and sludge bomb. I didn't like it. I like the clear smog better. Party at Grace's house. Yeah. Yeah, I think I liked the other Amoonga set better. I like the idea of slapping Sludge Bomb into Whimsicott, just to delete it, but yeah, I still think Clear Smog is better. Is better.
Your documents are really good.
If your ability rust a little bit.
Oh, well, let's give Golden Go a chance. As I'll be honest, I've never.
That's the
actually
ugliest
seen a
shiny.
Toadscroll
What the fuck?
before. That is an incredibly groovy Pokemon to kick off our last round of Swizzy. Or
Groovy was a great word. I almost choked on my water. Groovy was a great way to describe it.
I like the hot pink.
So there's a great lack of abilities out here, right?
Yes.
Toadstool very excited not to have its. The other side
I think the shiny's growing on me. I'm sorry I called it ugly. It was just very, 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 very loud when I first saw it. Are you talking about Toadstool? Shiny Toadstool is amazing. No, I'm coming around to it. I'm coming around to it. It was just very loud whenever I first saw it. I was like, ah!
So the fake out from Incineroar not going to be able to do anything to stop it.
Terastallization already turned one onto the Toadstool. It's going
Okay.
to turn into a water-type Pokemon, so no longer has to worry about the threat of a Flare Blitz from that opposing Incineroar.
Let's
so
see
it
it.
cannot be flinched, cannot be taken out in one hit, and also can't be landing a Spore against the opposing Ursaluna who just protected. Unfortunately, that is exactly where Toadstool targeted, but it is also the fastest Pokemon.
It is
on the
Goggle on
field.
the...
We see Incineroar follow up with
Instant.
that Flare Blitz. Just look at how little damage it does thanks to that Terastallization.
It still did, like, a lot.
Galarian Weezing
For, like,
with
resisted
a
hit.
range steam into that Incineroar,
Phew.
boosted by the choice specs as well.
When hits pretty hard, that's a decent bit of damage there.
Okay.
Of course, with no Spore going in on this Ursaluna,
The spray, yeah.
a little bit trickier where
Spray and dazzle.
actually burned as long as this Weezing is out on the field.
I want to see it.
Still, sort of a tough type matchup there where it'd be easy to give up a knockout the other direction. However, now Incineroar really being threatened.
I do like Earth Power.
Potentially pick up a knockout on it, so at least we'd get some value there. But
Spray and pray.
Do you want to risk giving
Huh?
up either of these Pokemon potentially so early in the match?
That's a really tough call to make because the amount of pressure not having abilities
Just the
doing
double
right
up here.
now is fantastic. You also
Yeah, the
again,
Incineroar damage-wise isn't threatening too much here.
Spore putting,
They do have the Earth Power as an
in the
option,
future.
but
Won't necessarily work out
the
right
normal
now,
Terra,
as that
they're just gonna
Incineroar is
swing.
holding the safety goggles, and the Ursaluna already has a status effect, but it now also has a Terastallization into the normal typing.
Does he
Acid
drop the
Spray
special
will
defense?
connect and
Is
drop
this Strange
the
Steam gonna be
special
enough?
defense of that
Oh!
Ursaluna, lining
Knocked
it
off
up
the
for a
specs, wait.
one-two combination. Some big damage coming
Is this
through
gonna be
from
enough?
Weezing. It lost the choice specs.
It
But
wasn't.
still is able to bring it down into the yellow with a Strange Steam and gets
That knockoff was
chance
huge.
to confuse the Ursaluna come through, and it's not going to pay off this turn, but that's okay.
Zod, who's getting deleted?
Zod,
Weezing?
boosted by that Terastallization, will return a knockout into the Weezing.
Yeah, so a bizarre combination of events there.
I think they needed the... because...
be very close to a knockout. A teammate going to land here, which doesn't make too big of a difference. What does make a difference
Guts was
now,
shut off.
Ursaluna's become more powerful. It is again,
So
Guts
Facade was still
no
boosted,
longer
but Guts was
scared
shut off.
but, we will see one of these two speedy Pokemon into the field.
You can't see without his spectacles. He didn't pick up the KO with those glasses either.
But
Yeah.
now that
Typhlosion's not bad to bring here.
there's much more opportunity for Zachary to kind of shift around, kind of play his team the way it's meant to.
Not a lot of priority at the
I love
moment.
synergy here as well with the Typhlosion taking the field for Wolf because you have
Choice
that
items should get an
action
extra
spray on
boost when
the
they match a
opposing
Pokemon's fashion.
Pokemon, and even if it wasn't within knockout range of a full health eruption at this point, that is some great synergy having Typhlosion as a closer in this instance.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to switch in here too, right? Where
Yeah.
Yep.
the Toadstool does have that Earth Power, which would easily put enough pressure on Incineroar, but you can kind of just safely smash Eruption if you want to.
Yeah. First, this Ursaluna, unfortunately, will fail the protect and hit itself in confusion.
Pokemon Fashion Game win. True. Didn't they have that one mini game in like Gen 5 where you'd like dress it up and put on a show?
Excuse me.
Bring that back.
The Incineroar is still able to hold on for a little bit longer, but like you were just saying, Scott, the threat of Earth Power here is going to certainly do enough damage to pick up that KO.
Alright, boom.
Easy knockout there, and
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, the musicals.
Yeah.
Like Liz's Garchomp with the necklace. I think that items should appear on the Pokemon somehow. Like if you have a choice scarf, they're wearing a little scarf. You know?
Not super great on it. We see the Flamigo entering the field now, and Porygon too. So, a Pokemon that's very good at kind of just stalling out games. Perhaps an option for a Trick Room to get around the choice scarf for this Typhlosion. But
Yeah, Spore is the safest play because Flamigo can wide guard the Typhlosion.
you don't think through
They just do it just to keep the Flamigo honest.
For sure, and I think as well, this is
I should be able to put accessories on my Pokemon and see them in battle. So true.
Getting as much information as you can as possible. I think
Gen 10, do it,
really
please.
unique thing about
Pokemon,
being
hire me.
Wolf in a
Literally
team
just
like-
hire
in a
me.
team like this is that the way he plays it is going to be very different from anybody else, and the fact that he's relying on the synergy between Toad Scroll and Typhlosion is really exciting.
I already started with the starters in Let's Go game. Yeah, you could even like give your EVs like different haircuts.
Yeah.
We do know Flamigo knows wide guard, right? So.
Oh, they didn't click it. Yeah, they just kept him honest.
He's getting the attack off for it, but that is a lot of damage down.
It is will activate the focus sash on that Flamigo, but it won't get the.
You can do it in this game, but the accessories are all shiny hats. True, they're just all big hats.
That Flamigo, and will pick up the KO there. So even though Porygon 2 has the opportunity to use Trick Room here,
Trick Room.
it is a bit of an uphill battle. We'll have to find its way through 3 Pokemon remaining on Wolf's side of the field.
Yeah, and that's tough to do, right? Because I can't see any way that Porygon is going to be able to knock out this Toad Scroll before it gets a Spore off.
Yep.
You just keep acid spraying, yeah.
Maybe get a couple acid sprays off, and then eventually get another attack off with one of his special attackers to perhaps close the game.
I'm surprised Wolf didn't Spore last turn.
Undefeated to this point in the tournament.
For sure, and again,
Defensive slash offensive, nah. Choose what looks cutest on the Mon. Bugterra is the cutest hat. I love seeing Bugterra hat. It is the cutest.
Also the Galarian Weezing as well. Was really cool to see, and I'm sure Zachary's taking every second. As
It's actually the only reason they didn't implement it this end. It's definitely coming next gen.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see that
Eruption.
Gonna set
Yep.
up this knockout for Typhlosion, but I think what's really great about what Toad Scroll's doing there is that the threat of Spore is so significant that even though you have a Pokemon with Eruption sitting
Wolfie
there,
furiously
it kinda
scribbling.
attracts all the attention for it. You know, you don't want to get hit by that quick Spore, and again, not something.
Bugterra Iron Hands. It is cute. I like Terra. I was watching a Dewabafet video earlier today, and they had a Terra Bug Masquerain.
Go ahead. I mean,
That video was insane, by the way. They're like, can we stall out the full 20-minute timer of a match in one turn? And they did it. They had a 20-minute turn. But Bugterra Masquerain came out. Yeah, that was very cute.
I think Zachary started the game off very strong, bringing the Pokemon with safety goggles and bringing the Pokemon that would
Volbeat and Illumise, for some reason, their Terra hat, whenever they Terra, the hat is like massive. It's like bigger than their body. It's so funny.
Is there any mix-up he can?
Look at the
All right.
after the play this match. That may be this.
Let's see, Mr. Glick. What else you got?
Getting run just pour get the trick.
Come on, Zachary.
Like we are going to see a commitment to the way Game 1 was played by both these trainers, with once again the Ursaluna leading alongside of the Incineroar. So given that there was no visible Pokemon adjustment, you have to assume Zachary's going to approach this turn 1 much different.
Masquerain Believer. I miss. We should have had Masquerain in Generation 8, I think. Because it's a bug flying type and it gets Aqua Jet. So that would have been, it would have had Intimidate too, and that would have been the greatest Colossal proc. That would have been like the weakest Aqua Jet you could have possibly had. And then having an Intimidator with it too. It would have been fun. It wouldn't have been good, but it would have been fun.
That's what it's going to be. We see Spore going into that Protect, and now the Flame Orb will activate. Guts still shut down.
Yeah, I had to try to
here, but at least the Ursaluna doesn't
get the Spore off for the Flame Orb. Just Earth Power. Just going for, okay.
You're in Wolf, so you can assume like we're not just gonna do the same thing forever, right? You're not gonna just let me win. So you know what could be.
Is he just doing it again? I guess so. The Weezing's getting knocked off right now.
Wolf, you're probably willing to take the same trade, but you're gonna try to guess. Okay, well, what is Zach gonna do different this time? And there's something I can do to exploit that.
What's the base power of Strange Steam? Is it stronger than Sludge Bomb? Are they both 90?
But then if you don't get it, you're further behind than you were in the first game.
For sure. So here's our first deviation from game number 1. It's going to be Zach.
I guess I could be hoping for a confused chance.
And it's again the normal type.
Is that what Strange Steam does? Is it confused?
So
I gotta brush up on my Weezing knowledge.
Boosted damage thanks to the status effect, and that terrestrialization will give it a bit more of a boost. But just
Acid
like
spray.
we saw in game number 1, it's going to be Acid Spray into that Ursaluna to drop its special defense very sharply. Another adaptation here, instead of knocking off the choice specs, it will be Parting Shot on that Incineroar.
Interesting.
So still will reduce
Still effectively
the
doing
amount
the
of
same thing, yeah.
Weezing can do overall, but I think more importantly, giving
But keeping the
Zachary
Weezing locked in.
opportunity to pivot a Pokemon onto the field.
Yeah,
while
confusion.
the Ursaluna
Yeah.
is still healthy, and that Pokemon's going to be Flamigo.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Crochet.
The same damage reduction here, so Ursaluna's still gonna survive. It gets confused once again, so it's good.
Hit yourself.
I don't know.
It'd be funny if you hit yourself.
Ursaluna find the opportunity to attack.
Wolfie's smiling like he knew. No!
Unfortunately, it does not. But I mean, to try and look at things in a positive right? The burn reduced the amount of damage it took, so...
That was much less confusion damage. However, this seems real bad. I really like the mix-up from Zachary, who I think kind of played it half a turn faster this time. However, because of the confusion,
Yeah, the confusion.
Successfully trade the
Rough.
Ursaluna with the wheezing. Instead, really on the back foot now.
Earth
where
power.
there's into clear
And then
path
straight steam
for
the Flamigo.
Avoiding just losing Ursaluna or taking a ton of damage for whatever Pokemon is in that slot.
Nah, I like that.
Things start
You have the speed advantage right now.
Yeah, and
Use
I
it
will
with the
say,
Spore.
I loved how Wolf was trying to cycle through his choices there. We saw in game number 1 that the Toad Scroll is actually faster than the Flamigo. So I think what he was trying to decide there is, would the Flamigo
Base 100
stay in
versus
as
base
before he should go for
95,
Spore,
I
or
think
should he go for
Flamigo is.
something else? He locked in Spore, but Zachary
I don't think you would have to run.
into
You
that
might have to run
Incineroar,
base 100.
so will not
I was
be
thinking
able to
maybe if you
switch
could drop like a
bases
couple
back
points
to
off, so you're
holding
just
safety
jumping
goggles, and it's a double switch from
Hydreigon.
Zach. Going to be sending
The button
in his
clicking
final
hurt me in
Pokemon
confusion,
here.
yeah.
It is confirmation, same floor as last time, but this time it's Porygon 2 next to Fake Out, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, Spore hitting the wrong target here, but I don't
Spore
think
with
Wolf's gonna be
safety
too upset about
goggles.
it. This time with the choice specs, we'll have to see how much this does. Not great, but now we're in that situation where, well, you can just Spore the Porygon slot potentially if you'd like to, and there isn't like a super obvious way to stop that. Wheezing here, not doing a whole lot, but you can switch out, right? You don't really need to be first with Spore in this situation.
True.
The Toad Scroll's getting faked out here.
Consider here is potentially switching in the Ursaluna to try
Because
and
the Wheezing
find
isn't really
time.
doing anything in this
You can
position.
Try and land a Flare Blitz into the opposing Toad Scroll. You know that if Wolf decides to keep it on the field, he's going to have to dedicate. that
So,
time
fun
to it.
interaction.
And
Turn
you
order
as a
for
player yourself in the future to know that, well, at least the
Mercillium
Wheezing
Might is determined before Wheezing switches out. So the fast Spore is still going to go off on the same turn you switch out Wheezing.
At least whatever else he has in the back will not be able to terrastalize, and after a moment of abilities activating here, we will eventually see that he swapped in a Pokemon, and it's going to be Palmont.
Palmont the Teary-Eyed. I love that mark, actually. I love that, actually.
Since you're pretty safe situation where you don't have to worry about a
I'm not the
trigger
biggest
going
Wolfie
off.
fan, but he
It is the
cooked.
Ursaluna comes
He cooked
back
with this
in,
team.
Not wanting to deal with any potential spores, but we're going to see a little damage tick on this burn, and at least it does successfully force the terastallization from Wolf. Zachary was even further behind compared to game 1, but at least getting that commitment once again.
Yeah, and I think that's really the best thing that Zachary can hope for at this point in time, because you know that the Pokemon that's going to be doing the most damage on your side of the field, that Ursaluna,
Yep, the fast Spore.
Unfortunately has its time limited. We'll see Knockoff connect with the Toad Scroll as well here, getting rid of the Covert Cloak, so that also will open up more opportunities for Zachary to attack in the future, potentially flinching that Toad Scroll with Fake Out, but you're going to have to pivot that Incineroar out on the field again, and depending on what comes in, that Palmont has some great type synergy with the Pokemon in the back.
Yeah, pretty excited about what it is, right? I mean, you'd love to punch the Incineroar, you'd love to punch the Porygon. Even if you get the Flamigo, at least you get rid of that Focus Sash and then can deal with that in the next turn. All those outcomes looking real good for Wolf.
Incineroar switches out, and Flamigo will be taking the field in its place. Protect on that Ursaluna, going to keep it around for the maximum amount of time it can be at this point. Close combat, though, will break the Focus Sash on that Flamigo, and then Toad Scroll will...
Zachary's not out of this yet.
Go for an Acid Spray into the protecting Ursaluna. And I like that play as well, because you know you don't need the extra damage at this point from that Pokemon, and getting a special attack drop in, or excuse me, special defense drop in when you potentially have another Typhlosion in the back of your party, where you still have the choice specs potentially on that Galarian Wheezing. That just gives
you always Acid Spray the Ursaluna here.
Yeah, everything feels great, right?
Yeah.
You always swing with the Ursaluna here, though.
It might be even worse, where you're just giving me more knockouts. Breaking the Stash and Flamigo also great. You know, if the goal is an endgame sweep by that Typhlosion, you do want to get rid of the Wide Guard at some point. And right now in a position where you'd think that Wolf can just attack both targets and either pick up a knockout here on both or either of them, or at least get some extra damage to the Pokemon in the back.
So it's the Flamigo.
The
Okay.
cycling continues, but not immediately leading toward any offense. At least perhaps getting Palmont to remove its typing for a little benefit here as it gets intimidated, and hopefully, if you're Zachary, baited into using an electric type attack.
Yeah, so the one thing to keep in mind about Palmont's electric type attack Double Shock is that assuming it does not terrastalize into that electric type, it will lose the electric typing like you just mentioned. So it will no longer be able to utilize that move as a result. So when the Flamigo comes in, assuming Wolf doesn't cycle out the Palmont, it won't be able to hit it for super effective damage. Now, we'll have to see what the impact will be on that interaction
Acid
later
spray on the
in this
P2.
match as the acid spray connects with the Porygon 2 to drop its special defense.
You just keep
And
acid
really,
spraying that slot,
Palma, I
right?
think, is okay going for close combat in this turn, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Zachary's getting to the point where he's been weakened enough he could at least get the Trick Room off, but then you hit the question, like,
Close combat's pretty safe into the P2 slot as well. Because they don't have Protect.
Sweep within Trick Room, but has at least cycled a position now where things are a little trickier for Wolf.
For sure, and I do think the other thing that you have to remember about Zachary's win condition moving forwards is that it's really going to be on the shoulders of the Porygon 2, as Incineroar will
Just really wanted to get rid of the
by close
Incineroar.
combat. Toadscruel will be
Okay,
pushed
I think we see where this
in
is going.
matchup, so that's like kind of cool.
Palmat can just keep clicking close combat. He can switch it out to reset drops. Trick Room does go up. Flamigo comes in.
Palma will protect
Palma
himself
protected.
this turn as
Just
Porygon
raw Terra
2
Blast. That's enough for the Toadscruel knockout.
Really force Zachary to use
He has to
all
bring Weezing back in.
Wolf has
Yeah.
Weezing, which will
Because
benefit,
Trick
I
Room is
think,
still up.
team, and the Porygon 2 hasn't been switched out since it took that out.
So, yeah, I mean, both sides kind of eyeing potential knockouts. I think both sides, Zachary said, you only really get one turn for Ursulina. While Trick Room is still active to get one. Flamigo playing it safe for now.
Willing to eat the hit on Typhlosion. Although I don't think Typhlosion took any damage.
Porygon
Yeah.
threatening a knockout of this Weezing, which should lead us to a situation here where Typhlosion stays locked into a move the rest of the game. So we kind of a Terra Blast. If you think
Double
that's
choice
the case,
items,
you
I'm
can
just
try to take
realizing.
advantage of that, not use the wide guard, attack the Typhlosion to a game 3.
Into Shadow Ball, it's only a single target move that's not going to be doing any damage.
Flamigo's going to be bringing some heat here.
And Brave Bird indeed will crack Heat Wave with Wolf down to his final 2 Pokemon. That's it. It's
Big
just
Heat Wave. Yeah.
And you might think it's a little too quick for Trick Room, but it does still have that Focus Sash intact. Probably knockout onto this Porygon with Fake Out would allow it to survive by the tiniest bit of HP.
The KO in the
Yep.
Porygon.
Porygon goes down.
KO on this Typhlosion with Earthquake.
Palmat lives with Sash.
And a dream.
Very well played.
In that second
2-0
game,
from
but
Wolf.
one thing, he needed to make that call right, which would have been a drastic failure.
So, I didn't want this to be a 2-stream thing. But we've been here 3.5 hours and I'm kind of hungry. This one's a 7-hour VOD. How many games do we actually have? They talk for a while. 1 game. Game 2 here. Looks like a 3rd. I'm getting kind of hungry. I think I'm going to call it here. I might stream again tonight. Because I really want to knock out the VOD review. Just click the first game as I think it's the rest of Swiss. Rising. I guess it'll say in the game. Swiss round 11, so they do show Swiss. We could skip the rest of Swiss. Do we care about any of these teams? Lily Cole, I kind of want to watch it. We'll put a pin in it. I'll get something to eat, and if I'm feeling it, we'll regroup, and if not, maybe an early stream tomorrow. We'll see. Thank you all for showing up. I guess I should raid somebody. Does anybody have any suggestions for a raid? T-Pain? I could raid T-Pain. T-Pain and Iron Mouse are the only 2 channels that I... I guess I skipped the rest of Switch. That's sure why I did that? Okay. It's either T-Pain or Iron Mouse from, unless... I'm not throwing a raid to either of them. Somebody else has got a VGC. I can't search from my phone. Let me see. Maybe break the illusion here.
Oh no, you see Twitch stream. Oh no. Creator dashboard. What was that? Oh, layout manager? Okay. Raid channel. Thank you all lovely people for being here. It was very fun. That's not actually Scarlet Violet. That's not actually Scarlet Violet. That's Spanish. That's not English. I might just end stream, guys. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna end it. Oh, Sombra's on? Why is Sombra not on my... Let me search for Sombra. I don't mind throwing a raid to Sombra. Sombra Curse? Oh, they're playing Ignite. Yeah, we'll throw them a raid anyways. We'll just do a quick raid and run. We'll just do a quick raid and run. Start raid. Alrighty. Thank you all for coming. It's been a fun stream. I might be back on later. I'll post in the CGC if I do. Have a good one.